ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Legion Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Welcome everybody to ESL Pro League, the last regular season day that we have, and it is going to be a crazy one. You can see it's a little different. Analyst desk, all the casters will be taken up. We're going to have simultaneous matches going on to close this out. I think there's about 4 of them, 5?
Something ridiculous. Every match is being covered.
It's all being played at the same exact time so that no tomfoolery can occur, as 7 teams are vying for 4 playoff spots in total that are remaining over in the European division. And there's 5 teams fighting to avoid relegation.
Yeah, I think you did that right.
I think I did that right as well. The numbers, we've been crunching a lot of numbers today.
Doing the maths, I think it was, what is it, 35 different possibilities of how things could work out.
And it all depends on not only who wins, but also who loses and how many they lose. And obviously seeding is in there as well. Seeding going to be massively important going into Dallas. But yeah, this is just wacky. Let's just get right into it. Let's take a look at the standings. We're going to start over in North America because they've got a battle going on. SK and Immortals already qualified. I don't think the seeding is locked in quite yet. Team Liquid beat Cloud9 on 2 maps last night, so that's a big win for them in terms of securing a playoff spot. But still, you look at that top 6, Optic still has a chance, Misfits still has a chance, and I think even CLG has an outside chance.
I think SK are 100% the #1 seed, right? Because there's only 2 matches left. Immortals, even if they win 2, cannot catch that 18-win record. So SK are the #1 team from the NA division, as you would expect.
Yep.
But the outsiders, as you're saying, if Optic can get up there, Luminosity, we could have 3 Brazilian teams going to the playoffs, which would just be absolutely insane.
Yeah, that would be insane. That would be hard to swallow if you're a North American fan. You can see down at the bottom, Animal Squad, they have kind of broken up as a team, so they have forfeited. You can see there's 0-0. Their matches just really do not count towards the overall standings anymore. The Foundation might as well be a dead team if you can see that, 1-23, and then Rush there as well, 2-20. I mean, that's an abysmal bottom 3 of this league, far and away the 3 worst.
So they'll be playing off against, I think it's B's Money Crew, they're Ghost now, and the other one is... No, Splice are automatically in next season.
Ooh.
It's something 6, Enigma 6.
Sure, yeah, that sounds
with Whitmer and all those guys.
Sounds
so
right.
yeah,
I haven't actually followed the.
I watch all Counter-Strike, so I'm on top of everything.
Yeah, do you? Mm-hmm. That's a lot of time. How do you have all the time?
I don't sleep.
Don't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that this week. Let's check out the European standings. These are the matches that we're going to be seeing tonight. These are the standings that really matter for the games that you'll be watching on this stream. North already in, Mouse Sports as well. Their seeding is definitely not locked in. As you can see, Mouse Sports only 1 game behind. So we'll see how those guys play out. G2 and FaZe are going to face off in a game. That's a huge, huge game. I believe we're calling that the Bay Area Burrito Hot Match of the Week.
Yeah, just because they give us discounts. So
yeah, that's not
thanks
bad.
to them.
Thank you, Bay Area Burrito. Astralis and Navi are going to round out that top 6, but also we have Fnatic, Envy. They're both playing. Heroic is playing. So I mean, a lot of chances for teams to break into the top 6 still.
Those 7 teams, FaZe, Astralis, Navi, Fnatic, Team EnVyUs, and Heroic, all have a mathematical chance of potentially qualifying for the playoffs if one of those 35 different possibilities happens for whichever team you're supporting.
Yeah, which is just wacky to think about. And then you look at the bottom, there's actually another match going on that doesn't have anything to do really with playoffs, as Virtus.pro is going to be taking on North. And obviously North is already qualified. Virtus.pro has no chance of making the playoffs, but what they can happen, if VP wins 2-0, they can leapfrog a bunch of teams to not have to play in the relegation matches, which for them, in the way that they've looked recently, that would be a very, very, very good thing.
Yeah, I think that also depends on the HellRaisers versus NIP game going 2-0 to either party, if I remember rightly. There's just so much stuff going on right now. It's difficult to remember every combination.
It is weird.
You almost swore, didn't you, Jason?
I did. I almost dropped it, didn't I? Woo! That's how you know this day is going to start off well. Well, to show you the matches, we talked a lot about all the different games we have going on. We'll bring them up on the screen. We'll show you guys what you can see across a couple different streams that we'll have going on. LDLC and Kinguin going on. And you can see this is all at the same time, 21 CEST, 2210 CEST for the second map of both of these series. So LDLC taking on Kinguin, and then I just forgot everything because I didn't read all the way down.
That's fine. We'll just get these ones.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Mouse Sports, Fnatic, HellRaisers, NIP, and Astralis, Envy are all going to be playing. Also, as we mentioned, We have G2 FaZe. There was another one I missed. Navi is taking on
Heroic, which is an important game as well. So I think Fnatic need to 2-0 Mouse to have any chance of qualifying, same as the EnVyUs game over Astralis. Astralis, I think, need 1 game. There's just, a lot of different bits and pieces there. The Navi game, Heroic also needed 2-0, while Navi could maybe get away with a 1-1, but a 2-0 would probably secure them in. I could go on like this for hours.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. I don't think you could go on for hours because I don't think we have it all mapped out. We don't know everything that can possibly happen depending on who wins. It's just difficult. And you've been talking about this all season. This is like your favorite. This is your favorite day of the season, isn't it?
No, okay, so last season it was the last week, and then it slowly every day you could see not exactly, but you could see a few different possibilities of how it was going to pan out.
Right.
This is actually madness right now. The fact that there's all these different possibilities and it's come down to the last day to decide 4 spots, and then we still only have 1 team locked into the auto relegation, and we still have 2 more vying for the relegation playoff position. Nothing's clear.
Yeah.
And we've had 10 weeks of this, and we still don't know who's the top dogs, I guess.
It's kind of cool thinking that the players also have no idea. They're just saying in their heads, we just need to win.
Need to win, That's the best mentality, right? Yeah, need the W.
Need the W. Well, we mentioned we're going to have a couple streams going on. This one is going to be showing G2 versus FaZe. We're also going to be doing a little bit of, how do we call it, conference coverage.
Yeah, roaming coverage.
Yeah, roaming coverage. We're going to have Mitch and Lauren with us. They're going to explain a little bit what they're going to be doing throughout the evening.
Manzi, what's going on?
Oh, wow.
This is okay.
That's the opposite of hot mic. So what Mitch is kind of saying here is, guys, what's going on?
Are we here?
There we go. It's
You can
nothing
see
like
we
a conference
practiced
without
this.
audio.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we've definitely got this nailed down. Basically, of course, there's like 7 simultaneous matches going on, I think, at any one time. So we can't really cover any of them in their entirety.
No.
But what we'll try and do is jump across between them. There's a few interesting ones. Like VP needs to 2-0 North to get out of relegation stuff. So we want to see this.
Yeah, of course, and we're going to have the admins like diving into us and kind of letting us know what's now viable, what's not. So we'll be keeping you guys up to date throughout the entirety of this, and then the analysis desk will kind of I guess smooth everything together and bring it all out. We're just kind of like live from the sidelines, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, the role I always get at ESL events somehow. We'll be going around the grounds a little bit here as well. We won't be theory crafting too much about what the results mean in the grand scheme of things. That's when we're going to come back to obviously you guys in the studio, and you guys get the fun job of putting all the pieces together.
We're used to putting the pieces back together. We've seen you guys struggle at times.
Forgot to mention we shipped them to Poland,
Flamer.
the Poland office for today.
Yeah, it's nice out here in Katowice.
Yeah,
Very sunny.
actually, no, they lucked out. They've got the air-conditioned studio. We didn't get that. Must be nice, boys.
I've been in this studio where it's not air conditioning. It's pretty rough. It gets hot in here.
This is hell.
That's not bad. That's a good way to end that little segment, isn't it?
Yeah, see, the producer's like, cut.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, Chad and Moses, this is where you pick up the pieces that are Lauren right now on the floor.
And Lauren's life.
Yeah, Lauren's life. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of games today, so obviously I don't even think we're going to be taking a necessarily taking a break. I think we're just going to be, when the game ends, we're going to go over to Lauren and Mitch. We're going to see what they're looking at the end of a game that's on their stream. We'll come back to us when the next map is live and all those fun things. Important thing to note that we didn't mention earlier, all these matches going on, 2 maps obviously, just like all season, but the second map of each series cannot start until everyone's first map is complete. Yeah, that's really important, so teams don't know what the resulting product is until it's too late to really.
Yeah, so the motto tonight will be analyst keep talk until
yeah, right.
until the games are done.
Show.
Yeah.
And then also the third stream is we just Matt and Henry will be doing the G2 phase here. Lauren and Mitch, like we said, will be roaming, and there's a UK stream going on. We'll call it.
Are they doing the VP North game?
They're doing the VP North game.
Okay, so that's more of like a, I guess, North vying for #1 seed and VP
just trying to stay out of relegation.
Avoid relegation, yeah.
Without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. G2 versus FaZe. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's start talking.
Well, why did we pick this one, Jason? Should we set this one up for the people at home?
Yeah, set the stage for me, Chad.
This, I think, will be the most competitive match of the night, and both teams are in a position where they really need that 2-0 if they want to avoid any mathematical chance of potentially not making it to the playoffs. We've seen G2 on the rise recently. They were at the bottom of the standings earlier in the season. That was a surprise to everybody. The super team dream didn't come to life. But then they've turned it around. They've had a resurgence, and now we've got FaZe, who aren't struggling. Obviously, they're a really decent team, and they're playing fantastic and making all those finals and stuff. They just we seem to not have found their weakness, but when they're not playing Astralis, they don't look as put together, and that's something which we saw last night when they played HellRaisers.
Yeah, they looked, and that was tough. I mean, that was a little bit of, the conversation of, is it jet lag? Is it the LAN hangover of coming back from a big tournament that was going on? Might have been a little bit of both. Either way, they split that, which is going to make, at least a little bit more of a cushion here. I think I like that we picked this match because I think these are two. I think it'd be hard to argue that you could find two more individually skilled rosters across all of Counter-Strike.
This is the definition right now of the two teams who love the Force Buys. We're going to see so many Deagle, Force Buy, Tech9.
Actually, you just brought up some PTSD. What was that match? It was in
Went 10
Starladder.
rounds or something,
When I think there was like a total of 6 gun rounds played across like 2 maps or something like that.
Crazy. It's not what you want.
It is not what you want.
It's
but
entertaining.
It is entertaining. The Deagle's obviously the Tech9, so that'll be really, really cool. It's just going to be interesting to see how it all comes down. I think the tough part for it is the first map's going to be on Inferno.
Yeah, and I guess that's like FaZe's
you
almost
gotta say,
number
they've really
one
come out
map
on
right
top
now.
of the new map.
Yeah, but it's just so scary, right? When you have players like Shox and Kenny who you're going up against as well, who the French teams in the past have been fantastic in Inferno because of these set strategies and stuff that they've been able to run. But the way that G2 do it is it's not as structured as like an existence level. It's not as loose as a happy style. They've kind of found that. Oh, we're going to see this later as well, aren't we?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we've got the middle ground of Inferno right now with the strategies that the guys on G2 are able to bring out. But this is a map where I guess both teams will get to use all of their strengths. You know, you have players who are really good roaming with the AWP, Kenny, Asanalu, and then you've got people who are good at being rocks. You've got, Body's actually proving to be one of those right now for G2, and then you've got Kiyoshima on the other side of things for FaZe. I think the approach right now for FaZe on their map is potentially exploitable if G2 have done their homework and watched the demos, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they play that CT side. Are they going to cheat Kiyo over to the B bomb site early so he can use his utility to help out Nico and Carrigan? Are they going to have the standard 3 guys at A, so he'll be over the pit side straight away?
Right.
It's just going to be, I think that's where the early battle will be decided. And then the economy, where are we going to find ourselves? Is this just going to be a force buy match?
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I think also the cool thing about, especially on a map like Inferno, is the player. I mean, we can talk all we want about Kenny and Shox and how dynamic they can be and how big of stars. I think Apex is a player that is going to be massively important on this map. You think of, one of the few players that I can think of that like fits into that stereotypical, like that one role that he has, that entry fragger role. And if he goes off on a map like Inferno, where it is all about getting that entry, finding just some kind of an entrance into the B bomb site, into A during the execute, that's huge. So even if he can just get his one kill that opens up the bomb site, Apex is always a player that I think can make things so much easier for his teams. So he's going to be huge. And then on the FaZe side of things, I notice a lot on Inferno more than probably any other map is so much utility is spent early on in the rounds to try and just get like one kill. Like teams will waste like 3 players, maybe not waste, but use 3 players worth of utility to just give themselves an opportunity to get a 5-on-4 advantage, whether they're terrorists, whether they're CT sided. So I mean that early jockeying for position is massive.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to decide where you want to have that battle, right? I think we've seen the map evolve, and especially in the old version as well, where once you have that banana control, once you have that top mid wall control, you can run the clock right down and do very late round fakes because the CTs have to be forced back into the site. They have to play like deep in B, have to play deep in pit, and when the execute comes in, that's panic, right? That's when the CTs are assuming everything's happening, they're making the call the best they can, and that late round rotation with 20-25 seconds left can come in, and you can maybe find almost an empty bomb site from time to time. That isn't something that we really normally see with these two teams, right? It isn't something which these guys are particularly known for. I think it's going to be more of a brute force style of Counter-Strike that we've seen, just them clashing head to head. And I was watching the reflections that Thorin did with Apex, and it's talking about the ride or die kind of entry fragging thing. And it is difficult for those entry fraggers who are always doing that role because they can get, just have off nights where the timings aren't going their way, or the CTs do have the advantage. They are going to make that frag on him. So he needs to have one of those games where he's kind of feeling it or getting lucky to get in and find all those kills. Because Inferno is one, like you said, utility is great to find a frag. It's also great to block off choke points. So it's difficult for entry fraggers to bust through unless you have some really good pop flashes going on.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the other X factor for an entry fragger, just a random pop flash as well can just ruin everything. The good news is, since these players have so much talent, so much skill on both teams, even if someone like Apex is lost, even if that first initial kill doesn't go their way, so many opportunities to get back into things. You think Nico is just a massively impact player. Don't even really need to talk about him. Alu has been a specialist on this map. We've seen it. Kiyoshima, Rain has been playing phenomenally.
Yeah, last month.
Quiet start to the year, and he has been incredible in recent times.
They're going to need him to carry along that form right here if they want to, put up a good fight against G2. It's not that they played poorly last night against HellRaisers. Potentially, we talked about what was the LAN hangover that you were talking about. So that could be there. We're definitely feeling it. We came back from the same place as them. But I think going into tonight, they look like they were still fighting yesterday, right? They had those big comebacks. Even though they lost on train, they're able to bring it back in case. They're able to bring that, show a bit of composure and show why they're one of the best teams in the world. And they're definitely going to do that tonight versus G2.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Cash is going to be the second map in that series, which we'll touch on later. We won't go too deep into it now, but definitely a good map for both of these teams. Let's talk a little bit about one of the other matches, just while we have time to kind of waste.
My other pick is for the other interesting match of the night would have been the Na'Vi Heroic game, right? It's not necessarily one where you would have expected at the start of the season. We knew that Heroic are a team who are kind of on the rise. Seems like they've simmered off a little bit at the moment. They've had a couple of mixed results, especially at lands, like tours that didn't even get out of groups. But Na'Vi are another one. Start of the season, red hot, right? We were thinking, geez, these guys are back. They're looking really dangerous. They've also dropped off. And now these two teams are in a chance, if they 2-0 or whatever the situation combination is, they're in a chance to get to those land playoffs. So for me, it's interesting because Na'Vi have a chance right now to stand up, to redeem themselves from that tours loss that they had against Misfits and that kind of stuff, and get themselves into a big event like this land final, right? Yeah, well, you were probably happy, North Americans.
See, that's an unfair stigma I feel has been attributed to me. It's not. I don't just blindly root for every North American team.
Okay. I don't blindly root for every Australian team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, you should be you should feel my pain a little bit.
Okay.
That's all I really got there. Yeah, I wasn't particularly happy. It was more disappointing to see a team like Na'Vi. I would much rather have Na'Vi be a mainstay as a team that's going to be dangerous in the top 5 than have a North American team upset them at a tournament.
Yeah.
So I mean, surprising upset. Obviously, very cool for Misfits. They're going to have to build on that to continue that credibility moving forward. I don't just blindly say these guys are going to be incredible now, but. Like that's the hard part for me is much like with Fnatic conversation, how long do we give these super teams? Like G2 at least seems to be on the rise. They've won tours. We've seen some really cool new things out of them that we haven't seen from French teams in the past in terms of tactical innovation. With a team like Na'Vi, and I posed this question about Fnatic to you the other day, is how long do you give them before you just say, okay, this is now at that point?
The thing is, the mixture of players should work, right? Like, if you look at it on
that
paper,
is the really tough
it
part.
should work. Yep. And it looked really good when they replaced Starix. Absolutely no disrespect to him. I think he was a legendary player. I still think he had an amazing input as a coach, but they needed that mental reset, right? You give yourself a new perspective, a new person, and it kind of revitalizes the team without taking away one of the core members. When they added Andy in as he went from analyst to head coach, there was that revitalized Na'Vi. There was I was praising them for those CT sides, right?
Much better,
so active. And now they've dropped off since there, so I don't know if it's a motivation thing. I hear a lot of murmurs, from time to time about Guardian potentially not putting in the amount of time as he should. And that definitely is going to affect the team when some of the strategies are just completely built around him having an AWP and finding a pick. Right. So I'm not just singling him out. This is stuff that I've heard. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not. But it's just one of those things that maybe they're just not in a right headspace at the moment. But there are a team who we should see. And to really answer your question, I don't know. Maybe they're fine. Just let them keep going.
Obviously, with the date where it's at, how deep we are into the year, obviously with the major looming as well, I don't think we're not going to see anything until the major. So I think that's really where we're going to have to make judgment for most of these teams. Even G2, despite winning tours, I think that's going to be the real barometer. Will be the major. Same with Fnatic. Same with Na'Vi. Really kind of gauge where they're at. Making this though, I mean, no joke about it. This would be a huge opportunity for Na'Vi to have another big tournament to at least test their chops, see what they've been working with.
Yeah. I think with the string of events that we have coming in before the major, especially for these teams who are struggling would be the best way to put it. For Na'Vi to get to this land would be good. Maybe they can get some kinks out, and then they definitely have ESL 1 Cologne, I believe they're going to. Same for VP. I know they're not obviously going to make these land finals, but
Clash for Cash as well.
Yeah, that E-League event that got announced. Yep. So that's another interesting one. But for these guys, I think they need more events to get them back in the swing of things, right? Whereas FaZe, Astralis, SK, they're all showing, they're at the right point at the moment. These guys like playing more events, but they could probably simmer off for a little bit and take a little bit of time off in June. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. But there's more chance for them to get found out, right? You know what I mean? So for teams like Na'Vi and stuff, they can kind of rebuild. Fnatic is another one. I've been impressed with the way that Fnatic are approaching the game. They've definitely become a lot humbler, and people in the team are understanding that they need to practice more. It's not just, sit there and look at the trophies that you've won as warm-up. It's let's actually practice, let's have strategies.
That is pretty epic, though.
It's cool. Flush is one of the most badass guys
in
all of I love him. But in terms of the way that these teams are all progressing, I always preach the fact that, we still consider them a top 10 team, or, they're rebuilding, or this, that, and the other.
But can you consider, because I agree with that sentiment for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
For a team like Na'Vi that has these players that have competed for championships, I can't possibly say they're top 10. That's good enough. I mean, I understand the idea that you can hover around 5-6 and have a great tournament and win it, but this is a team that should be challenging for tournaments. I mean, they were doing it with one player different. Now, obviously, Zeus can have a lot of impact with as an in-game leader. I mean, that's probably the biggest role they've struggled with. Zeus is not having that in-game leader to replace him with, but still, this lineup of players I feel like should be challenging a little bit more. Either way, some fun information for you, and for you viewers out there. 2 of the matches are ready to go. That means we have 20 players ready to go, but we can't start one map until every single team of every single match is ready to go.
Well, isn't that something?
So with all the struggles we've had throughout the season of waiting for 2 teams to ready up, now we've got to wait for, I think, like 7, 8 teams to ready up.
Tom just said we're only waiting for 2 teams.
Only waiting for 2
Fnatic
teams.
and Mouse.
We're down to 2.
So that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
We're getting real close.
Yeah.
So let's keep filling.
Yeah,
this is our new.
Here's the thing. I was
going to say this is the introduction to our new Counter-Strike podcast called Talk and Counter.
Yeah. We've been trying to do this all season long, haven't we? We haven't been able to find some time to actually do it. Can we bring up the standings one more time, the European standings? Let's see. Let's do this. We don't like to do predictions on matches anymore because we're all ex-pros and we hate that shit, that crap.
Whoa!
Let's bring up the standings. Let's say, yowza. Let's do predictions for which teams are going to make it by the end of the night.
Alrighty.
So North and Mousesports are already there, so you got to pick 4.
Okay, I think that the G2 FaZe game is going to get split 1-1, so both those teams are going to be on 15 and 10. Astralis are definitely going to take at least a minimum of 1 map off of EnVyUs, probably 2. So I'm going to say they're going to take 2 off of EnVyUs. That's going to put Astralis in that 3rd position on 16 wins. Now we get real icky.
We got Na'Vi, Heroic, and we got who's Fnatic playing? Mousesports.
Fnatic, Mouse are looking really good since the addition of Rops. Actually, they've looked really good for the majority of the season, so that's crazy.
I feel like
scary.
this is going to be something where it's basically picking between Na'Vi and Fnatic.
Yeah, it has to be, right? I think it has to be between Na'Vi and Fnatic, and that's going to come down to whichever one of these is able to pick up the pieces of their recent, not failures for Fnatic, more so for Na'Vi. Fnatic has kind of just been in that rebuilding process.
Yep.
Let me quickly just bring up the maps here.
This was a really fun exercise until we started looking into the statistics. I want more baseless claims out of Chad.
I would like to see. Well, I want both of those teams. Can we make 7? Can we make 7 for?
Can we just expand the playoffs?
We'll take 1 away from North America.
I like that.
Okay, so Heroic Na'Vi is on Overpass. Fnatic Mouse is on Mirage. The second Na'Vi Heroic game is Cobble. I think these maps probably favor Na'Vi.
All right,
I think Na'Vi is going to come 6th.
Okay, you're going to take Na'Vi to come 6th.
Yeah.
I'm going to take, I'll take the odds on that. I'll go, this might be my last time doing this. I'll ride or die with Fnatic because I've always been the guy who said, I just never bet against Fnatic. That hasn't been the case in recent memory with some of the downturn, but I'll go back to it this time. I'll take G2 FaZe, Astralis, and Fnatic.
I hope I'm wrong because I want to see Fnatic rise back up to that kind of top 5 team in the world thing.
Yeah. That would be a cool storyline.
Yeah. I like
Rising
those guys.
from the ashes. I liked seeing them at the top, and the cool thing is if they were like equally as good as they were in their dominance, I don't think they would dominate the scene. I think it's gotten too deep in terms of how many teams are good, but it would be how many cool matches could we have if that old Fnatic was actually active.
Yeah, that's definitely something which would get crazy, right? Imagine G2, Fnatic, we've obviously got FaZe, SK, and Astralis right now. That's pretty sick, top 5. VP come back to form.
What do you think of the idea? What do you think of the idea that this trio that SK has, Coldzera, Fur, and Phelps? Do you think it's the most dangerous 3 players that we have in Counter-Strike at the moment?
Consistently, probably, yeah, right? Like they step up, whereas FaZe have Rain and Nico, and then it depends who's going to help them. Alu would be probably the next go-to, but Kira has big matches in Carrick and can also turn it on. Astralis, you really struggle to pick a consistent star. We always say Device is Mr. Consistent, but he is normally just wrecking, and then it doesn't really matter who comes in below him, right? You don't have a power trio in that team. That's one that does change around a lot.
Device's dominance these days doesn't seem as like explosive as other stars that we have. It just seems like he's getting his 2 kills every round, right? That you don't necessarily see all the kills. You don't necessarily like have all the highlight clips of multiple rounds from Device, but he's he's gotten his 1 impact kill in the middle of the round. He's gotten 2 in the next, and that's just kind of how he grinds out his score. So that's actually
who else we got? We got VP obviously is any given Sunday for any single player.
Well, Snacks is up there, and then just throw 2 in the mix. It's been Pasha.
They can all do it, right? That's the crazy thing about that roster. Na'Vi is one that should, on paper, challenge, like in terms of a trio, right?
Yeah, like Simple, Guardian.
And Flamey.
Flamey, yeah.
Like, bringing the AWPers into the mix, they're even probably more dynamic, right? Maybe not as clutch as the SK trio, but definitely on paper, they should be I guess, vying, fighting for that power trio, I suppose. But that's not what we've been seeing. So I think it has to be SK.
Yeah, I don't think I can really argue against that. SK, that's a pretty scary trio.
North should be kind of not as scary.
North just has like that essence to it that they're just like not gonna win anything, don't they?
Whoa, I don't have that vibe.
You don't have that vibe at all?
No.
I have them as like Astralis 2.0, like the Astralis before they won.
So like TSM.
Yeah, where like
Or
it was
Astralis
just
with
like
Carrigan.
North, like everything's good on paper, no reason why this shouldn't be working, and
Okay.
then just don't win.
What
Don't-
advice do you have for North, Jason?
Advice for North. See, that's the hard part. This is what makes them like TSM 2.0 is because it should be working.
Yeah, but the thing.
I think they're thinking too much.
I don't know if it's that.
Okay.
I think the fact that Config and Magix are still relatively new players to this high level of Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
they need a longer building phase, and I think what they need to do is sacrifice a bit of time now and put these guys in different positions so they can learn how to play different rounds of
Have
Counter-Strike.
a little bit more variety in their play
For
styles
sure.
and their positioning. Yeah, I mean, North is a team that I know for a long time, like right after they won Epicenter, like in October of last year. I noticed for like four months after that, like they had players consistently doing the same thing. Like
Yeah.
MSL was still doing that aggressive in B halls and Mirage. Magic was still pushing down that lower ramp pretty frequently. You knew he was going to be somewhere around there. So yeah, I think with their age and their youngness, if you add a little bit of variety to them, that's going to be dangerous. But still, just something about it. Because
I don't know. I think that they have a really good coach, and MSL's in-game leader. I really like the way he approaches the game. I just think they need to teach the players how to play different versions of Counter-Strike or different brands or different positions, that kind of stuff. It's similar to, say, like when Cloud9 goes on a good summer run, right? Or has a good run of events, or maybe even just has one good event. It's because you didn't expect Automatic and Stewie to show up in that way. And then, okay, well, we know they do this. We know they approach the game in this manner. How are we going to counter it? All right, we'll fix that. Next event, they're out in groups. Next event, they're out in the quarters. The thing with European Counter-Strike is, from practicing against them and playing in events, you can do a strategy one round against these guys, and they're
They'll
already
adapt very
adapting.
quickly, yeah.
So even if you have a plan A and everything works with the plan A, and off that plan A, you win the event, like what Cloud9 have done, especially
Yeah.
at ESL Pro League Finals
Yeah,
last year, right?
Brazil.
Just Automatic and Stewie going absolutely nuts. It's not going to work 2 events in a row unless these guys can just step up and put up 30, 40 frags every single game, and that's
which is not going to happen.
Doesn't
it's just
happen.
not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, and I mean that's also the thing that we harp on this a lot is that teams that appear to have structure. I know analysts generally give a lot of props and a little bit more love to teams that show that they have structure because when all else fails, at least you have that structure to
sure.
fall back on, and that's one thing that Cloud9 doesn't have or didn't have, still doesn't really have, is when Stewie and Automatic aren't getting their 30, 40 kills. What structure, what kind of plan do they fall back on that can help the other players get involved? And they don't have that quite yet. So that's one reason why I know no one's really too excited about Cloud9.
Liquid have been looking good.
Liquid have been looking pretty good.
Twist is another player in development.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And he's been there for a long time. I feel like he was one of like the lost boys of Counter-Strike. That whole TSM lineup at the time, they had that like top 4 at ECS where they...
Semphis and Genko, right?
Yeah, and I didn't think that team was actually going to necessarily go anywhere long-term consistently wise.
Yep.
But it was a bummer after that because you'll remember, I think it was I have to hear this up, but a couple seasons before that, they dropped out of ESL Pro League and were in Premier, decided not to play that season. Then they had to play another season in Premier and try and get back in. But after that win at ECS, they didn't have any more LAN tournaments they could go to that could actually have them competing. And I feel like players missed a lot of experience. The team missed a lot of experience on that one. Either way, I said we had to hurry it up, and that's because we're finally ready to go live. G2 first phase is going to be coming at you. It's going to be Sadicus. It's going to be Henry G bringing you all the action tonight.
Just Henry G. No, I said Sadicus.
Hello.
Hey, anyone getting confused
Wait.
now? Are you boys
Can you-
confused?
Hey, guys.
Some
What's up?
streamception, boys.
What's up, guys? Yeah.
So theoretically,
think
no.
this is.
Theoretically, your stream,
We've got off script.
your stream should have you guys on there, and that should be fine. You shouldn't be seeing us.
Oh, you just hear us? Oh, wow. Voice of God. Yeah, why not? It's pretty warm.
I think the most interesting game is HellRaisers versus NIP. But my mic is also out right now, so I don't even know if you can hear me.
No, you're live.
Oh,
I know, I'm live, but I can't
I'm
hear
not
me.
live. I can't hear myself.
Okay, well, we're going to
Who
carry on
knows?
anyway.
Do you know, I'm sorry, Matt and Henry. I don't know what's going on over here. Hopefully you guys are good. And maybe you can't hear us anymore. Maybe you can. We don't know.
Let's carry on as if they couldn't hear us, and let's carry on with this discussion anyway. Because okay, now we can hear ourselves. So we're going to be looking first at Heroic versus Na'Vi. That's going to be our game. So for those of you that are watching the conference stream, and it might confuse you because we're going to link up and break off from the mainstream a couple of times. That's just something you need to keep yourselves track of. There you go. I'm Mitch. This is Lauren. If you haven't seen this before, then you haven't been watching the ESL Pro League clearly. But yeah, again, we're in a hot room, but it's going to be a hot mess of CS tonight, Lauren.
Yeah, that's it. So to keep it very basic for you guys, all of you in chat, I know everyone's super confused as to what is going on. So we are basically jumping in and out of the games. We're going to try and stick to a game for a little bit of time so you get some context. But if enough of you whinge and cry at me saying, I want to see Fnatic, we might have to go and see Fnatic at some point. But for now, we're going to start on the Na'Vi Heroic game just because, well, Na'Vi aren't in the best of states, are they? Let's be honest here. These guys have dropped a lot of results recently, and this means a lot for them.
Losing in a best of 3 to Misfits has probably been the low light, I guess, of them in recent times. That's something to keep an eye on. But now, okay, well, I mean, G2 and FaZe is also going on simultaneously here as well. So we are going to give you a quick round of grounds of all of these different matches. And
do remember, of course, we did see Mousesports 16-0ing Na'Vi, so that was a little bit confusing too. Right now we're seeing G2 FaZe. This is all a bit hectic, I know, guys. Do not worry, we'll get into the right game at the right time in just a moment. But this is the game that's actually going on the main stream. So if you are, if you're a FaZe fan, if you're a G2 fan, head over there. You'll hear Matt and Henry taking you through it. We're going to be jumping in between the others, but you can see already G2 off to a good start now. Between these two, I don't need to highlight too much about what's going on here. This is going to be a great matchup between them. FaZe didn't look that good recently, but here we go. Na'Vi's back in with us. This is what we want to see. Bit of overpass here and some good old action kicking off.
Yeah, and get ready for quick switches. We'll try and give you a heads up, but there's a lot going on right now. It's the pistol round here. Na'Vi, you're going to be on that T side to start things off. And already it's looking pretty darn good. Simple getting a brace of kills in that round. 3. It's going to get Na'Vi off to the start. And this is a map for Na'Vi. This is definitely one that will go down as one we expect to see them on. And of course, Heroic, with the recent addition of Fetish in their coaching role as well, we'll have to see how that impacts things.
Yeah, because the thing is, I've been seeing Fetish in the server for a couple of games. I don't think it was like officially announced. Oh.
Carry on.
Just getting a little confused. But yeah, no, individually, I don't think anyone's going to question Na'Vi as of late as well. Just, it's individually they seem fine. It's overall as a collective that seems to be the issue, isn't it? It's when, it's almost kind of they were discussing on the desk, right? It's when those individual players don't show up. Where do they go to? Where's that kind of structure they're meant to have in Na'Vi? Where's Guardian been? He's been a little bit quiet recently. So there's a lot of question marks around this roster. But yeah, coming back to the main point there, the Fetish had been in the server a couple of times. I know it was only officially announced recently.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams both had very disappointing outings at a recent event. So we'll have to carry on, though. Yugi now going to be playing up close with the CZ, ready to receive its Guardian straight around the corner to start things off. And that's Na'Vi off and running towards his ace side. And Modi going to cloister himself for the moment and wait for his opportunity to come through. Valda, again, has to do the same. A nade thrown towards his right. He's able to get away from it. But there's really no in right now for Heroic until these smokes clear.
Yeah, pistol going Na'Vi's way is actually pretty big in this. Valdi, they're going to find Guardian. Any impact is good, but the amount of CZs up for Heroic is kind of impressive. They've gone all in on that. 3 still remain, and I think it's time to keep themselves in the game for the next round. They won't have much to go, and of course they do have that upgraded armor and the pistol, so they want to keep that.
Snappy just backing down the stairs here with his CZ, and the name is just spicy, really. Not to draw attention to it, but you can't really help yourself. It's going to be Heroic pretty much just sitting back on this one, though. They know there's not much to be done here, and these CZs can still be very powerful for them in the next round.
Yeah, time to keep hold of those. And eyes towards the next one. And for Na'Vi, a decent purchase as well, considering they had the 2 rifles up there and the UMP still into play. Kept a little bit of utility back as well, kind of playing that brute force. And it's working so far. Didn't have to be too tactical, didn't have to be too, strategic. And a quick update from the other game as well. Mousesports and Fnatic are currently tied 1-1. So the pistol did go favorably towards Mousesports, but then the turn came in, and Fnatic got the second round. Not too surprising there. We know what they're like. But back to this one, as we're going to have to see if Heroic can maybe get a couple of kills on this. A bit of a stack towards long, hoping to catch maybe a gun or drag it away.
Yeah, a lot of presence for Heroic over on this side of the map, and it's going to be those saved CZs from the previous round. And Nico and Yuki weren't able to bring too much into this one here, having fallen. They're not going to spend any extra money now in round 3 as it comes up. And obviously wondering why these games are being played at the same time. And so obviously the players don't know what's going on in other games and try and manipulate results. Not that we're saying they would, just so they can't. Slower start from Na'Vi, and no one should be surprised to see this. This is a very methodical play from a very methodical team. especially up against, you know, sort of an eco or an anti-eco kind of situation for them now. Edward's going to come through, though, again, and that's what happens. CZs are going to give you nightmares if you get up too close, and this, of course, is Flame to have to back away. He knows there's a player down towards the end of Long, and now Modi trying to challenge at the same time. But Na'Vi, it's, again, piece by piece, it's been a bit messy for them, though, having lost 2 players here.
Yeah, this is really worrying times. Even though, yeah, okay, they're going to keep the 2 rifles up for now. Even losing this much isn't great signs. If you're Na'Vi, you've got to feel the mentality is always on a knife's edge with these guys. If it goes wrong, that tilt comes in. They get flashbacks to the mouse sports games. But for now, they keep 3 alive. It's okay. They've got good money still built up on Flamey and Edward, so they can just buy into this perfectly fine. The Heroic did do a bit of damage. The CZ doesn't give you loads of money, but it'd be enough to fashion a buy together. They might be missing out on a couple of bits. So if they do get the orb, they'll be missing armor. If they get the full buy, they might not have that full utility. No, you know, no mollies, no bits like that.
And that's the risk they take. It's the kind of weapon, much like the Desert Eagle, that can deliver you some of those come from behind wins and rounds you shouldn't otherwise be taking out. And yeah, Yuki not going to be having any armor to work with here. Very much a glass cannon player in this round. And Na'Vi not opting yet for any of those AWPs here. Very much the bonus round for them with some money in the pocket. Simple's off to a good start as well. He's 5-0. 2 players down a connector here, and Heroic want to try and control this part of the map. This is going to force Simple to play honest. He can't even peek in towards Nico, so we can't see how close up he is. Now we just spot him, though. It's going to be the trade.
Good start. This gun round pretty important, so we'll stick to this one, but we'll be eyeing up the next game soon. We'll check up on the other games going on. Probably after this one, I can imagine. But for now, let's see how they play this one out. Slow stuff here from Na'Vi. Hitting the brakes a little. You can see the bomb is so far back. Still a minute left, and Snappy out here on a bit of a limb. He doesn't have anyone to trade off him, but if he costs some time, it'd be great, but he actually falls off it. He's now seized, looking for any opportunity, but no. Snappy finds a little bit more of a safer position, falls away from it, and resets the pacing here. Na'Vi desperate for a chance, and Yugi's giving nothing up here. Great work from him, the young man coming in. He was, you know, a bit of a, I guess, a player everyone was talking about. A lot of hype around.
Yeah, and a big part of it as well is because Tricked made it so hard for Heroic to get that player. They obviously, you know, said a few things about ruining the team, and, you know, a bit dramatic, I'll be honest with you, but it was an expensive buyout that had to be covered to get him on this team. And you can see for Heroic, it's been a worthwhile investment. Na'Vi are down to 2, and now they've pretty much got a bare-faced challenge this side, and Edward's taken a huge amount of damage. They're being pinched in, of course, and to be fair, Guardian's done a good job to even get 1 kill out of that one, but now he's going to be surrounded. Great nade, Valda's low, but he's still going to have to go and deal with him. Modi gets him first.
Right, I'm hoping we can maybe jump into one of the other games in a moment's time to see if they can actually, if we can get an update from the other games. So, just so you guys know, right now, probably don't need to do the Fnatic one. That's 3-1. They've stabilized. They're on a good buy. Mousepod's coming back in with a purchase here into round 5. But that's not the game we want to be looking at. We want to check in as well to see what's up with VP and North. Those two are also battling out as well. So guys, do remember, if you're in chat or on Twitter, let us know what games you want to be kept up to date on as much as possible. We'll be doing that as much as we can.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we're going to see some more interesting results materialize as we go through the night, and there's something we want to keep an eye on. But for now, we're prepping that other game for you at the moment. It's an interesting one. Well, okay. Back to the game. 5-0 here for North. It's a very good start for them on Inferno. VP struggling.
This is worrying stuff for VP. Let's be honest. These guys really needed to get their wins going into this one. Now, I don't know what to say about VP at the moment. They seem that on and off team that seems to do well against the big teams, bearing in mind. They seem to do pretty much better against, I guess, more established teams, and then kind of dwindle against the lower tier. But, you know, North, hey, they play a good game of CS. They play a very scripted style. They play a style that VP could read into. And if you want VP to actually turn up and win a couple of games, this is the one they should be putting the work into. This is what you want to see them warming up to. They've got a big show match coming up against Astralis. You know, 250k on the line. You don't want to come into that with 0-5 on the scoreboard. This could be them, you know, dipping very far down in towards maybe not necessarily relegation, but, you know, they're fighting for their life in this tournament now.
2v1 here for Magisk, the bomb being down. And this is where VP get a real look in this round. You can see that Magisk is not really overly concerned with trying to challenge out on towards the bomb here. He's just going to sit back and allow the round to elapse here. Perhaps one of the VP players may have walked into his crosshairs, but they're a little bit too canny for that. These are the seasoned veterans of Counter-Strike, recently suffering a downturn. And you can say what you want about North's struggles in Sydney, and I'm sure people are, but in the Pro League, they have been reigning supreme.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing, wasn't it? That everyone kind of, when we were watching that, we're just like, what the hell is going on? How is this a thing? You know, you kind of came into Sydney with high hopes that these guys would finally have it all working for them, and they really did slip. But online, it seems that when they kind of in their own environments, it works well. They have a very nice combination. And the one addition we did see was actually config AWPing. A new touch is like that double AWP feature that came through. Now he's actually picking up over KGB by default. So that's interesting.
It's actually because config wants to play a bit more aggressive, and you can't do that when you play in the pit area. It's very hard to do. You're very much more of a pivot or a fulcrum for your team. So they move config towards that side, or over even towards the CT arch there, and allow him to AWP and actually get that aggressive plays, like we see from Alu actually on this part of the map, which works so well for FaZe.
Absolutely. VP though, T side, they finally get one on the board, which is imperative at this point. One of a smoke out from Boiler. Config actually commits to this. He does have support there. We know how easy it is to be overrun in these sort of positions. You're banking on that play over by the balcony ledge, but the molly comes through and it forces on off the angle. What's VP's next step? They're using a lot of utility here. They're setting the floor on fire. And yet nothing pushes off it.
No, I mean, I guess what they can do with those Molotovs is maybe stifle that close-up aggression that we actually saw North hoping to set up. You saw how close config was up to there, and that's the Molotov to force them away. But they haven't actually gained a lot of ground with that. Got a little bit of information about who's in Diggity and, of course, who's over towards the CT arch side, but that's about it. So VP now, after using... Look how much utility they got left, Lauren. Very little now to make this play late in the round.
They are the master of fakes, though. So in the back of your mind, if you're North, you know this as well. When are they going to commit? Is this another fake? Is this another ruse? You can't, cheat that player over early, even though you're seeing these smokes go up. When do you read into it? You can see the late rotate. No one's pulling off of that A site. Even those 20 seconds, there's smokes up a B. It's the slow hit now coming through from VP. Delayed almost. Good flash. Hinders them for a second, but now it's go time. First contact comes out. It's MSL trading 1-for-1. But Magisk, I don't know how much he's going to do here. He's depending on others, but they've been swept aside. VP might just have this site 9 seconds, but they don't check it.
Surely not.
On earth? No way. 6 seconds, 5. Does he have time? I'm not sure if he does. 3, no time now. They completely messed up their lines there, VP. Who doesn't check the site?
That is unbelievable. You have one job. If you're not planting the bomb, you have one job. No one checked that spot. And that could be a breakdown in communication. It could be a lot of things. This should be a map that VP are strong on, because they are a team that can force early rotations and punish them. And you could see in that round, North were dead to rights. They didn't rotate the player over from A until the end of the round. In fact, they didn't even start rotating that third player back over because they weren't sure where VP were going. And still, VP messed it up. That's their fault.
That sort of thing just blows your mind, doesn't it? You worry when you mess that sort of stuff up. They had the game plan right. That was the big thing. They had it all working for them. So, I don't know. That's worrying. Anyway, North now with a bit of a dominant lead. 6-1's looking good. They've kind of forced VP to just have to deal with those lesser weapons.
Like a reset, to a degree here. That really hurts for them as well.
And also, guys, we'll be jumping into the NIP game just after this round, I think. So that's going to be on the horizon. If you guys want to catch up with the Ninjas, we'll be jumping in there just once we find out how this round unfolds.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. For now, last round was pivotal, if I'm honest with you. North just reset Virtus.pro's loss bonus, and they go again. Now, the bonus is that at least they actually had a couple guns to work with here, but MSL's going to try and receive, and he does. Catches Neo as he tries to make his way down Banana. Of course, he wants to go for a little bit more, but his job is essentially done. He's waylaid Virtus.pro a decent amount. Config will have to rotate back. Now, as a solo B player in this case, he may have been up against 2, but you just never know where VP's going to go. You really have to trust yourself, especially if you're splitting a site 2 and 1 across the map. You have to back yourself.
AZ playing incredibly passive towards Arch. That's pretty nice. And I actually like the positioning from North. They're kind of making VP have to commit to these sites if they want to take them on. And we know that time is dwindling. Now they've seen the player, they might be able to expect the play. And now Pasha with only 4 HP has to pull it together. Taz on 16, not much better off either. And KGB again, a very passive off angle, and it works so beautifully for him. Doesn't need the AWP to be great, and there it is, 7-1. We'll be jumping in towards HellRaisers now up against NIP. That's over on Train as we speak, and this scoreline. Now, this isn't looking good. I've already peeked at the server here. This is kind of worrying stuff over on Train. HellRaisers sitting at 6-2 currently. They are on the CT side, but still, NIP, where are they at the moment? That's what you've been wondering. That's a good start, though.
Yeah, I mean, you remember NIP and Train used to just go together like PB and J back in the days, but now it's been a long time since then. HellRaisers looking pretty good, and this is a pivotal match in terms of, who falls into relegations.
Exactly. NIP is sitting at 11th position right now. HellRaisers on 10th. Now, they're both kind of equal on points, so it's just split
both
between
10 and
that.
14, yeah.
Exactly. So they are fighting to stay away from that bottom 3 position. That's on the horizon for these two. And HellRaisers are coming out swinging. They had a great game recently. It was against FaZe, if I'm not mistaken, just yesterday. So these guys are showing they do have some real potential, especially on Train.
Yeah, HellRaisers played very well, but also FaZe struggled a bit. It was just, I guess, a war of 2 worlds in that regard, but they're looking good here thus far. Played out a really nice methodical game yesterday in general, but now Freiburg, it's the 2v3 at least for NIP as they need to get over towards this bomb train, but they've just sustained so many casualties, even getting into a position where they could plant from, and HellRaisers just choked them out.
7-2. And I need to see what the next map is. And actually, no, screw it. I'm not going to look into next maps yet. I'm going to focus on this one. Just purely because you've got to feel that, HellRaisers do have a big upper hand on this. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect from these guys. Deadfox has been tearing people apart with that AWP as of late. His performance against FaZe was nothing to be sneered at. He outdid Alu a lot of the time. He was providing some crazy shots as well.
Yeah.
Super snappy.
And he also really punished FaZe when they didn't have the economy to put Alu to challenge on an AWP. He's getting more consistent. That's the beauty of it. Angel should be punished for this kind of play. But NIP don't check. There was a little gap in the smoke, and that was enough for Angel to pick the first player off, and that's going to gut them already. I mean, it's just a pistol round, but they never got to look in.
No, absolutely not. Diffuse going to be coming through any second now. But just in case you guys are wondering how that relegation works, the lowest team out of the entire league, so 14th place, is auto-relegated. They're out. They have no shot in it. So Kinguin pretty much facing the music on that one. I don't think they can get out of that.
They can't get auto-relegated after
so
last night.
They're pretty much there. That's them done. So it's the two teams above them, 13th and 12th position. That's where our eyes are towards now. They have to then fight teams from the lower league to retain their spot in the Pro League. So that's what we're waiting for here. Is it going to be HellRaisers, NIP, LDLC, VP? There's still other options available. So that's what this whole game is about. So here we go, jumping into this 8-2 still. HellRaisers leading the fray drastically, and I feel as though that's not going to change. I feel as though this is a very solid map for them. They've been putting their homework, coming off that high point of Tours as of late as well. And now NIP, where have you been? What have you been working on? Everyone wanted to see these guys come back stronger with Drake and come into the mix, but it just doesn't feel as it's really worked out too well. They haven't had that incredible, peak in performance they normally do.
And now it'll be a fairly forward positioning for Bondic here, if I'm honest with you. Playing up towards E-Box is always a pretty bold statement to make, and he's going to back away now as well as he feels that it's time to start the fight off. But Forest opens up well. Sticko gets caught. Freiburg finds Deadfox there. That's the AWP down for HellRaisers. Angel at least can chime in and try and even the odds a little bit there from Connector, but NIP have great position. Draken also having pushed so far up, there's no way HellRaisers could have been ready for that. And now it's on 0 again. Not much to be done.
And how long has it been since we've seen Freiburg being a huge player in this sort of situation? He's been doing very well thus far. 2 kills this round, but even prior to that, doing very nicely. So good to see him finding a bit of form here. Draken as well, looking for that final member of HellRaisers. Get that gun out of his hands and keep this clean. But a hard angle to predict, but a nice shot to be followed through with.
It's funny how many teams in this sort of bracket actually have fallen from grace. We were just looking over towards Virtus.pro. There was Na'Vi as well we were considering. And Heroic, I guess, to a lesser degree, perhaps it's less of a fall. But these are all teams trying to fight to keep themselves out of relegations. This is the crazy part about this season, Lauren, is that nothing's decided until the last day. For HellRaisers now have that comfortable 5-round lead. NIP are fighting back a little bit more, but still HellRaisers can buy up.
Yeah, and a quick update from one of the other games as well. Mousesports 5-4 currently leading Fnatic. That could be an interesting one down the line. We'll keep a tab on that, but this is going to be where it matters. NIP could break down HellRaisers quite some way here, and Freiburg feeling it. Going for that entry frag, and it works out so well. Takes out Bondic with little to no repercussion. He's just gaining ground here. Get Right wants to follow it up. Gets pretty flashed up here, but straight into the eyes of Deadfox. Bit dangerous there. Maybe thinking the molly would go further than it would. And that guy is putting on a real class here. Get Right suffers. And the rest of HellRaisers just really tighten that noose.
I mean, Forrest went down, but Deadfox tagged him as well. It was pretty much 4 plays, one after another. He got damage on with that AWP. 2 of them ultimately weren't lethal shots, but still fantastic accuracy there from Deadfox and around. He's credited with 2 kills, but we know it was much more that his involvement was. 9 rounds for HellRaisers already on the CT side. It's good, but again, that's train for you. We need to see them really back up with a strong T side, and if yesterday was any indicator, HellRaisers had their problems on the T side of this map, as FaZe did. That's why the game went so close, I think 16-14 or something similar ultimately. So that's just something to bear in mind here, is that generally this map is, statistically it's slightly slanted in the T side, but at the pro levels sometimes that can be exacerbated.
Yeah, and bearing in mind, HellRaisers had a terrible run until that last game we saw against FaZe, where they went into OT on cash. They eventually lost out 19-15, excuse me. But the time before that, they managed to beat FaZe, of course, on train. It was 16-14, the comeback came through, but right now Bondic gets overwhelmed. All the ninjas come flooding in, and he's going to have to just Let his team bear it.
Actually, probably third round in a row now that Bonnic's been punished for fairly aggressive positioning relative to the rest of HellRaisers. He's been playing up against Ebox. Last round, he was playing very close. That's how Freiberg got that entry frag. Yep. So that's not been working out too well for HellRaisers, and that puts them at a man disadvantage quite early in the round. Now, last round, they managed to bring themselves back from that, but it's more costly than it otherwise should be, and NIP have got the smoke to allow them to get up close here. This requires a change of position from Angel to get up closer, but pushing the smoke is not recommended. Forrest is waiting. He's going to go through it himself. Yeah, not sure about that one, but still, Angel comes out on top. And again, HellRaisers are fighting back from an early man deficit, and now they have the advantage. They
do. And now, Draken needs to try and tip the balance. Hold on to this, find that pick. If he can do it, it becomes game on. He can then play and get right, but he has no utility on get right and just out of position there almost. You can't really do much with the orb from that, but get right, the veteran of all veterans. But is this just that step too far? They're on the bomb now. He knows he's going to have to try and make the play. He gets spray on one. He's going to spray down to the other. Doesn't get the final connection he needed. And even on that 22 HP, 0 stays alive.
10-3 for HellRaisers. This is pretty impressive for them, but also you can see NIP stumbling. It's midway through their executes where they tend to fall apart.
Just a heads up, guys. Astralis, EnVyUs will be coming up next. That's what we're going to be just tuning into now. Now, it doesn't matter as much. More for Astralis to really strengthen their bond within that top 6. That's what our eyes are towards. Now, EnVyUs, they're in 8th position, so there's still danger there, but it's not as prevalent. Now, they're playing on Train right now, and just a quick update of the scoreline. It's currently 9-1, so it feels that maybe with Astralis knowing what they're in for, you're getting them coming out swinging. Now, Envy have been a bit hit and miss. We've seen the occasional kind of, I guess, increase in performance. We've seen the Happy kind of going off recently, showing some real class. But is that consistent? Yet to see.
Okay, 8 rounds to the good for Astralis here. And EnVyUs are playing in an interesting part of the ladder at the moment. They've sort of been able to claw their way back a little bit more. But again, we're probably not too surprised to see the Danes be in control on this map. EnVyUs are trying to operate here with Sixer and XMS to make this entry towards Ivy Belt. Big Glaive. With Astralis down a couple of players, Glaive needs to play in this position. He can't trust that there won't be any action from T-Con either. Receives the first player. Well, that's the bomb loose as well. Interesting. Sixer had to bring out the rear with the AWP. Now he needs to come forward and recover it. But the rest of EnVyUs turn on like a light. Now they're pressuring on towards his side, and Devices playing around the fringes here.
Yeah, waiting for Dupree to get in towards Spot over by Pop. Device works round towards Ivy. Bit of a problem there with the smoke into play, but there it is. Dupree finds the kill, and now it's go time. Can they locate those final players? Peeks out again, sees nothing. No one's playing into this. He's going to try and get a little bit more brave, and he does find Scream. Probably not the man you want to be finding in those situations out of any, but it is what it is. Now Device left in a 1v2 that is almost impossible.
I mean, that was a matter of timing there. Dupree was peeking that every now and then when he finally decided to go for it and break cover, that's when Scream went for it. That's how you get CS-GO'd. And Astralis, and Device especially, will probably just want to sit back on this one a little bit more here. Hold that AWP. And what we'll do is check the scoreboard for and see where EnVyUs actually picked up that round. Now you can see, yeah, so every now and then. So this is not necessarily a great thing for that French side, especially if Astralis can break back fairly quickly.
And just do remember, guys, if you're watching this right now, over on YouTube, do let us know what games you want to be kept up to date on. We can always keep you up to date on the scorelines, whatever you want. This is the point of the conference stream. It's just keeping you guys up to date on every single game. There's so many games simultaneously going on, purely because we need to find out who's in that top 6 and who's getting relegated, Mitch. But another important round now for EnVyUs. If they can start stringing together rounds, you might be able to force Astralis off the money they've built up this entire time.
Okay, Zipnik's the only player on B for the moment. There was actually an early foray by Glaive onto the A site. Again, often we see players, you know, hold a Molotov in this position. Zipnik just fancies the extra damage. And that may be a bit of a nerdy wallbang there as well. You can see XMS and RPK have taken a fair bit of early round damage there. So they suffered heavily from that nade, really connecting. And again, it will be that smoke. Cursory even as it's dropped down. Zipnik's might have to give a little bit of ground here. He does have, of course, Glaive up towards his top left, dealing with the upper push. But RPK's made a lot of ground here. That's Glaive responding.
Hit comes through Glaive now. One on the board, more to follow possibly. XMS does get the bomb down at least, but no real aggressive positions from EnVyUs to go for those, you know, quick fights that you normally like on B. And look at Dupree just springing in there. He's got so much ground gain. The smoke's still into play. Now he can weasel his way through towards the side. Doesn't see him on the bomb. That's a huge error. XMS gets away with murder, and they're left worse for wear, and he finds a follow-up.
That could have been so much better. Now, I mean, again, we have wireframe, we have X-ray, right? So it's far more easy for us to see the player, and Smoke's look very, very different client and Go TV side. However, in a different order, that could have gone very differently in general for Dupree, but Cabby's going to be there. He's been performing very well for Astralis in this game. Definitely the top player. And he doesn't drop off this ladder. He waits and he comes straight down. Nice sixer. Had no idea what was happening. He was aimed down towards the end of upper. And Kevy's having an absolute blinder of a game. He does fall, but it's to no avail for it. EnVyUs, they're going to get that bomb blown up anyway. 9-3.
Yeah. So for now, again, we're going to have a quick update from the other games. I'm going to have a little peep around so I can keep you guys up to date. I know a lot of you have been... I love seeing all the fandoms coming out, all the NIP fans going, "Why are we not watching NIP? How can you do this?" And then someone comes back with, "No, Astralis, you've got to watch it." It's great. It's good stuff. I like to see
democracy.
it, guys.
It's
I like to see it.
yeah, it's not actually democratic. We kind of just pick where we want to go. It's more of a dictatorial conference stream. But hey, we're trying to cover what we can.
Now, they've finally broken the money on Astralis. This is the important one here. Device still has that AWP, he saved it, but the rest down to pistols, and EnVyUs is going to play quite quick, just going to play as that kind of Wolfpack play into it, but Dupree, the Eagles are blazing. Going to find RPK, and now Happy's going to broken through here as well, down by Ivy, but Kirby trades out, but it's now Device. Now, we haven't seen him doing that kind of flare-style game that we see recently. It's been consistent, but not that kind of peak that he can come up with.
And that could be because of a few things. Could also be because of Six's influence now as well. I mean, this is such a great map for those classic AWP face-offs between top AWPers in general. But Device fancies just to take the passive approach here. He waits for the peak and he takes down XMS. Now, the kit's there for him. He still has scant moments now to clear things out and give himself some peace of mind. He doesn't see... I think that Sixer was off to the left and already climbed towards the top of the bomb train. He wants to bait some attention. That's wishful thinking with that shot from Device there. Very much the quick scope, if I dare to call it that, and Sixer punishes him.
Quick update for the Swedish fans out there, and I guess the European fans, this is the matchup. Kind of hard to put mousesports in a box these days, isn't it? But look at this scoreline, and look at that play. Oscar going to get up in the face of JW. This is a close one. This has been back and forth. As highlighted at the start, I gave you a quick update on the scoreline, but now it's Fnatic taking control, taking the lead. Kind of what you'd expect on Cash, a good map for them historically. But Dennis somehow worms his way through. Crims does not expect that.
Interesting situation now for Dennis. It's no bomb down, but it's still technically a retake. Oscar, though, with 2 quick kills. That was very fast. I don't even know if he caught both of them with the one shot. It happened all very, very quickly, Lauren. Regardless, mousesports bring them back into this one and make it a potentially respectable half-time at 7-8. It's all happening so fast, Lauren. All these different games, it's hard to keep up, but that's kind of the idea. That's kind of the fun of it.
It is. This is the conference stream. So if you are wanting a specific matchup, again, look through the YouTube channel. You can see all the related links. There's other streams going on. There's the main stream, of course, over with
just FaZe
Henry and Matt.
G2 all the way.
That's going there. There's the UK streams up doing another matchup. So there's a lot going on. And a quick update from the LDLC game against Kinguin, because that's the relegation kind of matchup there. It's 9-5 right now, favorably towards LDLC, but that's for another time. For now, we're back into this round. It's 6-8, and Olaf Meister's going walkabouts. You don't want to do that against him. He loves going for that sort of play.
And the whole point of this play for Fnatic is to get that mid control as well. And they didn't even have to isolate Chris J. He tried to challenge that out, interestingly enough. And for Fnatic, it's been pretty comfortable inroads now, making their way towards this site. Rob's now trying to challenge here from Hell. Olafmeister takes a lot of damage, but the site's crawling with Swedes, and Crims just has to bob up there like whack-a-mole and take the shot. It's Dennis and Lowell now to try and salvage the situation, but JW's forged so far afield that if he needed to, he could get that information, or he could even get a backstab on the 2 players here from mousesports that are playing towards lobby.
And a quick update, the first half, I believe, has kind of come to a bit of a rounded point between North and Virtus.pro. Oh, hello. Come on, JW, put on a show. Doesn't really matter to the outcome of the round unless Dennis does something outstanding. Not going to happen, funny enough, on that HP, but a quick update. The halftime score over that VP game was 12-3. Not good stuff. North having a really solid lead there. So again, that's something keeping in the back of the minds. VP needed that as well. That's going to bleed in towards those relegation games. We want to keep our eyes towards that top 6 here as well.
Yeah, there's something to be bearing in mind, especially given that, Fnatic have a chance to break in. Na'Vi have a chance to break in. I think two wins, a 2-0 for them is an automatic qualification. That's just from what I was understanding. Virtus.pro in a position where they can climb themselves out of relegation, which has obviously already been mentioned, but something to keep an eye on. And then, yeah, there's that whole really interesting NIP HellRaisers face-off with a lot on the line.
And do you know what the scary thing is as well? G2 just 12-3'd FaZe as well. So I'm going to try and get you guys updates throughout the matchup, see what's been going on. Hopefully we can get an update on the halves here, see if the which are the closer games, which are the more one-sided ones. HellRaisers looking pretty solid, I think, over on NIP's stream, or the against NIP, which is 12-3. So yeah, that's looking very one-sided.
And in a moment as well, we're going to be switching back over towards that Virtus.pro versus North match, which is, an interesting one in the grand scheme. But again, a tough start for Virtus.pro. You can see now the pistol round in the second half sees Virtus.pro down by a considerable margin. Not a successful T-side by any stretch. No,
shambolic if anything. So they need to kind of sort themselves out here, if I'm very honest. And it's got to start with the pistol. So already claiming AZ, not a bad start. Bomb down, 5-man retake. We might actually see a retake on Inferno, Mitch.
Yeah, this is the most passive A presence for Virtus.pro. They didn't stack B. They actually just had their A players play very much out of the way and purposely want to go back in for this retake. Neo's going to make his way up towards the bomb. Himself towards the side. Cajun now chooses his time to chime in from the backside here. So much control of this part of the map was given to North there by VP, just stepping back. And they're going to get munched up, but it's a 2v2 now. It's Taz and Pasha to fire back in. They've got bomb control. Config, though, they needed to accept him to be in the pit. And Taz actually takes him out. It's a wayward shot. But Cajun's done a great job here. He's kept them busy. A bit of burst fire with the Glock to finish the job. And this is pretty much done for Virtus.pro at this stage.
Right, I'm going to give you guys a rundown of the scores as we stand in this very moment. Starting off with that LDLC Kinguin game, which is all about the very bottom, basically, try and find their way off it. Kinguin can't change it, but LDLC can put themselves in a better spot. That's 9-6 on Overpass right now. Astralis EnVyUs, we saw it not too long ago. That's on train, 11-4 for Astralis. Inferno, we're seeing it now, of course. 13-3 between VP and North. Now, beside that, the heroic Na'Vi game is very close, actually, on Overpass. 8-7. Train between HellRaisers and IP, 13-3. Inferno, which is on the mainstream with between G2 and FaZe, is 13-3 as well. And Cash between Fnatic and Mousesports is 9-6. Favorably towards Fnatic, of course. But back into this round, we'll see what they can bring. VP, again, back to the wall. That T side wasn't convincing. We saw that crazy round where they went for that B hit, didn't even bother to check anything.
And VP don't have the option in this particular round to take any semblance of deep banana control. They have to turtle up in this site, and that's where they can be punished. You can see Pasha actually on the minimap there as well. He's cycling back in between the two because Virtus.pro don't have an early warning system in these rounds. It's too risky to come forward to get that information. So they just have to try and be reactive now.
Gotta play pretty slow, depend on those nice and broken pistols. We all love to talk about it. Deep smokes come in though, gonna limit what they can do here. AZ gonna get some good real estate, get that ground control building up. Player to the left though, player to the right. This could be a problem for AZ. Does find one, no refringe. Nothing.
That was
that's
dirty.
the dink. Yeah. Now he's got to run away. Find a bit of safety, none to be found. Good recovery from VP there.
Yeah, I mean, where Bialy was playing from, it is super hard to win out on, especially if you've got a second play there. AZ did well to get that first, and this is good for VP. Trade 1-for-1 at this stage when they're down in economy. But look at them back away. All the away. They managed to salvage a 5-7 from that kill that happened there on towards 80. So they take... Oh, no, sorry. They managed to pick up the pistol, yes. So there's UMP, I think, over towards Neo there. Thanks, Pat. So they're going to take the gun. They're going to run back over towards the B side and save it. They have to be very conservative at this stage, but they're running out of rounds to give away for free, Lauren.
Yeah, very true. This is coming to what looks like a bit of a close soon, but got to give a shout out to Pat there as well. She is observing like a
She's
absolute
changing
animal.
seats, by the way. Every time we change games, she actually has to get up and walk over to the other computer, sit down and do it. So she's getting a workout.
Pretty mad. Yeah,
it's great.
Good old Pat. Got to appreciate her.
We should just maybe like a hamster wheel for observers as well. Like that might be good. We can do something with that.
Yeah, we'll work on it and look at it. Config goes hunting. They can afford to do this as well. They want to keep that rifle. That's a really important one. Neo's going to farm some money and keep himself alive, which is actually very important. But you know they've got such little room for mistake on this. And VP, I'm not sold. This is looking really quite bad. And let's put this into context. So the big kind of threat for them is LDLC. So that's a big threat on the cards. If one leapfrogs the other or pushes the other down, furthers themselves away. And right now, LDLC are leading over Kinguin, so that's even more of a problem.
If Kinguin weren't a thing in the Pro League, Virtus.pro would very likely be that auto-relegated team. So that's quite lucky for them. Their flop in the second part of this season probably has no equal. In terms of online CS, at least, it's been very disappointing for them. We always talked about, Virtus.pro going to suffer a slump in the future. Obviously, TAS has got more commitments now, and that was just something we pulled out of the hat. But for whatever reason, they're struggling here, and you can see now that North have already moved into apartments to a degree. They're checking out these angles here. Again, VP always leave that loose player. This time it's Neo rotating back and forth.
He's going to just have to feel out the game. Not many more experienced men than him to feel like he has to put himself in the right place at the right time to be able to pull off, being relevant to the round. So we'll see how North play this one out. Not known for being completely into those fakes. This just looks like a good bit of a take towards mid. They've got that mid control now.
This is very VP, this
is extremely VP. It's nothing new. And they actually mess it up a bit there. Make noise too.
We've seen Pasha play that position with the Mag 7 on a few occasions. Actually, the two-man stack sometimes. So what Virtus.pro have done in this round where they actually don't have a lot of sort of weaponry is that they have actually got a relatively forward hold on Banana here. So they do have an early warning system, but no warning for that one. Config's going to take the head off of Snacks. Neo actually found MSL elsewhere over on the map here, but it looks like Virtus.pro are going to have to receive a bit of aggression here over towards the B site. But that doesn't confirm anything. Cajun B's gotten so deep in A now, the plan has changed for North. It's time to switch back.
Neo going to be in the right place. Here we go. Bomb's going to be coming in. There's limited time here as well. Neo could do something about this. Going to find another good positioning, kind of doing what he did. Well, KGB did to them, but now 10 seconds.
That's
Bomb's going to go down, yeah. And the other two VP players are pretty far away. But you know, it's always tough to play retake on this map. So don't write North off yet. Even with Magic's down to 28 HP, it's got to be careful. Nice shot towards Pasha. I don't know if you'd expect the next player to be there or if you'd already heard the shot.
I think Config would have seen them actually when it went over to Boiler, or would at least have an inkling about it. So I think for Magic it was pretty obvious. 15-3, so match point here in Virtus.pro. This is a very bad loss if they suffer it.
And a quick update from the Fnatic game as we speak. It's 10-7, Fnatic in the lead, but Mousesports on their T side did just manage to pull off a bit of an eco round, so a little bit crazy, a little bit back and forth. Neither of their monies have been solidified yet. That's over on cash as we speak. Third round in on the second half, so a lot still to be seen in that one. But as you said, this is the round that matters between this game, and this could be heartbreak for VP.
I mean, they really don't have the economy. They never had one in this entire game. This would be a crushing defeat. And this will solidify North solidly in first place, by the way. They have like a 100 round difference, I think, after this one. In the positive, of course. So that's very good from them. And VP, the worst part is they don't have the utility to get control of Banana as well. So they actually have to literally sit and await their fate. Just wait for North to come to them. They don't have the option to play aggressive here. And you can see Banana, they have to give all this ground. It's not looking good, I'll be honest with you. So just nothing but a 5-7 for Snacks. Pasha's got that mag 7, but Taz, that's a good opening there. He takes a chance by coming forward, and Snacks is in a good spot too. Now things are looking a little bit better for the Poles as Pasha on the other side of the map. He fights Magisk with the mag 7.
This is the round you give up, North? All right, let them back in the game. Give them a chance, open that window. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to, you know, walk through that window of opportunity. Don't get me wrong. But let's see if North can do much more this round. You're against 5 players with decent rifles now, still some utility, and you don't have much time left. And look at Pasha's position. It's looking almost a bit condemned at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much really North can do about this one. Pasha, a very straightforward wrap, and Config now is going to be surrounded. A process of elimination gives it away to Virtus.pro. They know exactly where to be looking, and that's good for them. Now they can supplement some of these weapons. They recovered those in the last round. 4 of their players have AKs, so that's how thrifty Virtus.pro have been to try and keep themselves in this game. They have no choice but to keep forcing in these rounds to a relatively full arsenal if they want to keep this game alive.
In just a moment's time, we will be switching over to that Kinguin LDLC game, which is also kind of very imperative to this storyline. If VP do lose this game, which looks quite likely, at this point at least, you know, further down the line, you'll imagine they might make a mistake. It'll take a lot for them to turn it around. You know, Neo just knifing Molly.
Did he just get hit by 2 grenades?
It might have just been the weird bounce there, because he
Maybe
kind of ran into it. But yeah, we'll be jumping in that to see how that one pans out. It'll be LDLC to make the difference, but so far the difference maker in this one was Config, but there's the reply back, a 1-for-1 trade out.
And Bialy now is a little bit more freer to try and back up things at balcony here as well. The flash was pretty darn good, and he had a chance to look in. Cajun B turns things around, though. He comes in, and it's just pistols left for North. They take it here. That'll be so typical of North to do something like this. Another smoke for Razy to replenish, and this is going to force Snacks to try and work around the edges here. The second smoke didn't obscure this. He can play on the fringes, but eventually he's going to have to come forward and deliver. It's a man advantage for North. 2 pistols, though. And that's a nice nade. That's really nice. Snacks just follows it up with a bit of extra damage. It's a headshot on towards Magisk. It's got to be go time pretty soon. And yep, smoke clears, and here they come. Flash come over the top there. Cajun B's forced to give a bit of ground. Snacks taking some molly damage, but it's fine. It's done. And Virtus.pro will keep it alive. 1 more round.
Yeah, just for now. Don't know how long that one's going to last, but they need to keep their money in check. They can't even be down to 2 players. You need to keep everything up here, keep everyone in that really well-set position. So maybe you could look at a double AWP if you fancy it down the line. For now, they can't do it, but just a quick update as well. NIP are currently trailing against HellRaisers too. Just hadn't given you a shout on that one in a while here. HellRaisers up 13 rounds. Not too surprising, I guess, in a way. HellRaisers are very good at train, but this has been a bit of a comeback, I guess, for NIP. String together a lot of rounds on the CT side, keeping a lot of players alive as well. So that's in the back of your mind here.
Definitely make it more competitive. But now, speaking of which, North, all Deagles, must be nice. They got themselves some armor for Config as well. But again, it's just trying to take rounds away from VP here. Config spots Bialy out there. It's going to be a tricky one. Bialy shoulder peeking, but the head goes off. That's a huge opening here. And perhaps there's something in this round. Perhaps there's something to it. The rest of North are headed in towards Banana here, and they've encountered minimal resistance up until this point. But this is where it gets interesting. North don't have utility. They don't have smokes, no flashes, no nothing, just those Desert Eagles here. So they have to go in dry, clean-faced, as it were, and challenge this out.
Mitch, this just looks like a FaZe pistol round. And just an update in case you guys didn't see it, FaZe got completely blown out of the water against G2. That was 16-4 over on Inferno. So, yeah, a bit of a one-sided affair on that one. And as we speak, MSL looking for opportunities over by B. Flash comes out, well played. And the point by Snacks, not overly fast. Good position as well coming through for Taz, just over by Nubox. Does get traded though, but the response comes back. So again, even though North are doing a little bit of damage here and there, it's being kept in check.
And they're spending a bit of money on these rounds. Eventually, if it goes at this rate, the round loss bonus is going to be sufficient for them to work back in with something a little bit more. They were hoping just to try and steal it away from VP there.
So even though this does look like a little bit of a comeback, we might have to start looking towards out of the game just to keep it in check. You'll imagine the North will grind that out unless something miraculous happens, but we've got to see the other side of the coin. What happens if LDLC win this? How much further ahead do they get? And at the moment, they are leading on this one. Not by as big of a margin as they were, but Twanu there going to close out that round for LDLC. The French and a little bit of a mixed side, I guess. But yeah, closing that one out is very important to them. And we look at a quick Kinguin as well. We've been seeing some questionable performances from Hyper. New addition to this Polish side. He came in towards it, and we haven't seen him step up to the plate yet on this stream.
Yeah, I mean, Furlan being removed from this team, obviously mid-season caused a few issues for Kinguin. There's a lot to be sorted out, and these guys need to be thinking ahead because regardless of the result here, they are going to be automatically relegated back to the Mountain Dew League. And that'll be another season before we see their return to the ESL Pro League. And that's just the way it is. They were, I guess, not found to be worthy ultimately. It's the way it goes. But now LDLC on this T side here, Existence, ballsy play from him, and he actually gets the 1-for-1. He cleanly faces on this B side and starts to whittle things down. A good follow-up by Mistu now means that Mishu's very much on his own for the moment here. He needs to give an account of himself.
Not in that time. Maniac's got his number, but not checked into that one. A little, I guess, checked out more than anything. Bomb's still in spawn, though, but Alex and Twanu going to have to go for quite some walkabouts. This is interesting positioning. It's
possible that Maniac overestimated the speed of LDLC's play on that B side and didn't expect there to be a rotator present already. The bomb has been left so far back here, though, and LDLC had plenty of options here. It was just contact on that B side, just take the fights. And now they have a few options, but this is awkward here. Bomb being carried back, and yeah, this is the challenge that I was talking about. Rallen actually manages to cut Twanu off at the pass, and he had the bomb. That's dropped, and Alex now has to go back and salvage this situation. And then the call's going to go out to Sparrow to get up towards his park and give the advantage, but quickly Alex is able to find and deal with Rallen. And Sparrow's going to fall back and probably try and put him in a position where he can have access to those two sites as easy as possible. But Alex, where does he go? Looks like Sparrow's going to make the correct call here in setting himself up towards Bank. Alex has no idea where this could come from. That could ultimately, on its own, prove to be fatal. There it is. Sparrow's going to make his way around from Bank, I believe it was. Yeah, straight through Optimus. Finds Alex and keeps Kinguin in the game.
And a quick update from that Na'Vi game that we started on between them and Heroic. Right now, it's 11-10. Heroic trailing by 1 round, but they have the money in their side. They're on the T side now on Overpass, so somewhat similar, I guess, to this. Not too far away from the scoreline. But a bit of a shoddy, well, not shoddy buy. You know, I look at the UMPs and I still think they're, you know, a normal SMG. They're not. They're essentially a rifle in disguise. So, again, don't write them out. They've got full utility set behind it as well. But this is a good map for Kinguin overall. This is one of the ones they had that very quirky strategy on. We didn't really see it coming through in there as of late games, but yeah, it looks like this will be 11-11 over in that Heroic Na'Vi game too, as right now Heroic have 5 players alive against only 2 for Na'Vi. But in this one, you can see LDLC taking that long control.
Alex has already made his way into the toilet block here. And for Sparrow, he may not hang around for too long here. It depends how much he's pressured. This is relatively aggressive now for 40 seconds into the round, but he hasn't seen anything to indicate that he needs to be playing more discreetly. Smoke's now down for him, and Maniac opts to head in towards Connector. So LDLC get to coalesce. They get to decide on exactly where they're going to hit the bomb. Once again in this round being left back, and they want to give themselves as many options as possible. Alex might be mildly frustrated by how he threw that smoke. It's hard to say. A little bit of a weird movement there. Again, LDLC want to play a pick game here and then try and find the right side to pressure, but they're running out of time.
Yeah, they are. Quick updates as well. The closeout games on the first map. North won against Virtus.pro. That was 16-6 on Inferno. The other Inferno game as well, as highlighted today, was that G2 game over against FaZe, which was a 16-4. Right now, 12-9, 4v4. Rallen falling away towards Bank. Flash goes over. Pressure comes in. Molly towards Optimus as well. That's a nice little touch there. Forced him out of that position. LDLC starting to push their way up, but Mal's already with that UMP to hand finds Alex. That's not gone too well, and Rallen waits for his moment to pounce as Twanu's going to find one, and Rallen doesn't mess up the shot, but the trade is almost inevitable at this point, isn't it? Bomb's gonna be looking to go down 10
Well,
20. What are you up to? Right out in the open, hoping for the best, and the spray doesn't come through. Miu is there. Miu doesn't let off on the steam.
Sometimes if you put too much faith in that smoke to be there and then it tends to dissipate, you find yourself in a bit of an awkward position, but let's keep moving there. So that's obviously 12-10 in favor of LDLC. Now back to this one, NIP. It's been a big comeback for them, Lauren, considering how much they were struggling here. And Get Right with the old favourite. Yes, thanks for pointing that out, Pat. He was a big proponent of the P90 back in his
Pat
time.
loves the P90. She has actually tattoos on her arm of not just the CT and T logo. She has a P90 across her forehead.
So all we need,
huge fan.
All we need now
Huge
is like a replica tattoo of Get Right's moustache that he had for November.
That was gorgeous, wasn't it?
That was great.
Or
I mean,
peach.
you know, you don't have to have that on your face, Pat. You can, put it on your wrist or something. That's fine. I wouldn't want to inflict that on you.
Anyway, yeah, this is a really good turnaround from NIP, considering the scoreline they had on the half. Yeah, this is actually very, very impressive. They pulled it back to this far, considering how diligent HellRaisers can be. But then again, FaZe brought back quite a close scoreline when they were playing here, when this came down. But at the moment, we're going to see a breakthrough, and there it is, the P90 and the mollies. That's what we're going to see. Go on, Get Right again. Do it again. Get the P90 out. It didn't work. That's a shame. The CZ took him down.
Regardless, for NIP, this is a pivotal round. It's where they start to bring things back, and HellRaisers weren't able to do too much about it. It is actually quite devastating if you get caught in a molly, if you jump into one or whatever, and then some bloke on the other side of the smoke who's spraying through, because obviously it affects your movement speed so much that you can often just fall to it in general. That's why the old grenade molly combo was pretty nasty for that exact reason. Even if you're not taking full damage from it, it can still hamper you. But HellRaisers buy back into this round. They've got everything they need and set Fox back on that AWP. And Get Right is, I love that wallbang. Who was it? Guardian. We saw pull that one out.
Guardian did it, and that just kind of like blew our minds. Striking though, going to find Zero. That's a nice little shout there. Good bit of aggression coming through from him. Get Right's actually got a nice P90. That's what upsets me even more. Good stuff. Angel having none of it. And now 4v4. And I remember talking to Get Right about this during that Dubai event we did. And they actually believed wholeheartedly in it, but right now, Dead Fox going to remind him, not a good plan here. Freiburg falls as well.
It's a big investment for an SMG, Lauren. That's the reality of it. When you can get a UMP, I don't know. Bomb down exists now. It still wants to challenge this one out. Clearly, there's enough money in the bank of NIP to warrant it.
I just really like the way there's one really triggered fan in chat just going off about we're not showing the LDLC game. Shout out to you, bud. Keep it up.
Stay mad.
This is looking a little bit more exciting now that actually HellRaisers look like they've remembered how to play this T side. So maybe we're going to put NIP on notice bonding.
Don't.
Didn't do the
I was
dirty.
going to say, don't config it.
Nah, just went for the execution instead.
Well, this is starting to get very interesting now. HellRaisers bring that round back. This is so reminiscent of last night. HellRaisers give all these rounds back when they go onto the T side, and then they manage to, just as things are getting dicey, just as we're even looking at overtime territory, they actually close the game out against FaZe. Speaking of which, FaZe have had a shocking couple nights then if this G2 trend continues into the second map.
And Nico bottom fragged.
Again.
Didn't even go positive.
He did that last night.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. See, maybe just a little tired, but somebody's not tired. As Dead Fox goes walking out. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, not any longer. Just, oh God, make it stop. Can we go to another stream? Guys, I don't want to see the P90 anymore. I don't want to see it.
I think Pat's really enjoying this, personally.
It's the grin that gives it away, isn't it?
Okay, well, that's worked out for Get Right, at least. You can see that he's sitting on a bit of money here in this particular round now, as is the rest of NIP, which is a very, very good sign. This is dicey for HellRaisers. If HellRaisers lose that round, they're going to be in trouble. But now we're going to head across to Fnatic versus Mousesports. And the Swedes look in pole position as Mousesports are forced to go for 2 Tech-9s and a Galil.
Roll off. On this one, Mouse, just straight in. We're just bouncing through. Swedish fans around the world be like. Double orbs, we like them. We know the Fnatic do as well. These boys bank on them, if anything. We know it on their CT side.
Yeah. Okay. Fnatic now on that map point there as well. And we did have Auto Director for a moment there. As
Shout out to you, Auto Director, keeping it real for years, missing those frags and sticking on dead bodies. We love you. It's better than Get Right with a P90 at least. So thank you, production, for being just a little spicy on that switch there. I liked it.
And the thing is for Pat, I think she's just realizing this. She's probably going to have to switch back in just a moment. Yeah, that's now occurred to her.
That's a happy face. Oh, that was almost a shot through the wall. Flusher. Smoke in towards main. Spots one towards Squeaky. It looks like he's just feeling the game, you know, that little smoothness to it, just taking fights out.
I really want to see more of this. I really want to see more of Fnatic in general, actually. I mean, I don't think I was really in love with their streak of dominance. I think they deserved it, but maybe, you know, too many events one in a row for my liking. But I want to see them get back there. I think it's healthy for the game, and I think the game has changed since then. And a win against a top 2 team here in the Pro League right towards the end is a very good thing.
Certainly is, and this looks like it could be all she wrote here. Lol, Rops, and Chris J to try and hold this one on, but they don't have the bomb down yet either. That's en route, but still a little way off, and JW comes alive on Cash. Nothing new there, and Crim's locking down a bomb site. Again, something similar, and there it is. There's the 16 rounds beside Fnatic. That's them winning over Mousesports on Cash. Quick updates from the rest of the games while we sort out the next one for you guys. Overpass right now between LDLC and Kinguin is 12-13, favorable to the French-ish. Astralis against EnVyUs. Now, that's an interesting one. That's still ongoing. It's still a little bit closer here. EnVyUs currently taking the lead, 13-12, after it was a bit of a bottom powdering there, Mitch, initially. Now, Train between HellRaisers and IP, 14-13, and then Overpass between... well, Na'Vi and Heroic is 8-7, so that's still in the half.
We've got a couple close games. We can't watch them all, but that was beautiful from Draken. He waited Sticko out. He gave it a tickle. He had the kit. What a great way to come back into this. And NIP make it 14 apiece. I'm glad we just caught that one. Beautiful stuff. And you can see what NIP have been able to do. Build up such a big bank. Pressure HellRaisers. And just before we switched, I said when it was 14-13, I said, if HellRaisers invest in this round and they lose it, they're in deep trouble. And you can see now why. They could force, but they're not going to. They're actually going to be forced to play for overtime. They get a couple pistols in here, but that's it.
And a reminder as to what this means, it's staying out of relegation or pushing yourself ahead. Give yourself a chance to stay away from that bottom 3. So these two are currently still tied on the same points. 10 wins, 14 losses, right down the middle. So these guys, they want that little step ahead. They might not be able to qualify, no. That would depend on a lot of other teams messing up, but they get a chance to just, you know, skim away from the LDLC Virtus.pro Kinguin mess. They want to avoid all that sort of noise. So this round, pretty imperative, and look at HellRaisers' money. It's completely trashed. And you know what I want to do is just never watch the Kinguin game just to upset you guys in chat. That's what happens. There you go. Blame yourself.
Well, I mean, look, to be fair, for Polish fans, it's probably a little bit of a more grim time. I'd be concerned as well, because you're potentially seeing both of your teams bowing out of the Pro League.
Be a nice person, Mitch. Come on now.
Well, I mean, there are many ways. I could spin that nicely and not nicely, but the point is I can relate to the interest in seeing it. We'll try and, look, we're doing our best to keep you guys up with as many games we possibly can, but Kinguin is already automatically relegated, and because that doesn't have a bearing on the standings really in terms of Kinguin themselves, that's why we're not seeing it right now. This is an important time to be checking with this game, NIP and HellRaisers at 14-14. You can see that HellRaisers are going to that magical probably 40 seconds or something else. It's a magic timing that they only know, and they're going to set up for some sort of execute.
Oh, it's got to be now. Look at it. Look at the time. Got 30 seconds left. Better get there. Better get running. Try and get that bomb plant in. Forest reading it well. Good utility being used. Oh, Freiburg! It wasn't all just a bit of free. It wasn't just the banana. It's a barbecue as well. And Forest just sprays into it. The bomb does come through for HellRaisers, and that's what you really wanted out of this one. And just for you guys in chat, because this one's going to be swept up. It's LDLC leading 14-11 as we speak. Kinguin were just on eco. They're now on the bye. So again, this is a big round for between Kinguin and LDLC. I'll keep you guys up to date as how it pans out.
Yeah, we'll probably duck back over to that one in just a second here. Angel, though, this could be a little bit of a... Ooh, he's found the molly. There could have been a chance there, but now he's taken so much extra damage. He needs to go in. Stop the defuse. No, he's not going to be able to. He just shuts him down. There was a chance. A chance there for Angel, but the timing was just not on his side. Let's jump over to Kinguin versus LDLC.
So Mihu and Suspero both got opening picks this round. It was very, very quick and quite early in the round as well, as you can see. Maybe a boost came through on that one. Now, LDLC having to operate with 3 is going to be quite tricky, but the money is on a real knife's edge here for Kinguin. I said before, the round prior to this, they were on very low money. So this investment is the best they could come up with. So they're going to have to bank on getting this round, otherwise the reset comes in. And a very late smoke comes out as well. That's one down towards Monster. That was set off to place by one of the 8 players. Now, you can see that already kind of hindered Maniac's approaches down to Mistu and Twanu.
Again, LDLC. This is, you can't afford to lose this game, because with teams like NIP and HellRaisers being so competitive, you could be forced to play in relegations next week, of course. Misty going to make his way forward, though, as well. At some point, he had to stand and deliver. Twanu might be able to make something of this, though. The spray down was not sufficient. And those last 2 players of LDLC weren't able to put up enough of a fight, and some weird money on the side of LDLC here, I'll be honest.
And what this means in the grand scheme as well is basically they're playing... So Godsend are the automatic team coming up. They're the ones who take the place of the bottom team. Now, outside of that, it'll be
Big and Penta.
and Big. So almost 2 German sides with the opportunity of breaking into this one. So that's an interesting one.
It could be crazy. It could be Polish teams out and German teams in.
Yeah, it could be. So yeah, very, very scary times. Now, into this round, 14-12. Kinguin keeping together the very necessary round that they had to win.
LDLC really want to close this one out, but again, if they make any mistakes or get too reckless, they could be staring down the barrel of an overtime here before they know it. No, Mystery seems to disagree with me. Well, mate, just win. That's all you have to do. And you can laugh all your way to the bank for all I care. Speaking of bank, Sparrow's heading back in that direction now, over past Optimus here, and it seems like something's given a bit of a hint about LDLC's positioning around this B site here. It's just the 2 players, though. So they've drawn 3 to this site. Even Sparrow's playing very close up here, so this A hit might be quite successful for LDLC. They've got a good advantage. They've got the opening here, straight towards Sparrow. He had no chance. Not even Optimus could have saved him if he could have transformed into something. A shield probably would have done the job. But Hyper has found Maniac. It's a man advantage for LDLC, and the bomb's down. That's a lovely little play on A.
Certainly is. Alex going to get the upgrade to the AWP. Not known for his AWPing, but he can drop that on to Twanu if they need it. And yeah, Kinguin know their money is on the ropes. They need to back away from this and keep as many guns up as they can going forward. So again, something very, very important for these guys. Now, again, this would basically solidify Virtus.pro being in that 13th position. It'd mean that basically the next maps will, 100% confirm it. But VP in 13th, and that's mostly due to the fact, one, they didn't win against North, so they stay there. LDLC, they'll push themselves up. They're currently in 12th, so they're ahead of Virtus.pro. This means for them they'll be on 10 to 15, which means they now leave VP a little bit further down.
We're going to switch over really quickly because EnVyUs is on match point up against Astralis on the map of Train. This, I don't know. We've missed it, but this is just the way things go here. It's been an insane night. EnVyUs, and it looks like they're going to be able to do it here. Happy finds Glaive to start things off, and Astralis are already mid-step trying to execute over on this A side. I call it an execute. This is all they've got.
Massive for EnVyUs as well. They're in 8th position, 12 to 12. If they win this and then one following, they're in a position to possibly get to those offline finals. What a crazy turn of events that would be. But Kiebi now going to try and keep things together, but it's not looking likely. 47 seconds, a 1v3, almost no HP, 18 to be precise. He's got it all, but not got the bomb. That's something he's severely lacking, and what he's lacking now is opportunities.
This would definitely be an upset. I think that's a safe answer. This was supposed to be the team that came up worse in the trade, but Kiebi's managed to make it competitive in this round. It's 1 versus 2. He's got 2 HP. You've seen him win these, but it's not going to be easy. The bomb is away from him. EnVyUs can turtle up and play it safe. Kiebi needs to get to it, and he has no choice but to try and go for this. Even if he falls off the top of the Train, by the way, he'd be done. But that's going to be it. EnVyUs take the first map against Astralis. What a performance on Train. Stunning stuff from the French side.
Yeah, that is mad. So just a quick update from that Kinguin game. Kinguin stayed alive. They kept themselves alive in this one. 13 to 15 as we speak. So LDLC still a match point. But Kinguin gave themselves a little bit of leverage. They are fighting this one out tooth and nail. They don't want to let this one drop, but it doesn't really matter for Kinguin, but I guess they could be fighting for their Polish brethren here as well to give them a shot.
And LDLC buy into this round knowing that Kinguin don't have a fully solidified economy yet as well. I mean, they had to definitely split their pennies, the Polish side at least, to try and get something going, but they can stay alive in this one. LDLC need to keep their wits about them here if they want to close the match out, and Maniac's going to be the player forced to play with very little.
Yeah, Maniac only on that P250, bit of a shame, but you can kind of play that. It'll just have to kind of be the support system for a player, maybe be the tradable factor. Doesn't even have utility either, and they have such limited amounts on LDLC. I don't know what they intend to do. I guess they have like one big shot at making a hit happen.
In the previous round we saw from LDLC, just before we switched over, they didn't actually have a lot in that round either, but they made a very well-calculated push towards this A side, managed to overwhelm, because Kinguin had early rotated, I think, a 3rd player towards B, and they managed to take advantage of that. They've got a minute left, and to get all that information and then make that informed decision is never easy. There's 2 mollies, a flash and a smoke for LDLC across the whole team, that's it.
But flash comes in, and it is good. Alex gonna find Mouse, and now the push begins. Maniac goes down, not too surprising to be fair. Mistu overwhelmed. Mihu did manage to find Maniac, so now the bomb site's pretty much under control here. Bomb's gonna go down, and this could be it. This could be all she wrote. Kinguin bow out of this one, no surprises there. But this puts down Virtus.pro in a really dangerous position as well.
Yeah, not good. I mean, they were already in a dangerous one, and it would be tough to drag themselves out, especially getting shellacked by North in that previous game. But this is beautiful. I do love like a B-side contact play on this map from a T side here.
Updates from elsewhere as well. Heroic just beat Na'Vi 16 to 14-2, and there it is. LDLC win out. Na'Vi losing to Rogue, throw everything up in the air. those standings are going to be insane right now. I think almost every game's over. We're going to, I guess, catch almost nothing. So on mine, apparently it's already been done. So sorry, boys, spoilers, but I guess 2 UMPs and a CZ, it's not too surprising.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the live result. This is Go TV, so this is a little bit delayed. And yeah, it looks to be the case. You can see Yugi there as well, who had a bit of a slower start. We actually haven't checked in with this game for a little while. But Ziggy's being put in a position where he needs to try and make the big play to give it to Na'Vi here as well. And I'm surprised it's Snappy to finish things off there. And what an interesting little fly around the grounds, Lauren. I think CSGO casting's a little bit more interesting when you get to jump between games. It's also interesting watching our Reserva run back and forth between PCs.
Look, so for now, shout out to production, Pat, and you guys in chat for chilling with us. And everyone else basically involved right now to keep this one going. I know it's manic, but thank you for kind of chilling with us so far. So should we do a bit of a kind of, I guess, recap of what we've seen so far to a degree? So I guess some of the more, I don't know, there's been some really weird results so far. I think the FaZe one is going to be turning a lot of heads there. It started with FaZe and G2. G2 winning that one over on Inferno at a 16-4 result. That was the one that kind of was first to close, I guess. The most one-sided scoreline was the one that was on the mainstream. So that's, you know, Henry and Matt having a nice chill time. They get away scot-free. Now outside of that, North did manage to take down Virtus.pro 16-4. That was over on Inferno as well. Probably the next most one-sided matchup. Very, very, I guess, devastating for Virtus.pro. That means they are now looking like they are in that second spot to be relegated or, you know, fight for relegation. That means they have to face off against Penta or Big. And Penta aren't that German, I do forget. Then after this one, I was just like, wait, there's like one German left, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of results coming in. I think we might be able to find out from the desk, the main desk itself, as to how it's going down. Broses.
Oh, you fixed it.
I fixed my
yeah. They just covered 90% of it.
Yeah,
But,
we wanted to do some work.
Thank you, Lauren and Mitch, for doing that
thanks,
for
Lauren.
us. Shall we say what all this means?
Well, they didn't go over all the scores, so I'm just going to run down them one more time.
let's
So
bust them
G2
out.
obviously beat FaZe. I didn't mention that one, 16-4.
Okay.
North beat VP 16-6. Fnatic beat Mouse 16-10, which
Okay.
is big. Nip versus HellRaisers, or over HellRaisers 16-14. Envy over Astralis 16-13. Heroic over Na'Vi 16-14. LDLC over Kinguin. And here are the updated standings. So with that win, G2 is in.
Yeah, so they should be on 15. Obviously, it's going to take a while to get those things updated properly, but they should be on 15 wins at this point. So
They were at one point in last place in the league, about
Yeah.
3 or 4, was it 4 or 5 weeks into the season?
That's
they were down
insane,
there?
right?
That's not bad.
So I think that means that now if FaZe beat G2, that they should also be qualified. Don't quote me on that. And then we have a bit of a problem with Astralis losing that up to Envy. They've given a lifeline to Envy here to potentially pull on into that 6th position, I believe it is, and Heroic beating Na'Vi. So the two teams who I didn't think had any business coming into this top 6 have a real shot right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's focus on a couple of the big ones. Obviously, I think Fnatic Mouse Sports is huge for Fnatic, obviously.
Yeah, for Fnatic indeed,
That's going to be really nice that they're able to do that. What other one? Envy over Astralis, like you said, just opened the door.
Yep.
Heroic and Na'Vi, that hurts Na'Vi quite a bit. That Na'Vi versus Fnatic was like the big question mark we had between those two teams.
So this is where we get into like the really weird kind of positions. Can we bring up those standings again?
Because well, here's the tough part about it. Since there's so many different outcomes that there's no possible way that we can have all of them listed down.
You don't want me to go through every single one.
But you have to make like assumptions, right? Of what's like the safe match to build your arguments off of. And I think if you're doing that, Astralis beating Envy on Train or tonight over 1 or 2 maps would have been the assumption you'd make to start building something around, right? So this is kind of the win that throws everything up because now Envy's still alive. Now Na'Vi is a big question mark as well. Heroic has a possibility. Fnatic's still a question mark. So nothing has been solved except for G2. They're happy.
And G2 are in.
Yeah, G2
and now
are in.
FaZe have to win Cage.
Yeah.
Versus G2.
Do they have to? If they don't win either map and the other teams
14.
lose, could they make it?
I think they could because like there could be a lot of teams who are also on 13 or 14.
So I'm assuming this is going to come down to tiebreakers at the end of the night.
Yeah,
That's going to be quite fun.
What happens is, for those playing at home, it becomes like a mini league between the teams who are tied.
Yeah.
And then it goes head-to-head, and if the head-to-head can't be broken, it goes to round difference.
Yeah, that works.
I think that's right.
It's the phrasing of the mini league. So these look updated.
Okay, yeah. So G2 definitely are on 15 wins. Astralis lost that game, so yeah, they
14-11.
extra loss. So FaZe and Astralis now have a chance to redeem themselves and get 15 wins, which would mean that EnVyUs would only finish on 13 wins. Heroic would only finish on 12 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that means...
the big thing is, I mean, look at that 3-way tie now for 4, 5, and 6.
So Na'Vi have to hope that Fnatic don't win the second map to give them any chance of getting into the top 6.
They have to win their second map.
Oh.
As well.
Boy.
Spicy, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, listen, here's what we're going to do, Chad. We're going to go to a quick break.
I like breaks.
We're going to digest what we're seeing on the screen right now. We're going to figure it out. We're going to come up with some cool points for when we return.
Can we have a Kit Kat?
Yeah, we will.
Sweet.
Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we'll start sifting through all that for you.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Legion Lenovo, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Welcome back to Conference Day here at ESL Pro League. So many matches going on at once, everyone vying for a couple playoff spots. G2 has locked in their position, their place in the playoffs.
Good.
I got through that sentence.
Good.
Did you like Conference Day? I feel like this day should have a special name.
In terms of sporting, what is it actually? Isn't the conferences like the East and West Coast in basketball?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on where you are, but there's like different conferences and then different divisions
hockey,
within each
apparently.
conferences. Yeah, so.
But this wouldn't really be considered Conference Day.
No, yeah, we should come up with a better name. We'll give it a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe by the end of the day, we
Maybe
can have
tweet
something
at us
proper.
and we'll come up with a better name.
Tweet at us and use the hashtag ESL Pro League.
And we'll give you no credit for it.
Yeah, respond. We'll respond.
Maybe I'll like your tweet.
Those are hot commodity these days. We are going to hop back into G2 versus FaZe. That's going to be the next matchup that we're going to feature here in the mainstream.
I just want to say, I feel like we've disappointed everybody, Jason.
Why
That
is
was
that?
the hot match, and it was cold.
Yeah, it
Ice
was
cold.
like that leftover burrito that you put in the fridge and you nibble on a little bit later.
Yeah, the way the rice congeals,
Yeah, with the sour cream.
Yeah.
And the cheese isn't very.
that's kind of what that match felt like.
Some of the salsa drips all towards the bottom, so you have an uneven distribution.
Well, I don't know if it's going to get any better for FaZe on Case, right? We've seen them have a lot of troubles on this map recently, even though it's one that, they kind of made their name on, especially with that a much different roster, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're talking almost the whole roster. Is
You're pulling the Henry G, doing your
Pulling
FaZe
Henry G.
analysis from 2 years ago in a different lineup.
Yeah.
I like it.
I learned from the best.
So here's a good way to put it. If you're FaZe and you need to win 2 maps to qualify, I don't think they'd be upset with Inferno and Cash as the 2 maps that they would have to qualify.
Yeah, I guess they need 1 map now, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like saying going into this, right? If
Oh,
they
they
have
would've
2
been
maps
happy.
to
Yeah,
qualify,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's like a pick ban phase for a BO3, I think there's a good chance that we see Inferno and Cash.
For sure.
Yeah, FaZe would like them.
Yeah.
So plenty of chances here. It's just all about we haven't seen FaZe put together a full game since they got back from Sydney.
Yeah, and just the way that they got run over in that match was just crazy, right?
This is the strength of G2, right, though? This is why we say, look at the players they have. They have 3 players that, if they go off, can take over a game. In that first game on Inferno, you even saw the G2 players tweeting out, thank you, Shocks, for just winning, to getting us into the playoffs.
That's the X factor of Shocks, right? But then you have the X factor of Nika, who will need to step up equally as hard if they want to have any shot at getting to these playoffs, which they definitely do, right? Like, this is a big event, and you play against a lot of teams. We get broken down into 2 groups of 6 when we finally get to the LAN and stuff. And to win like a Pro League, I always think it's kind of prestigious because you put in a lot of time for a Pro League, right? It's like,
it's
like
a lot of
10
investment,
weeks,
right?
and then we have finals. And to win that, you're winning over like a bigger field. I know it's all about getting to the LAN and you have to perform at the LAN, but to come at the top of the league, it's quite a hard thing to do. It's a grind, and we're seeing on this final day right here that it isn't, every game mattered. You're in the position you're in right now because of matches you lost earlier in the season, and now you need to really step up and win the games you have to. Yeah,
and I mean, make no mistake, FaZe is going to definitely have to step up here on Cash. We are going to be getting into that. On the B stream, it's going to be Heroic and Navi. That's going to be with Pansy and Uber. But here, G2 versus FaZe, Sadicus and Henry G.
Yep, it's ready. It's time. G2 taking the first one very...
We're back. We're going to cut them off.
Yeah, we gave you a little taste of what was happening over on the mainstream. I guess you guys can check that out if you go down onto YouTube. You can see it underneath. So if you want to check that one out and see how that one goes, maybe, FaZe stop disappointing. Maybe they don't. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, it definitely seems like a little bit of a slump since returning from Sydney, and that maybe can be allowed to a degree. But of course, they want to be at the finals of the Pro League. That's kind of the point for FaZe. They've been present at, a number of the top events consecutively this year and have had good performances in the latter part of it. One thing I want to say before we get started here, this is obviously quite an interesting way of going around the grounds and going to the games. And some people may be disappointed, I guess, about missing certain rounds and stuff like that. You have to deal with it. We've got 7 games. We're running straight through them as well. I know the timing may not make sense to you, but there's often a reason we're doing that, so you need to bear with us. It's either this or you don't see any of the others. So we're doing what we can here, and we're going to be jumping around a lot. Laura, we've got 7 more games now coming up.
Yeah, that sounds intimidating.
7.
But we are going to be focusing on that Navi Hero game just because purely that first result was pretty worrying for Na'Vi and very good for Heroic. This throws everything in the air. Now, they can be playing on Cobblestone. An overview as to what's happening on the other streams. You can watch the pistol go down as I speak. LDLC and Kinguin are now playing on Inferno. Virtus.pro and North on Cash. This is the Cobblestone game. Outside that, FaZe on Cash against G2. Fnatic and Mousebots on Mirage. NIP and HellRaisers on Cash. And EnVy playing Astralis on Inferno. As soon as the results come in, I'll keep you guys up to date. But we can focus on this one here because Na'Vi, you've got to hope they recover because this is a disastrous end to their season.
And again, 2 wins would guarantee them a safe spot, but now things are up in the air a little bit more for these guys here, so they sure as hell better win this map out of things that are even more interesting. And this map concerned me lately. It has concerned me a little bit for Na'Vi, their Cobblestone. It's definitely not been the strongest of their offering. It's been the train and overpass for them have been strong, and they've already lost one of those 2 tonight, so not ideal. But it's 3v3 in the pistol now. C's playing up close to the site. Nico straight around the corner, though, nicely barreling in here. Here's a chance for Simple, though. He kind of fluffs the first shot, though, and he can't get both of them. Now it's the 1v2. The bomb yet to be planted, though.
Yeah, and Edwards, hard to find a step into that one. Modi going to take him down before he had a shout. And Modi's actually been a very solid player, a bit of a rock-style player almost, you know what I mean? He's just solid, consistent. He goes on those lurks, those flanks, and really provides that sort of kind of, I guess, out-there play, that little bit of a quirky play occasionally. He can be a really pressure point for any team against him. But we'll see if Heroic can keep this up. That's the perfect beginning. Keep Na'Vi on their toes, keep them guessing, push them back a little bit.
Now round 2, is Na'Vi going to be going for Desert Eagles 5-7 as a CZ here for Seized to play through that drop room, and he's even bought a grenade as well. So there's a little bit here for Na'Vi.
And pistol round updates coming through. FaZe won their pistol over G2, or at least the first round. Fnatic over Mouseboards, and VP over North. But we'll catch up with the rest of that in a moment's time, see if they can get the full 3 out of those other matchups. But this is where you want to convert things for Heroic. They want to keep it clean and a perfect read, a perfect play thus far. And I wonder if they're going to be able to pull it off smoothly.
Up the slope now for Heroic. They've spotted Simple up towards the side. Now, they don't chase it too far because he is baiting them back into a concentration of plays here for Na'Vi over towards Connector. Site control established for Heroic here, and Na'Vi realizing they may have stacked incorrectly, and there's no point investing these weapons or potentially throwing them away to push out of Connector. They're going to back right away.
In their current standing, Na'Vi are out of that top 6. They've been taken over and pushed out. Fnatic currently sitting in that 6th spot. So this is what you got to keep in mind. Na'Vi need this win to just put themselves back in the top 6. That's as everything stands. This could all change down the line, but just coming back in after those first round matches, your top 6 so far are North, Mouse, G2, Astralis, FaZe, and Fnatic. As said, a lot can still change.
And bear in mind, there's only 2 rounds in round difference between Fnatic and Na'Vi on that ladder there as well. So I don't know what the mini league comes to in terms of their head-to-heads, but they're super close on the ladder in terms of that metric at least. So they can bring things back. If they don't win this map, they probably don't go to finals. That's looking to be the case here.
And here we go, a very clean round for Heroic. Exactly what the doctor ordered in this one. Keep 5 alive, a nice bomb plant, no threat, no worry, no problem. Na'Vi, though, threat and worry is something that's certainly in the back of their minds, or at least I'd hope in the forefront now. Still have the pistols retained. They can now supplement that maybe with... no, you don't really want to buy it all, tell a lie.
No.
Yeah, sod that for a laugh. Simple, and actually gone for the Zeus. I guess you got to have some bang for your buck, right?
I mean, and this is Na'Vi without... From buying very little in this round, already down to under 2k, a lot of those players. So it's not even going to be that stellar of a round 3 buy. That's because they're just straight up not getting a lot done. That last round, I think they got 1 kill, maybe. And then the rest of them back, maybe not even that. Had to back away very, very quickly. They kept 4 alive. So Guardian wants to play up close here and hope that someone feeds over to him. It's so hard to get information from this position as Na'Vi. You've got to play a bit aggressively for it. Flaming an opportunity. The swing out's there, but it's traded immediately. Now Everett needs to chime in. But Nico... playing a bit scared. He did take a Desert Eagle hit down to 61 and try to back up.
Yeah, a little bit worrying as Yugi is so low. There's still threat on the board. Simple may not be the one to do it with the Zeus, but you can see the Valdi now pretty much pressured to do something with this. But look at C's position. If he can hear, if he gets a little bit of an inkling, if he times it right, there's trouble afoot, and there is. C's finds Yugi. That's the bomb down. Now Simple strikes as well. And the timing is perfect. Valdi now with 57 seconds to try and pull this one back together to keep Heroic in with a chance of that clean 3. As thus far, only Fnatic are the ones to keep that sort of scoreline favourable at 3-0 over Mousebots.
Appropriate gun name for Valda here, but he's going to have to deal with another UMP in the form of Simple. He didn't spot him! No, he didn't check the corner properly, and Simple just springs forth from the shadows to find him. Had the Zeus, thought to opt against it. And now Heroic do give that round away. That was Na'Vi's look in. They had so little. They saved 4 guns in round 2. they had the player that died in that particular round not buy anything more. I believe that was actually Simply, who just had a USP in that round.
And here's your updates. FaZe currently 3-0 up over G2 on Cash. They picked up the first 3 cleanly. Same can be said for Fnatic over Mouse Sports. Still waiting to see if NIP and Astralis can do the same against their opponents. But outside of that, Kinguin and LDLC, Virtus.pro and North, both tie up at 1-1 thus far.
It's interesting. It's that second round force 1 out in both of those games. Could produce a very interesting scoreline for the first half. But for now, we're going to stick on this match. Soon we'll be switching over. And it looks like it'll be VP versus North will be our next destination. HellRaisers will all group up here towards this A side. Now, again, they're not in a position to really learn a lot about exactly what's afoot here for Na'Vi. And slowly Na'Vi are bringing Edward back into connector and getting him ready to help out. Now here comes the push. The call comes out for Na'Vi. They know it's going to be hit on towards A. Flamey throws the cautionary Molotov down, but he's sprayed out. He's down. It's 5v4 now.
And I love how Simple plays this spot normally. I'm actually a really big fan of how he plays cannons. I don't know if he's going to have the best of times. He is. He's been unleashed here, finding one, but anymore might be tricky, but no, it's Simple. And there's nothing simple about how he plays that spot. It's a masterclass. Watch it again, how he does the underhand smoke. He plays around it. He hinders the approach towards the side. He makes it uncomfortable for the T's. But Snappy now in a near on impossible situation, but that's a big frag. The 1v3 might not be so impossible, but where the bomb's down makes it very tricky. As said, VP North is on the horizon after this round, but for now, it's all about Snappy and what he can achieve.
Captain and caller for Heroic. Now, at least under the tutelage of Fetish, who was a Dignitas player going way back. Kind of popularized at the time the idea of pushing smoke with a flash, but that's going to be Na'Vi to make it in 2-2. Let's make a switch.
And an update being, so the first round went to Virtus.pro here on Cash. Now, after that, 3 rounds back-to-back for North, and they've been pretty clean. Minimum 3 alive throughout 4 in the last 2, so their money is actually very well set in comparison to Virtus.pro's, which is on a bit of a knife's edge. This is the first buy that VP are going to have in this game, and so far they've been locked out of B.
Pasha tries to break back in, where Config's going to receive him there in check as Neo goes ahead of the smoke, almost gets the killing blow on MSL, but backs away as the smoke plumes, and MSL actually ends up getting the better of him there. Config finds Snacks, and Taz and Bialy have very little look in on this B side. It's a nightmare enough to retake anyway, let alone 2v5.
And remember, if you're wondering why we're not checking out that G2 FaZe game that often, it's because on the mainstream right now with Henry G and Sadicist. Check it out just down below.
We won't be going to that one at all.
No point. That's already been fully covered. That's on I'm not sure. I think it's Inferno. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, check down below. You can see it in the listed streams. 12K viewers right now, so they're fine. They're doing all right. Stick here with us. We're much better. We're cooler people. So are you. So don't worry about it.
We don't have any heroes though, but we're working on it.
You can be my hero.
Okay, 4-1 here for North. The bomb does go up, and Virtus.pro committed 1 extra player after the fact. Taz, a slow start. 0-4 for him in this one. However, he stays alive another round. He keeps that weapon, and now VP are going to force around it with some pistols.
And while this happens, I'll try and keep you up to date with the other scores as they come in. Currently, as highlighted, Na'Vi 2-2 against Heroics. That one kind of got flattened out, but FaZe off to a great start over G2. 5-0 as we speak. So they really took the lead in that one. They needed to after that last map, but Config might be in for a bit of a stat padding here. Going to find one and expects more, and right to be feeling so. Neo the first to fall, but many could be following suit.
The timing on the pop flash was so good, and VP are trying to stack B main here. Config gives it a respectable distance, falls down eventually, but takes 2 with him. And Virtus.pro don't have much map control off of that one here, and North have made the correct decision. It was essentially a stack over towards that B side, as would have been uncovered by Config now, seeing so many players at B main. It's a bit unusual for that to occur at all. And so North can make a leisurely trot over towards A, get the bomb down and take position.
Yeah, the recovered gun is nice for Snacks. He's happy with that. Going to try and put himself in a comfortable position somewhere where he can't be found. And I think the rest of VP are doing the same. The only one who's kind of expendable, I guess, is Pasha. So an idea of what's happening outside of this is EnVyUs currently trailing 1-3 against Astralis on Inferno. Kinguin against LDLC is 3-1 to the French-ish side. And the interesting one for me, come back to that instead. Pasha's down to 1 bullet in the clip. Going to switch that one up. Taz did find MSL, but really North's money is pretty good so far. They haven't been suffering too many costly rounds, so they're still in a decent spot overall.
And they managed to take that weapon off of Snacks. He was saving an AK that he managed to pick off of Config, but that was eventually taken off of him, and Virtus.pro take nothing from that round. They're forced to make a full expenditure now in this round number 7.
Yeah, looking at this, we finally see the AWPs coming out here. Snacks, that's what I want to be seeing. What can he do with this one? Cajun B on the other side. Not Config this time. So again, North have variety. They have options available. And so far, this is one of the more one-sided games here. The only one outside of that is the FaZe game.
And this is the kind of map as well where North probably don't always want config on the AWP, especially when the T side's going to be a little bit more pick-based and less, you know, blatant aggression and fast play. And SK do that as well, actually. You'll see them put an AWP in Taco's hands on Cash A side, and of course on B side. So Cash A side for CT and Cobblestone CT on that B platform. So teams are mixing it up now. We've got a lot of talent with AWPers in these top teams.
Yeah, we do. We have some specialist players in this one. You've got to look at Config as one of those players who can always play towards B very well. He's actually a bit of a master at it on occasion, so keep your eyes towards him. Just so you guys know out there, NIP against HellRaisers, that's where we'll be checking into next after the next round or so. So that's what's going to be coming up in just a moment's time. Going to see where they're going and what they're up to and how that one's panning out between those guys.
In fact, quite similarly to this game, but we'll get onto that in a moment here, is Cajun lost out an AWP duel against Snacks actually at the start of the round. He picked A main, if I'm not mistaken, and Snacks took a fairly comfortable shot. The aforementioned has backed away towards Truck here. AZ is also playing towards A main, but has opted not to pick up the AWP here as well. It's going to be North, probably just to pressure in now with a little bit of this utility to back up, but MSL not ready for the player over towards Truck. He exposes himself, and Snacks found a second off screen. This leaves AZ all on his own here, and he's barely made his way out of A main. Taz is going to put him out of his misery there, and that's a good combo from Snacks and Taz. The Virtus.pro AWP pays off.
The power of Snacks, but let's speak about games that are sitting at 5-1 scores. We're back into one. HellRaisers struggling clearly on Cash here, not providing much of an opponent. Train was a different affair, but this time NIP off to a very good start. Last time they had to build back in on that CT side. You know, throw your minds back to that.
And HellRaisers had an excellent T-side performance against FaZe last night on this particular map. It actually fell apart for them on the other half. So this is maybe a little bit more concerning, but again, remember, if you win that pistol and convert the first gun round, this is the position you're going to be in. Forest has found 0, and that bomb is heading on over towards A main. So Dead Fox and Bondic are going to have to try and coordinate here with nothing but a Glock and a Desert Eagle to work their way through. Draken spotted out. Oh, that's very exposed for the NIP AWPer. He's actually lucky to get away with that one, but Forest makes it a much cleaner affair and exists as well, spraying down on towards Bondic in Squeaky. Angel's a Bond agent as well.
Oh, no. That's never fun. That's no good.
Well, he's with the original Bond agent as well. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Bondic actually is named a weapon after that.
And the thing with NIP is their rounds have been very good and very clean. Even at the start, they had 5 alive for the first 2 rounds, and then there was finally a little bit of a turn of events, but they still won it anyway, as you can highlight by the score, of course. So money isn't necessarily an issue yet. Oh, is this some seed-side aggression? Bit of a boost we're going to see here. Forest, show me what
It's
you
a
got
late
here.
boost.
He's also trying to help out Drake and allow him to get aggressive. It kind of plays into these hands. Now he's going to make the noise back away, but they won't expect the boost, surely
Yeah, they've got a 3-man stack here at A, I guess, early on. So this is what we see from Nico, actually, although it happens very early. And Rain, it's he and Rain that usually play 2 men at this site and just do an earlier boost so Rain can actually get a better position. But with 3 players on this site, the booster can just get the boost into position and then head over towards Highway or something similar and still trust that A's covered. So this could be nasty. Angel ready for it. Oh, very close. Exist lucky to get out of that one alive.
Yeah, just about makes it away. 4 players now remain for HellRaisers. Angel not doing any better than before. Sprays in wildly Bondic there through Squeaky, but you're in a tough position
Who's
here.
008? It's 008 Trevelyan or is he 006? I can't remember. You know, Alec Trevelyan, the bad guy? I don't know. Anyway, he's another MI6 agent. Who cares? Draken now getting pressured heavily over towards that forklift. He will fall. Oh, it's Dead Fox to make his way through. So now Get Right has to think fast, but Dead Fox was just a little bit quicker, pressing towards Quad. The pre-fire clearly yielding dividends, and Forest can only really stand up and get one before he's taken down. You never seen GoldenEye, Lauren?
I don't remember it that well. It's a very dude thing, you know? It's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, I know loads of guys at the time loved James Bond.
You talk about video games, Lauren. You got more of a potting mouth than I don't even...
Don't know what you mean. I've never sworn that. Thank you very much. And speaking of things that aren't true either, is that NIP are running away with this game. Finally, HellRaisers do come back into this and get one on the board. I know, right? So just so you guys know, I think next on the horizon will be that FaZe G2 game. If you do want to get the full picture, head over to the main stream. We're going to be checking in shortly just to keep you guys up to date.
Yeah, for $39.99 a month, you can get the full caster package, including non-budget casters and a full-length game, which is pretty great. Pay us the money, pay it to my PayPal, and then go over to the stream to watch it. That's how that subscription service works.
Good stuff.
4 rounds in it though, with NIP. That CT-sided aggression, but Dead Fox just slaps and exists back into position. He's not having any of it. Draken gets 2. 2 players play aggressive towards A main, and Draken's not done yet. Pressing forward. And that makes things a little bit awkward for Bondic, who is in Squeaky, but he's got no backup now. Not much to be done. I think he actually sprayed Draken down to half health through the wall on the other side of A main. That's pretty impressive. Cute, even.
And HellRaisers need this game, considering the LDLC are right next to them now, both at 10 to 15.
Bundy just flashed himself.
Oh, God, he's having a mare, isn't he? The games where you don't want that to happen, of course it does. Zero going to trade out. Get right will claim him. We're down to the 3v2. That's a shot from Sticko. Clearly confident they're going to get the bomb across. Now, Bondek wants to be relevant as he can to this round.
That's really big.
Yeah, that individual 1v1 might just change the outcome of this game. Well, this round.
Oh, let's get hyperbolic. I'm fine with that. Forrest has dropped into checkers here. And look, honestly, Draken's a long way away here. So for now, Forrest has to try and take this 1v1. He knows he's got two 1v1s he could choose from in general. The one at headshot box and the one otherwise. Grabs himself an AK, fancies a bit of that one-tap potential. Sticko is looking healthy. Bondek is also playing so cagely, it's hard to find him. He's taken a slight amount of wallbang damage and the swing out is good. Finds the head of Forrest and now Draken has to make it happen all on his own.
Draken, time, just needs to play it smart. He doesn't need to do much more, and here it is. That round will go in IP's way, but we will be jumping into that FaZe game in just a moment's time. Now, currently sat at 6-5 as we speak. It was a great start for FaZe. They went on a 5-round tear, all theirs, but as soon as that buy came back in for G2, Shox has kicked off, as has Kenny S. The Dastardly Duo is back in the game. We've got 12-8 already on Shox, Kenny on 11-6, so this has been a very heavy hitting game for them.
Bomb just being picked up in the middle of the map there as well, so that should be headed in a moment. G2 not yet decided. They are, of course, playing a fairly pick-oriented approach to this round. Smoke in A main. Rain, of course, not going to push it at this stage. Or will he? You know what? He may as well just push it. Shox has got the one-arm dab going on, but Rain can't see either. Both of those guys, it's an awkward meeting inside A main, but ultimately kills are traded. A close round indeed. And Nico trying to follow up with a bit more aggression, but this time it was just one step too far.
I don't know if anyone's close enough to hear that connection, but Alu incredibly mindful of mid, but that might not be where the threat really lays here at this point. He has been spotted now as well as they cross towards A and the bomb goes down. Two of the players already in good position to deny and be able to cross. Doesn't even get a chance. Body there. Lives up to the name, puts Alu down. And oh God, I forgot about that wallbang that this man has.
Yeah, and he's done it since then as well. I think he did it in ECS or something similar. DreamHack. Was it DreamHack? Yeah. Yeah, so this guy, he does the thing. And it seems to work out. I mean, to be fair, if the timing's there, it's kind of predictable to have that player walk over into... See, for example, if Nico had followed Rain, he probably would have been susceptible to that. Or regardless, I'm getting excited. FaZe going to buy him with some pistols here. There's no armor to speak of, so we're actually not going to see them even play up too aggressively on this map. Carrigan will probably just turn anti-flash if he has to and try and whip around with the CZ and slow up G2. There is definitely stopping power in that position and in that weapon. But G2 played that last round fairly slowly, and you should expect the same here in the early stages.
Yeah, being careful, being cautious, keeping those guns up. We know the French sides do have very good anti-ecos. Classically, you know, most French teams have this very well-constructed B hit with a lot of mollies coming in. I wonder if they still have that in their back pocket. MBK not needing it. Carrigan goes down in one swift move. Nico, though, Deagle ever deadly.
Definitely something you need to respect here. Good start. Now, Keo, that was wasteful, I guess. A bit of a quick CZ spray through the smoke to see if he could find anything. NBK was susceptible to that. He was low, but Alu's not able to connect with the P250. A headshot would have been great there, but it's not awarded. Rain can't do much at all either. It's just he and Nico to combine. Nico with an AK. And of course, given that this was sort of the well-behaved round, the save round, I use that with air quotes, as this FaZe we're talking about, Nico doesn't mind investing that AK. And Rain managed to just pluck the head off Body. There's no weapon to be recovered. This might be heading towards safe territory, but yeah, Rain is hoping to do a little bit more damage before the round is done, but his opportunities are minimal. And this is a G2 bolstered by a fantastic performance in tours over the weekend. Obviously, we weren't able to be there for that one, Lauren. We were in Sydney, but... And of course, this is FaZe with the second place finish at IEM Sydney. So G2 are on the up, and finally, that super team we've been waiting for. It's a meme now. But it probably took them a little bit longer than people thought it would to get to where they are, but here we are.
Polish fans, be ready. You thought it was Kinguin, it's not. It's Virtus.pro.
Stop triggering people,
I know,
Lauren.
I can't help it. North currently leading 8-4, but in the last couple of rounds, Virtus.pro have strung 2 together, so their money has become a little more robust, hence why you're seeing the double AWP come out to play. But North seemingly have a plan in mind. Just hit the sites, play it smart. It's always a good plan to come out, try and play into the sites rather than doing defaults throughout to allow yourselves to get picked. And always playing retakes is very, very tricky with 2 AWPs on the deck. But HB showing him how it's done to lock down the sides. Neo is the first to fall as Magis tries to find an angle and loses out.
Snack's having some good success in the earlier rounds when we saw him pick up that AWP. It's double now as well. Pasha with 1 himself. However, not the most ideal combination of weapons to make a retake attempt on. However, Snacks is given a kill, and so is Pasha. I'm going to eat my words and probably my shoe at this stage. And AZ going to back away. The bomb goes up anyway. And VP, all they could really do was just pluck away at a distance and keep the economy humble for North.
It's a great song around that, but lucky enough for VP, they keep enough players alive to be able to spread the wealth out here.
I mean, and if VP had won that first anti-eco round, they'd be looking a lot better here. North actually broke back in round 2 with what I can only assume would be, you know, a sort of a force-up, and it worked.
Yeah, this is worrying times for VP, though. This is probably the last time they're going to get these double AWPs into play for a while if they don't keep them up in this round or do lose out via numbers. But AZ just with the Glock? No, there is a gun. I just got a little confused there. Maybe it's just a little late, little AFK, but CT-side aggression from VP coming through here, looking for a little bit of information. They get it, and maybe not the info they wanted. Now, the problem is that Neo has to take the fights, and he's not going to win it with the scout. He does do damage, but damage doesn't necessarily get you the round unless they actually close down on some of these. Pasha misses, and more chances become open towards North, and oh, look at those flashes.
Yeah, it's like, I guess, an 80s hair metal performance right now. Pasha can't really see too much going on. Strobe's too strong, and it was questing for a kill with the AWP through the smoke. And again, the double AWP can be a problem, especially when North have identified this early on, and they're making these aggressive, fast plays onto the site, pressure those AWP players, and cut them out of being able to interact just with smokes. It's too risky for an AWPer to try and push through those, and with 1 towards heaven, 1 towards hell, Virtus.pro are cut in this sort of celestial limbo.
And I know you're all wondering, once we get to half-time, we will dive back in towards that Kinguin game, see where they're up to as well. So don't worry. Do not fear. Do not panic. Chat.
Well, panic, I mean, if you're a fan of Kinguin.
Yeah,
they've been struggling a little bit.
Great. All right, things aren't great. It's a bit rocky. You got 1 more round to wait. Hold on.
I definitely had big hopes for Kinguin coming into this season as well. I think I even said to someone in an interview that I thought they'd be sort of one of those dark horse teams, but they've just not been able to find a consistency, and losing Hyper towards the end is not great either.
Yeah, Hyper's performance just not been up to par yet, but he's got a chance in Inferno now to show what he can do, but we'll see how that unfolds. Currently the scoreline is 8-3, but we'll get there in a moment's time. This is the round that matters to me in my mind. Virtus.pro, if they get this on the board, they're still looking like there's a shot here, but oh, look at North. It's an all-in B play.
Again, it's punishing this double AWP setup. It's also isolating that, making it hard. Beyond is going to get pressure very heavily soon. He needs to take initiative here, and he does. He gets into position and receives config, but only 1. North, so much pace to them. They're already up on that site before VP can respond. Okay, Pasha straight through the metalwork. Nice pick on Cajun B, but there's still more work to be done.
Absolutely love a bit of that. I don't think you're going to get much more of it, but, you know, if you've got a double AWP, you've got to go for something, right? You've got to hope for something hits. The mollies come in, though. They've still got mollies on the CT side, which is good, but as do the Ts, as you're just seeing. And now time is ticking, and Magisk on the flank. What a bit of timing to it as well. He can just be a nuisance. He didn't even need to commit that much.
He's the biggest repeaker right now.
I know, it's down to a 1v1 now. How has this happened? Pasha! He's right next to MSL, and MSL had to have heard that, and he has, and the job is done. The deal is sealed. North, 11-4 in the half. We're jumping into Kinguin up against LDLC, and it's not much looking much better for the other Polish team right now. 3 rounds beside them, and LDLC have it under wraps.
Yep. Bomb being down, Kinguin with the numbers advantage, and they have to just push through, but Alex, it's spray down. It's the fake Frenchman, otherwise known as UKCS Hype, with 3 kills to end that round. And Kinguin, again, looking a little bit sad. Sorry, worse for wear, but they can at least buy up. It's a very quick decision to make a play for the double AWP. Take a breath.
Yeah, take a moment on this one. Just an update from the other games quickly as it stands. We already have the half coming in for Fnatic against Mouse Sports. 10-5 on Mirage, 11-4 between North and VP as highlighted. LDLC currently 9-3, but outside of this it's 9-6 in favor to Na'Vi against Heroic, 7-8 sitting towards favorably on G2 side against FaZe, and NIP still at 5-1 against HellRaisers, 6-6 between Astralis and Envy, but a good start here for Maniac. Hyper goes down.
I actually love, he's a player I love to highlight in the way that he can play the T-side apartments. He always asks for more than he should and somehow manages to come out with it. If Mouse pushes this corner, his shadow will show. Mistu had early warning to that one, and that's always a very risky play to make. You need to be aware that with the position of the sun in this map, you'll be spotted first. Molotov being thrown down. Rallen hopes to try and challenge Maniac. He finally puts him to bed, but the problem is the B side is it's open, and LDLC are going to be planting comfortably. The remaining two players are over at A, and now Alex was hoping to make it more costly for Rallen and Sparrow, but won't be able to. Still, King would have no chance to really get here. They're too far away. And they're going to save.
Yeah, this bodes well for LDLC and badly for HellRaisers, the team in front of them on the overall standings here. This could be quite an interesting one towards the bottom end of the table by the end of this. We'll keep eyes on that. I'm sure Moses and Sponge will be keeping tabs on all these matches and the kind of implications that they have down the line. This one, though, again, got to say it, Kinguin just haven't seemed switched on in this matchup yet. We haven't seen, you know, a lot to be brought to the forefront. And to be fair, Inferno didn't sit very well with them either when we watched them play it just not too long ago, just yesterday.
Not going to go at all. 10-3 here for LDLC, so they've already hit a lovely T-side half here. For 10 rounds to be going in with it's really, really good. A team that I really enjoy watching on this particular map. Players like Twanu, Alex, and Maniac always give me interesting scenarios, and also think Existence is a crucial player in some of their strategy. Twanu's got so much money here. LDLC looking pretty happy. They've got 2 rounds now to go, and Kinguin have to buy up as much as they possibly can, and that's fine. They even give Sparrow some armor in this round, so it's not terrible. But Kinguin don't go for any aggressive banana control here. They fear the AWP presence of Twanu, and so they should.
They're playing pretty deep at this point. Then again, we saw Kinguin rarely vying for that banana control on that CT side before. So again, maybe something they just don't often do. They did have utilities to do it. There's no real excuses to back away completely from it and give it up so early on. It's always nice to vie for it. And if you leave our chances open, Twanu's going to take them. And there it is. He takes a head off of Maus. And now they tender on the hit. Mihu is playing a very dangerous game here. It could be worth it, but it's so risky.
He's seen Twanu through the smoke, but Twanu's able to get away. And this is fine. LDLC still have a minute in this round. They've got a lot of time to work with. And the problem is that Sparrow's just caught in this quantum indecision right now. He's finally made his way over towards B to try and help out with Mihu holding there, but it took him quite a while. Now, as this has happened, LDLC start to drift back towards A a little bit more. The bomb's now positioned in mid. Now all eyes are on Existence and Alex to see if they can make any headway over towards A. I don't know if Rallen wanted to drop there, but he has a little bit of a one-way. The edge of this smoke here might be really helpful for him, and it is. It's going to give him that kill on Alex.
Twanu now eyeing up. They're running out of time though. This is starting to get the interesting factor is timing on this. Ooh, Twanu spots him out. But Mihu's still not been spotted unawares. Misses the first time and gives up a chance for a trade out. And oh, that's big. Existence finding Sparrow now means that B-side is under wraps.
Yeah, that molly forced Sparrow out of position and also caused him to take a bit of damage. So by the time he was able to challenge from the fountain, he was down to about 40 or less HP. LDLC did lose the player that threw said Molotov, possibly Twanu there. But it's worthwhile. They break the site, they have enough time, and LDLC realize that, oh, we forced this round. Again, this is going to be tough. They're hoping for maybe a player lurking deep here. So they're really hoping the LDLC's push someone in towards construction, is trying to pressure here. But that's all. It's passive angle holds for Kinguin and hopes of maintaining these weapons into the last round of the half.
Yeah, just heads up, guys. We will be heading into the Astralis Envy game in just a moment's time. Hopefully we get to check in as well with Mouse Sports against Fnatic, see how that one's unfolding. As currently, well, it looks a little one-sided over on the Fnatic game, 10-5, but we'll see. We'll see how Envy and Astralis are getting on here. 6-7.
Jeez, EnVyUs. Looking good.
They are bringing the fire late game, and this is a bit unexpected. I guess there's been a little bit of a swing up in play, but not to this degree. Kievi, so blinded. Perfect flash, but it's happy all the way.
And Dupree was lucky to get out of that with even one kill. He was Molotov out of position completely. What a gorgeous play from EnVyUs over on towards that A side. The flashes were so well timed. the player standing up on the balcony who had no chance to respond here, and Device has to save his AWP. That's very, very big. And looking at the money for Astralis, Device has 2,500 in reserve. That's bad. And that's great for EnVyUs on this T side. Very impressive stuff from them as well to pressure onto Astralis and maybe even make their chances for playoff representation a little bit doubtful, Lauren. You can see Six has got a lot of money to work with there. Scream's having a good game himself. Definitely a bit of a front runner here, whereas on the other side of things here, it's a little bit quiet for the IGL on Astralis Glaive.
Yeah, and he has been providing a lot as of late, so it's kind of surprising that he's been struggling on this one.
He was very quiet in Astralis' loss to FaZe, to be fair, in Sydney.
Yeah, interesting on that one. We'll see how much this unravels into the future. Now, nades go down. You can see a big difference here, even how you look at the difference between what we saw from Kinguin then and now Astralis and how they play that CG side. Trying to exert control down Banana, even if they don't have that full utility. You can see how much he's given them here.
Astralis have a lot of control. It's super aggressive at this stage. Well, they're being pressured out, I guess, should I say. EnVyUs tried to take map control, but Astralis weren't giving up free kills as a result of it. And that push down towards Banana there really yielded them that one. Kirby and Device, smokes there. They both anti-flash for that one, but still only one survives, and it was only Device for a fleeting moment enough to get himself the kill. That will slow up EnVyUs. It's not the stopping power they're looking for, but it's going to make this at least more of a fair fight as the fight actually happens over on the side. Dupree, the UMP's not enough, but Happy barely gets out alive. You can see the parity between those two weapons in terms of damage potential. Sixer cuts down Glaive, and Zipnik's now Clutch Master at the ready.
Yeah, not this time, and a quick bit of context coming in for you guys right now. The gravity of that FaZe game is becoming quite apparent. They need this win up against G2 just purely because of how this now pans out with how Na'Vi are playing. They could be in a tie and that might not go so well for them, but we are into that Fnatic game, so we hadn't seen yet. And Fnatic have looked dominant so far. So again, these guys coming alive in the end of their season.
Now, 2 maps against Mousesports will be fantastic here as well, and I cannot wait to see what Moses and Sponge have to say about how this affects standings if they manage to go all the way. It's looking good.
And just so you know, over in the North VP game, currently North are playing 5 AWPs against Virtus.pro here. The BM is out, it's 15-4. North are going to make it hurt. That's on cash as we speak, but that's not what we're going to be looking at here.
Yeah, look, I mean,
so
VP haven't won a round since we left that one, so there's really not much to see there. Sorry, Polish fans.
Got to handle it when it happens.
Other things to watch.
Yeah, this may not be much of a better show, though, at this point. We'll have to see if Mousesports can pull it back together. These guys, you know, behind the scenes have been doing very well. We've seen Robs coming alive, Oscar having big games, everyone providing a lot, so they need to just, you know, step up a little bit here.
Flusher's having a great game. I think he's 21 for 8 right now. One of those classic performances from him. And Chris J eventually finds the kill. JW, I don't know what he was hoping for there. He didn't really move from Delpan at all. And that made it very easy for Chris J to play a more interesting brand of CS. Now, Olaf has moved to the same corner. He, however, has that AK. I don't even know how JW... Maybe JW just tried to take that duel and try and tap out against Chris J, but... Oh, that was weird.
So just so you know, a better explanation for what I was saying is that if FaZe lose the map currently they're playing against G2, which, you know, it's pretty tentative, and Na'Vi win theirs against Heroic, which is looking likely, then FaZe is eliminated from going to the finals. They're out of the top 6. So that's where it gets scary. That's the big thing. So keep that in the back of your minds. We'll check that out later on. But that's what this is all kind of for. So yeah, match point, sitting with North here. They're looking comfortable overall. They actually might not win this round. The 4 ops didn't work out, but this round shouldn't work out either for Mousesports. They're only on pistols.
No. Despite Chris J's heroics, comically heroic play earlier in the round, Fnatic still have good position on this bomb site. Mousesports have had to leave it open for a full retake, and they're going to have to spring forth now as well. Now, there's flashes here for Fnatic to sort of throw and keep Mousesports off kilter as they try and approach, but they've mostly been used now. Olafmeister takes a bit of damage there through Forest, or the bench as it's now called by you young whippersnappers. And Rob's got himself a Mac 10 to work with.
Oof. That's a peach. Don't know if a round win's on the cards, but if Flusher decides he wants to... Oh, hello, Flusher. Just do the things. Do those Flusher things.
Could have gone so wrong, though. That's the thing.
It could have.
Okay, Olive kills him. Said, Flusher,
Just
you
lean
didn't
back.
listen to me. You were not disciplined. Now you face my wrath.
G2 against FaZe. This is the scary one. This is where FaZe could be in trouble. So everything depends on this game for them, and I don't know if they know the full context, if they know what's happening. Again, if Na'Vi win their game against Heroic on Cobble, this is where things get a bit scary.
And guess what, Lauren? It's Shox and Kenny S. You shouldn't be surprised. Kenny S having his return to form in tours over the weekend and even did a bit of crowd surfing. Not the whole crowd. I think he got to a point where one guy was having to lift him up on his own. He was like, sorry, Kenny, I love you as a player, but I can't hold on to you anymore. Rain finds the open against NBK, though, when GT don't have a lot to work with. So this is FaZe's golden opportunity to break back in and make some money with those Mac 10s, and Alu does just that.
Yeah, and the other game that matters in relation to this, that Na'Vi Heroic one, currently tied at 9-9 on Cobble. So that's the direct kind of in-between between these two. Nico gonna make some money. Oh no, Rain takes all the cash from him.
Yep. Sorry, Nico. And you're going to take a lot of damage for that as well. That's kind of how this works. It's the big bad world. We're in FaZe Clan now. No easy frags. And, of course, could be a bug, but Apex has opted to... No, he's removed his silencer.
He loves it.
What a horrible sound.
It is a vile sound, but it does confuse people occasionally. There's no benefit to doing it. He just is. Now, LDLC as well are currently 12-3 up on Kinguin. So this is good, looking good for them at the bottom of the table, too.
Keo puts the silencer back on. Behave yourself.
Why are you like this? Yeah, so yeah, the last couple of games are starting to, it looks like they're starting to close up here as well. The Fnatic Mousesports won 13-5, so Fnatic still very firmly in the lead there. NIP 11-4 over HellRaisers. The EnVyUs Astralis game still a little up in the air, 9-6, sitting on the half. But yeah, 10-10, this is a very close one here.
No doubt about it, and a bit of a turning point round as well. G2 managed to buy back in here, and they might be able to stop FaZe before they can actually start to stretch their legs and build up that money a little bit more. That's why they took the Mac 10s in the previous round. It could even be a nasty little reset for FaZe if that was to be the case, but it's Nico getting one, and his counterpart on the other side of the map is Rain. He not so successful at dealing with Apex, who is very low backing away from that fight. Aggression from Kenny. Doesn't quite find the shot. That's
Tag,
just
though.
Pixel. And Alu is lucky to be alive to tell the tale of how he went up against Kenny.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the other side of the coin in a moment's time, which is that Na'Vi Heroic game on Cobble, as we highlighted, but this round's still yet to be played out. Nico, flash, molly, pray to God he can make it out of this corner alive. Still a minute left, the bomb is in A main, so it looks like that is their intended target, and with Rain finding a kill here, that alleviates the pressure. The man who can unfold it and unravel it is Kenny S.
That was big from Rain. He was 3 health after that first encounter with Body in the middle of the map, and now Nico's doing work. Rain and Nico, 3 kills between the two players. Now Keo's going to get himself involved, as he often does, and it's Body so out of position, he may as well be in a different postal code.
Body a mile away and clinging onto that rifle like the lifeline it might be down the line.
Oh, his signature's great.
Well.
Looks like a real tag.
Yeah,
What a baller.
cool. Pretty dope.
Oh, he's checking. Will it be B main? Will it be Rain? And there it is. Rain falls. This time not on the plane in Spain, but right in front of Body. It's going to allow him to get himself that AK. Keo's got to be careful here. That was beautiful from Body. What a role play this guy has started to develop into. It's not going to be a one round for G2, but a Pyrrhic victory at least for that French side as they managed to get 4 guns out of FaZe's hands.
Here comes the Na'Vi Heroic matchup. The other side of that coin we're discussing about is who makes it to land. It's all up in the air now. Na'Vi keep up with this pace. It's kind of thrown in the air again. Who knows?
This is such an important round. You can see the Guardian only has 400 after buying up, and you can see Yugi only 1,500. This is, again, one of those real touch point rounds where it could be a landslide on either way. And you can see the Heroic. It's a dead giveaway to the instability of their economy that they're going to save on this one. They've been cut out from the A site. Na'Vi clearly had great success, and it was seized, actually. A big round from him to find 3 frags on his way through. We're spoiled for good games right now, Lauren.
Yeah, we are.
Some teams, to be honest, have saved them to the end of the season.
Yep.
But we've got them now.
Yeah, the first game to close and kind of shut a very bad end to the season for Virtus.pro is their game against North. It's a 16-7 result, favorable to North. So that puts VP in a very bad position, considering LDLC are leading 12-4 over Kinguin as we speak.
That's just not good
So
enough.
yeah, the top and the bottom of the table is in a state of flux
As a VP fan, it's tough to sort of see them just make this huge belly flop midway through the season when they win that. You know, they have such a strong performance in Vegas. They win that one out even before that at E-League, at the major. They went very, very deep, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared. Well, we'll have to see if they even remain in the Pro League. There's still a chance, of course. They're not automatically relegated. They're going to have to fight against teams like Big and Penta to stay alive.
Guardian and Na'Vi looking like this B hit is about to come in. Edward the first to go in. As we speak, a little bit of a boost there up towards a tree. That's Valve's position now. So he's sitting up there waiting to see if anyone comes through that smoke. But there's already a player out, but Edward very alone, not able to capitalize on anything. Smokes to follow, but there's already a player up in that cubby. That Molly better come in towards us, otherwise Nico is going to have a great time. But no, they're backing from us. They're aborting the plan.
Yeah, Flamey's going to go with the Molly right now, and he's not in position to deploy it. So pause for thought for Na'Vi. They were hoping to get something started earlier in the round, like, you know, one of them nice high-paced contact plays on towards B, but again, they would have run into such a trap here with Valda up on the tree and Nico in this corner. That's never going to work well.
And Nico spraying in, buying good time here. Gives away his position, sure, but it doesn't really matter. It keeps them on their toes. Flash comes out. No, Guardian can't land the shot. Looks like the player in drop. They're trying to buy time for him to work, but Guardian again, just being toyed with, and a third. When does this ever happen? Cease will strike, and Guardian finally gets his kill, but they're down to 37 seconds.
Yeah, they actually triple-peaked Nico in that final one just to make sure Guardian could finally get the kill, and that's enough. Na'Vi have been testing the waters for the last 30 seconds in this round, and they've made their way on towards the site. Heroic probably can't go for the safety. They're probably not even going to think about that. This is not a round they can really afford to lose, and now with Yugi opening things up here on Simple, this might be the go signal. Guardian has a safe position still up on B platform, and that's a lovely correction. Seas chimes in yet again as well, and Heroic go from, well, 0 to 0 in that round. They had a good big shot in. It was a 3v, well, it was a 3v3 at one point, but no, it's done, and Yugi's going to try and clutch onto the AWP a little bit longer.
Yeah, and currently it's 11-11 against FaZe and G2. Fnatic have closed their game against Mouseport, 16-6. That one's done and dusted.
Jeez.
The second to finish out of these matches, and also LDLC further their lead against Kinguin. Envy 9-8 against Astralis, who are starting to turn around, but NIP still hand the lead towards HellRaisers at 11-4.
So there's three really, I guess, very close ones here. It's this match we're watching right now. It's the FaZe G2, which you can watch on the other stream. And then, of course, the NIP versus HellRaisers match, which all carry their own consequences in terms of how this table looks at the end of the season. Yugi gets another exit there at the end of the round and keeps the AWP, but now Heroic have to make the tough decision. How much do we force around this, and how do we make it useful? Very
good. And of course, Mitch, if the people are just tuning in and they're wondering why they're seeing so many different games and why there's so many results coming in, it's because it's a conference, right?
Yeah, it's a conference. You know, I don't really know what that means. I don't think we know what that means. We just like the sound of it, and people use it in American football, so it must be good. But basically, we're just jumping in between games and seeing what sticks, basically. Hopefully, it's not the proverbial. But look at this aggressive play from Na'Vi. The flashes are out. They've used a lot of their utility in the early part of the round, and they have leapt upon Heroic before they even have a chance to respond. That AWP for Yugi, he's so low. He still wants to peek back in, but Simple sends him packing and even takes it for himself.
Yeah, that's donezo.
That could be GG right there. Heroic have maybe one really good shot to bring this one back in the next round. Otherwise, they're so far behind the 8 ball, it's not even funny.
Yeah, we'll be jumping to EnVy Astralis next to keep you guys up to date between the Danes and, well, the Frenchmen. See what they're up to, see how that one's unfolding for them. Again, a bit of a struggle, a bit of a power struggle for those boys.
I wonder why Simple actually trades up for that AWP in this round. Be surprised to see him use it in the next one. I still want to play this like pick-oriented round. I guess double AWPT side for Na'Vi is not the worst thing in the world. It probably suits their approach more than other teams.
And also, just a little bit of context to this one. So if FaZe lose their game that they're currently playing, if Na'Vi win theirs, which looks quite likely, and then if EnVy win theirs, which is also looking, you know, they're leading, they were leading until this round, then we go to this kind of crazy situation where everyone's on 14, they're all tied on the same points. It comes down to head-to-heads, I think. That'll be explained after the end of the stream, though. That's yet to come. Let's get into this round.
Dupree makes a nice opening there on towards Sixer. Of course, we have jumped across to EnVyUs versus Astralis.
Yep.
And 9-9. What a game so far. And EnVyUs really starting to produce at the tail end of the season. And happy, of course, in that very much foundational position for EnVyUs. It's only the one kill he can find. The rest of EnVyUs far too far away to have an impact in this round. And by the looks of things, don't really fancy taking the risk. It was an AWP recovered by XMS. Sixer had fallen over towards that CT arch. And I think Astralis want to get some guns away here. I think they're going to go for it.
And that's not a good step in the direction for doing so. Another orb comes in. XMS having a good time with Glaives there. I guess taking those orbs away is pretty imperative at this point.
You can see XMS has got $200 in his pocket right now. So imbued with the spirit of Kenny S, the magic stick now to do some work. That's disgusting, XMS.
Let's go.
Clean yourself up. Have a cold shower. And Zipnix is not going to challenge this one. He's not even in a position to do so. 3 for XMS, and he keeps an AWP available for Sixer. Astralis further build their economy, but Envy at least have something to force around now. A focal point, at least, to try and apply some stopping power to an Astralis who are now starting to really smell blood in the water from this French side.
Yeah, and Astralis need this win to keep themselves, secure in this and kind of keep the table clean. Otherwise, you get that 3 possible way going on. But there's still 4 games live as we speak. A few have closed up. LDLC on the verge of being Kinguin, though, 14-6. That's almost over. FaZe currently hold the lead over G2, 13-11. And right now, Astralis, of course, just chipping away into the lead here. First time in, it seems like a while.
Heavy presence for Astralis and Banana. They know there's still an AWP on EnVyUs as well, so they really want to try and deny that part of the map away so that Sixer can't get some easy kills there or catch them if they're not prepared. So there was some utility invested in doing so for Astralis because it's danger zone if they let Sixer get unchanged in that part of the map.
So I'm pretty sure now the top 4 is almost set in stone. Almost. I'm pretty certain. You're going to have North, kind of your Mouse Sports, your G2, and Fnatic. I think they've now just done enough to be pretty secure. The rest of the spots, though, are still up in the air. The 5th and the 6th spot are what's being fought out for now. The Astralis are almost safe, though, but you've got to hope that they close out favorably for themselves here. Otherwise, this puts Envy in a contesting spot.
I think a win for Astralis might propel them into 4th on round difference. It depends on what the head-to-head is between Fnatic and Astralis, but we'll get to that one. That's obviously something interesting. All on its own. Smoke up on this B site and Scream. He was in a great position there to unleash on Dupree. And again, how is this force going to work out for EnVyUs? This could just throw this whole game up in the air. Glaive knows he needs to keep his team propelled forward here. The money's starting to run a little bit dry on the Astralis side. And this Danish economy needs to be propped up in the next few rounds if it all goes south. But it's just Zipnix on his own here. We know what he's capable of, but those odds are maybe just a little bit too great for him to deal with. And that's going to be EnVyUs to bring it back there. They forced pistols around an AWP that didn't even get any kills. But let's jump across now. FaZe versus G2. What an important game. But FaZe are actually looking like they're in pole position. But Apex brings G2 back there with a lovely end.
Yeah, and I still want to keep eyes on the bottom of the table. I think with NIP winning their game, they are safe. I think it puts them up to 10th position, but on 12-14. So 12 wins, 14 losses. I don't think even with HellRaisers doing whatever they did, or LDLC winning their games, they can catch up. So now it's the bottom 4. That's yet to be decided.
That's locked in, I
think it might be. We'll double check at the end. But yeah, all I know is that NIP are very safe this season, and the rest is still to be played for. This game is a big point in it, though. Alu looking for the pick towards mid. Gets the tag and not the frag, as we do love to say. And that's got to hurt.
He knew that Molly was there as well. He went towards and challenged it. And even if he didn't get killed by the shots, that Molly would have taken him incredibly low. Kenny S receives, though. Oh, this could be nasty for FaZe Clan. They've let G2 get their noses up. And now Kenny S receives a second here. There's not enough pressure being applied towards A main here. Not enough to make Kenny sweat or make him back away. And now the FaZe Clan. It's going to be A main strewn with the bodies of this European experiment. Keo wasn't the problem, perhaps, but now he's definitely not going to be able to be the solution.
I like that, Mitch.
Thanks.
That was some nice phrasing. Very cool.
Thank you.
13-14. Pause comes in. A good time for a pause as well, because the money's dwindled a little bit. We know that FaZe do like to get those D-Eagles going and such and so on. So again, they can buy down to a little bit of money. They can invest a little bit, but we're jumping right over to the Astralis Envy game. Keep us on our toes here, 10-10. Oh, these 2 games. This is going to be crazy. How
we're
much
going to start jumping back and forth between these 2 specifically, guys. So that's where we're at right now. I expect to see round-by-round stuff here. Obviously, that G2 FaZe game is getting close, but you can watch that on the full stream with Henry G and Sato, those other guys that no one knows about. Envy spray down from Scream there to end the round off here, and Astralis let them get in with that force round around that AWP, and now they're starting to close things out a bit more.
Yeah, and now this is where things get put into question, because the results, or the result thus far, is that Na'Vi are on match point against Heroic. They're 15-9. Likely they're going to close out on Cobbles. That puts Na'Vi now on the ladder, I guess, on that 14-12. So the same wins as Astralis and FaZe prior to their games ending. So that's what we're now looking on, is how does the other games affect this? And Astralis, they've got to get it going.
Na'Vi, Astralis, FaZe. That is a big uncertainty here, and to be fair, that could be deciding, qualification here for Dallas. So stay tuned. We're going to probably stick on this one for a little bit longer now. The other streams covering the G2 FaZe game, so go over to that one if you want to see it. We're going to sit here because this is very important in its own way, and there's still much CS to be played.
Excuse me, did have a drink of water there.
I threw you under the bus, did I? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's totally fine. I can't be too upset at that one. It looks like we are going to be seeing that that quick hit through Boiler coming out from Astralis. I think that was one of the only things that actually worked for them against SK if they actually commit to it. I don't know if they will. It might not be the case this time. They don't have the buy that they normally have to be able to do this, but they could still try and work it out, that kind of quick pressured hit towards quad. It generally works quite nicely for them, but EnVy aren't really playing into this too much, and they're waiting out. They're playing very, very patiently, and Scream looks for it through CT Arch. Flash comes over, but now Happy is the next man in line.
Molotov over towards his right there, but he didn't even have a chance to correct. Zipnix was very accurate, making his way over towards the balcony, and another Molotov to force Sixer forward. That's pretty average for him. And this is nice by Astralis. They're bringing it back just a little bit more now. It's a very clean, well thought out execute on towards his A site. And it leaves Scream and XMS out in the cold.
And a highlight, it's 14-14 between G2 and FaZe. So G2 are not going down without a fight. This makes things very interesting. And Astralis keep this one tied up here as well. So everything is crazy. This is the Na'Vi game. This could be the final round here as well, bearing in mind 15-10. Na'Vi can get themselves in that position. They needed to do this one. They need to keep themselves relevant. They had to get that first game if they wanted to be 100% secure. They left it up in the air. They lost on the first map. Now winning on the second means they're in that pool. They're going to the head-to-heads, and this is where FaZe, if they mess up, they get put into the question.
Money is bueno for Na'Vi. That's not an issue. And even in the next round, it's going to be fine. Heroic actually don't have much to buy in this next round, even if they win it out and lose a few players. So this is a good position to be in for Na'Vi. They've managed to pave the way well. Let's see how they open things up. It's simple with the AWP here, but Guardians run straight in towards Modi. He never had a chance.
Oh, but Modi's positioning very nice. Couldn't capitalize on more there. A little bit sloppy on the actual frag itself.
Still got a second.
Yeah, it took a little bit more of adjustment, but Yugi's already kind of evened the odds here, putting it very, very favorable towards Heroic. Shut down from Nico leaves this one all but what looks like done, and if I'm not mistaken, this could be problematic over in that G2 against FaZe game. I'm pretty sure the round's just about to tick over here, and it might be 15-14. It looks like G2 could be doing this. FaZe's money's not great either, so if you want to check into that one, head over to the mainstream as well.
And the EnVyUs versus Astralis game is paused right now at 11-11. Someone's trying to make a wish, I'm sure. So we can cut over to that one, but we won't see that game end while we're over on this one. And RV won't end it this round either. That's probably pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, bad money for FaZe in their round as well. If you want to check on the mainstream, do so. Right now, it's Simple trying to keep this one together. LDLC have won their game as well against Kinguin. As Simple looks to try and do anything he can, take the money away, do any sort of damage. And it's not going to happen. Backs away. He's being closed in on from every single angle here.
The reality is, Simple knows that when he was left that last man, he was not in a position to do anything, just grab himself an AWP.
From what I've seen as well, a quick update from the other games, G2 has won against FaZe. So that has put everything in question. This is where everything goes crazy. I think there might be like one more round on the Go TV catching up right now, but that's the results as I see it. This puts that 5th, 6th, 7th spot and 8th now with EnVy still in this one, up in the air. This could be a crazy end to the season, Mitch.
Yeah, I know. We're not going to know until the very end of it here as well. So the EnVyUs Astralis game has been unpaused, but don't worry, it's still 11-11, so we can probably cut back to that one after. Na'Vi still have this round to try and finish things off, and maybe even one more if they want to try and force. Then they're going to have to behave. 2 men pushed up close on A main here, hoping for something. Just a hint of information, sound, anything. Smoke signals if that may be required. Na'Vi are definitely leaning on towards the A side of the map here. Slow play. The Guardian wants to make a bit of a later peek here, make his way through. No one's standing close for Heroic here. You can see that Yugi is going to be stacked up here with Snappy on that A site. And Modi, as he was in that previous round when he called out Guardian, will be waiting in connector. Na'Vi were famous for this 40-second trigger point. That was when they always used to make things happen, and that's where Flipside copied that off them to quite a great degree. And you always kind of knew Na'Vi would go for it around then.
Yugi waiting for the play up on longer positioning, and they actually have 3 players here, Heroic, so this is actually looking quite likely in this round. They have the early player across. Unless they get sold something by Seized here, they're in a very good spot. 36 seconds, Seized.
He's not going to check
Oh,
that.
God, he goes down. Now, it's all about does Heroic hold their nerve. They're still seeing that utility coming in, so they're holding on here. The player's now rotating over as well. Heroic are going to have bodies on this site, and Na'Vi just don't have the time, really. Guardian's going to find Snappy, but they're down to 20 seconds.
That's the thing. Your margin of error is very slim when you leave yourself so little time in the round. Now, if they lose one more player on the push, things are going to be almost impossible. Yuki, is he going to get traded? No, stays alive just. Edward is picked off as he heads towards Wood, and that's wishful thinking for Yuki, trying to get the no-scope towards Guardian, who makes him pay for it. And now a 2v2. Flamey even the ult. It's simple to come back in as well, and this might just be it. Na'Vi looking to close things out. Valda, time of the essence, and he stays alive. Na'Vi just wasted too much.
So this is what it comes down to. It'd be a four-way time theory, right? So from 5th to 8th, there'll be the 14 wins. That's what happens. Astralis would lose their game. They stay on 14. FaZe stay where they are on 14. Na'Vi win theirs, they go up to 14. And if Envy, of course, win theirs, they go on 14 as well. So Astralis can still secure themselves in this one. They can get themselves in a good spot if they win their game.
A lot of caveats there, Lauren. It's enough to make anyone uncomfortable.
Makes my brain hurt. I don't count good. This could all be wrong, so just don't believe a word. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We think there's a nugget of truth there.
No, it will become a four-way tie, basically, for that, for like between 5th and 6th, I guess, and it would have to be worked out.
What a wacky season. Online CS for the win. Yugi now doesn't see any of this, and it was flashes thrown by Heroic now. So Na'Vi hasn't really given their position away in total, but that's the bomb loose. So not only is Flamey down, but they know, Heroic know that that's where they're going to be pushing here. Siege tries to get up and behind, he's flashed out. It's a desperate spray down and he catches Modi, but Na'Vi now clutching at straws, and they've let Heroic back into this game.
And how gutted are Na'Vi? Remember, the last 3, well, let's say 2 games they played, LDLC and Mouseboards, that was always their kind of fallback plan. Oh, it's only LDLC. All right, Mouseboards we should do all right against. There's a chance there. No, they lost both of those games. They lost to LDLC 8-16, 10-16. Then Mouseboards 0-16. They didn't pick up a single round.
They've lost their last 5 maps in the row.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here we go. We're jumping into the next one here, which will be, of course, the other side of things. Envy up on Astralis. This bodes well for that four-way tie.
Envy making their way into the playoffs as well is insane.
After their awful start to the season, both of the French teams had atrocious beginnings.
And they have very low expectations applied to them as well. It was sort of the team that Happy just had to cobble together after G2 decided to get the best in France and make something happen with it now. And you can see Astralis are forced to be humble yet again as Tech9's Desert Eagles in the mix, smoking a flash for Zipnix, and that's about all. And Envy are going to get themselves within spitting distance of taking this one out. Unbelievable.
Oh, Scream. A little slow there, gets outdone. XMS going to pick up the mantle. Also, doesn't trade out well. This is very sloppy considering the match point that they're on, or I guess the value of this match to them.
Oh, that's bizarre. This is such a strange round, and it's a huge way to get Astralis' morale back up. Sixer sees it. I thought he saw Kirby straight away. Maybe he was just waiting on the trigger there. Glaive is not able to plant the bomb. He has to back away for his own safety. And this is buying Sixer some time for Happy to get here. It also is buying some time for that smoke to dissipate. But I love this. Look at this response from Astralis. Fundamentally, they're so good, but even tactically, they're brilliant. They pull out of the B side as soon as that delay occurs, and they're straight towards A. And there's no one here for Envy to stop them.
No, bomb goes in. And retake him with the AWP. It's Sixer. They've got a good idea where he might be as well. So well played. Na'Vi against Heroic has said 15-13. Still score on the door. Now, Sixer trying to stay alive. And I think we've got a pause coming in between Na'Vi and Heroic to discuss things. You can't blame them at this sort of magnitude.
Though they spent a lot of money. I think they're on their last sort of buy round before they... I mean, it's just an awkward position for them to be in general. We'll try and skip over to them as soon as we can, but for now, Six is going to try and get himself out of this situation. Nice little delivery there with the P250, but again, he's going to have to use every trick in the book to outlast this situation. Turns anti-flash for his own bit of utility used, and then he stands in the smoke. That's cute. He might save himself the AWP here as well. He gets out alive. He's running around the corner. Nicely done.
All right, I know this is a hot match, but we need to find out how that Na'Vi Hero game goes. So right back in we go. Score on the door, 15-13. Heroic still trail, but the pause came through. And Na'Vi are back in with this very shambolic, very broken buy. Heroic, considering they were trading quite some way. So even to put it back to this point is very impressive.
This is overtime in this round. This is pretty much what decides it here, with Na'Vi having to dig deep into their pockets for one last go. And Heroic have just started to burgeon in their confidence and start to feel a little bit more comfortable, leaning in towards having Modi in that pivot point to rotate towards A early if he needs to, or just stay in connector and get the sprays down. And already he's taking position. Was set up for an early B play. Now he relaxes to connector.
And remember, if you're confused about the standings, Sponge and Moses will break down everything that happened after we've got the results in. So that's what we're all waiting on here, is these last two games to close out that directly affect each other. Nico, though, up on towards platform, and Na'Vi playing this very slow pace, and clearly it's not worked thus far.
You saw how it hurt them in that other round. They were in a 2v1. It was just Valdo left on his own, and Na'Vi lost that round because they lost so much time. They couldn't sell the fake at B, and they left like 35 seconds in the round before they tried to hit A. Not good. Snappy takes a lot of early damage.
Not good at all.
32 seconds left in the round. What is going on?
They give themselves no room to operate. I don't know what they're up to. I think they're trying to sell a very late A, but they're
This
not
now has
causing
to be
rotate.
centimetre perfect, Lauren.
I don't think they can do it. They're going for the A hit. Now they need to run through here without stopping almost, and Yugi's having none of it. Molly's going to force him out a little bit. Smokes, it's still there, and Snappy's taking the bomb. It's done. That's going to be 14 to 15. There's nothing more to say. You can't do it at this point unless C's somehow becomes an aim botter and just kind of like, you know, spin bots everyone. And there it is. What is going on with Na'Vi? They're faltering when it matters most. Unbelievable. And in the Envy Astralis game as we speak, it's 13 to 12. So Astralis are pulling this one back into the court of Envy. And Na'Vi, you know, this is a disappointing moment for them. Jump over quickly. We'll be jumping in between these two as this happens. We don't want to miss a piece of the action. The results directly affect each other. From what I've seen and what I've heard now, it's 15-15 between Na'Vi and Heroic. From what I've just got the information. I'll confirm in a moment, but that's gonna be OT. So we got to focus on this game for now until that's confirmed, because from what I understand, that's what the result is.
I'm triggered by Na'Vi, but let's move on, Lauren, to another very close affair here. Sixer flashed in mid, so no opportunity for him to get any early information or even some damage down. But EnVyUs with a bit of a default setup here. A very minimal approach towards Banana, though. Playing those three players in mid and inching their way forward. This might actually have a little bit of pace to it. We'll see what they go for here. Should be smokes to either side. Dupree setting one up now as well. Here's the push. Sixer stops them in their tracks, so that's going to hurt. It's a stopping power for a Mack truck. Happy flashed out very heavily, but he's saved. Dupree keeps him alive, or RPK keeps him alive, should I say, by catching Dupree as he tries to make his way forward. This is a lovely hole from EnVyUs. Look at what their buyers in this round. Look at what they're working with. They make
Disaster.
4 pistols work.
Absolute disaster there for Astralis. What happened? And then money. Shambolic as well, completely broken down. You got 6k on one, but yeah, look how back and forth this was. Great start for Astralis, but Envy have clearly got themselves back into this one a little bit, and individually, of course, who else to look towards?
Oh man, that's got to hurt. And Sixer open it up, there's no doubt about it, but again, just the crossfires were very, very good on the push towards the pit. Dupree had such a golden opportunity to deal with Happy, the one player that actually had an AK at that point. He was saved by RPK.
Mitch, it's round by round. We're switching in between, and it is OT. So still, this is insane between these guys. So the pause came in between the Astralis game as well.
That's why we're switching. It is a pause in the other game.
And just to confirm that I wasn't just, seeing into the future. I've got, I know some things, Mitch. I know some things, but...
Okay, so I'm triggered about Na'Vi because when you see that kind of stuff happen late round, it's okay to leave things till late. We actually see that work a lot.
Yeah.
But then they're switching back and forth, and I definitely think there's communication problems for them right now. Something's not clicking. This is like... It's really obvious when you see it. When a failure occurs on that kind of level, you can leave a round late. You can do a VP and keep your opponents guessing. But if you put yourself in a position by saying, okay, guys, let's go to this site. Oh, also, if any one of us dies to an AWP shot, we've lost the round. That's the kind of, that's the stakes right now. That's the risk we put ourselves in. Instead of saying, okay, guys, we're going to now trade onto this site, play contact CS, take casualties, but have enough time to recover and gain position.
So OT's still kind of being worked out, but the unpause has come in from this one, 14-13. And again, to highlight what happens
Big force.
Here. Yeah, if Envy win, they go up to the 14 wins. Now they're in that tie as well. If Na'Vi do it, in the tie as well. So, it's all about those 14 wins. Astralis can get themselves clear. They can get away from this pack. That's what's on the line here for them. They get away from that horrific tie that could put them in, a bit of a dangerous position. Not sure how that would work out. Again, end of the stream for that one for the full information. But Astralis here need this round. Envy, again, in with a chance of doing some damage. Fighting for their position, for their chance at being in that top 6.
And you can see here that Astralis to lose this round leaves them with very little except the extra from loss bonus in the next round. So they're putting a lot on this round. This is a huge emphasized opportunity for them to break back in, and they've given Envy the opportunity to get themselves some guns. That's the first trade, but Scream's there. No one better to lean your hopes on than this man over at the site. He backs away. He's more than happy with the 1 kill for the moment. He's going to wait for reinforcements. The coffins are quite permeable to bullets. Xyp9x takes a fair bit of damage, but the bomb's down, and now EnVyUs, balls in their court.
Chad has some good stats about holding the B site on Inferno. Once you got the bomb down, Glaive going to help him out on that one. Switches up to the M4. He does get it eventually. And he's way too unhappy. He's got a good idea. He's there, but just not as quick on the trigger. And now it's just dupreeh. A 1v3 to get back tied all even. Bombs planted. He's positions noted. The flash comes in. Sixer comes out. And the fuse comes through. Envy make it to 15. This gets scary.
I mean, this is it. I mean, look at Astralis' money in this next round. We'll actually see what they have to work with. That's porridge. That's not even the good porridge. That's like the stuff that you have a grandmother that likes to hoard food over long periods of time, and she just pulls it out. She's forgotten, of course, that it's like 12 years old, and you got to eat it.
And if you're wondering why we're not seeing the Na'Vi game right now, it's because it's still going into OT, 15-15. So do stay tuned. That'll be coming up once we know probably the result of how this one closes out. It's 15-13 right now. If Envy win this, that 4-way tie again looks more and more likely.
This is all Astralis have to work with here. They took a risk, there's no doubt about it, and they've thrown themselves now to, I guess, the whims of fate. Given that there will be a big tie in the middle of the pack that will decide who makes it in. And I don't even know if there needs to be extra games played. I couldn't tell you. We'll have to find out when we get there. But now, let's see how this round pans out. Relatively default approach thus far. Astralis have this utility to use, at least. They've compromised on weapon strength for that cause. RPK to wait. Here comes a flash. He turns it a little bit late. He does suffer a little bit of flash there, but doesn't see any players. Xyp9x maybe baited that he was walking out of Boiler.
Yeah, and considering where the rotate player is for Envy, this could be dangerous, but RPK is doing a good job. He does open himself up to that chance, which may be overextending to make up for the fact they didn't have that player in CT Arch initially. Now they're there, but instantly traded. Scream does find Glaive, but dupreeh again keeps this game alive for Astralis. Envy, though, know what's on the line here. Happy's still tucked in, but oh, this is nice.
Good read.
But they're faking it. This is all but a ruse.
Oh, is Sixer going back? Say it ain't so. And the exact moment that Astralis decided to go back to A, Sixer pulls himself out of that exact site. Okay, now he knows, but the smoke's there. It doesn't even matter. He can't get involved.
He's on the bike of doom. All right, this thing works. Don't worry about it. I actually believe he's got this round. Yeah, of course he gets the kill, and Sixer goes through the smoke. dupreeh, it's all on you. Can you save Astralis in this, or will it be Envy tying things up, binding these 4 teams in possibly a 4-way tie? dupreeh now bomb down, UMP to hand, flash goes in. He knows he's going to be pressured severely. He flashes them, but he flashes himself. He spots one, he goes for the other, but he can't make it happen. XMS is there, and it's Envy making it to 16.
Now that's going to be it, of course. Game 1 for EnVyUs, blowing over the top of Astralis there in this last match of the season for them, and they have made a comeback that I haven't seen in quite some time, but we'll get to that after. It's now into overtime between Heroic and Na'Vi.
This is insanity, isn't it? Yugi already going to find the first. Sappy puts his foot down, and Na'Vi seeming to kind of kick right back off to where they were struggling before.
Yeah, they get not very much done at all. Of course, they did just play on the T side here, and we could see a lot of their problems did originate from that. They were 15-10 ahead, mind you. Na'Vi were. 5 rounds in a row for Heroic, and Na'Vi kept forcing it against the grain, trying to make something happen. Well, it didn't. And Flamey tries to jump over his namesake. Even he can be affected by it. That was the myth, of course. It's sprayed out for him. He's going to get some progress towards the side, but he was so low, and it was a matter of time, and Modi, ever the consistent one there over the top, takes him down. Heroic, first round of this overtime here. And Na'Vi, don't forget, this is MR3. You spend big on the first 2 rounds and you lose them both, you have stuff all for the 3rd round and the last round of that first half.
Here we go, Na'Vi, no AWPs available. Nothing on them right now. 4 rifles. Now, okay, Guardian can still play with a rifle. There's no disputing that.
One of the few that's really good in that regard.
Of course, it's a little less, but not by much. It's not like he instantly takes this big dive, so eyes towards what he can achieve here in this one. Again, Na'Vi, you know, the T side was their issue. If you watch some of the regular time, I know it was very back and forth, but this was where they struggled. And Heroic pulled off this crazy comeback again. Nico, maybe not expecting this pressure, but great teamwork from Value there. Kind of sacrificed himself, but he do keep control of that B site.
Yeah, now we've actually got Snappy wrapping around right behind Na'Vi. This could be really nasty. It's not even from the expected angle here. Guardian's trained on that position, but Snappy's disciplined. He goes for it. The timing works in his favor. He'll make a bit of sound here, but Simple is trying to make things happen on his own. Unfortunately, Modi is going to cut him down. Smoke down. Flash was thrown there. And the backstab from Snappy is going to be real in just a moment here. That was desperate spray. He wasn't even flashed out, and this still makes it pretty competitive. But Yugi and Snappy are high on health, and Flamey's got a lot to do.
You can imagine all the FaZe players out there, and everyone else banking on this. The bomb, though. Such a tricky spot. Flamey loses the molly and hopes, prays. He does force Snappy away from it, but not for long. He can always play back into this. Flash goes in, evens it out. Doesn't play into it, but 25 seconds now.
That's it. Yugi takes the head off of Flamey, and Heroic managed to weather the first 2 rounds of this overtime comfortably. And now, fortunately for Na'Vi, they didn't buy an AWP in that last round, but because Guardian did in that first round, he's under 3K. Now it's about pooling your resources and getting the most you can out of this last round of the first half of overtime.
Yeah, and I can imagine the ESL admins out there, League Ops, the guys who are working out all the scores are like, you know, I'd see them with like, oh, you know, the abacus is like, you know, sliding things across, like, please, in this way.
It's like the Zach Galifianakis meme with all like the maths formulas coming across them. That's what Carsten looks like right now.
Yeah.
Well, Na'Vi don't want to become a meme themselves. This fall from grace has definitely been something to remember, but it's not looking good in this third round. This is going to mean they need a perfect half, a 3-0 to keep themselves alive and make another overtime happen. They're looking very limp, lifeless, flaccid, unresponsive. Not much more to be done here. 3 players still to work with, but they're getting cut down. This is a confident, imperious-looking Heroic. And that's it. First half of that halftime is over, and Heroic stand 1 round away from victory here, making things very interesting for Na'Vi.
Okay. Now, Na'Vi need to be pretty flawless. They haven't been great so far, Mitch. It's been a bit bad, but I guess at least their CT side was better than their T side, so I guess there's that, right?
Again, I mean, this is one of those maps where the CT side is actually one of the hardest to ease into and to feel comfortable on because you can't get information. Or at least you can't do it without offering something up and taking a risk of your own. That's the risk involved. We're going to jump in, though, here as well. And in terms of loadout, it's a double AWP coming up for Na'Vi, taking no risks and definitely making a statement early here. Big money put on the table. Of course, the odds are high, and Na'Vi have nothing to lose from this point out. They've got to go. I'm
pretty sure as well. If this pans out, well, I've got a feeling Astralis could be in trouble here as well. Genuinely, like head-to-head, I have a feeling they might be in trouble. I don't know. I'm going to leave that over to Chad and the boys to work out because this is hurting my brain trying to make it happen. But double AWP, Simple and Guardian. Go big or you might be going home. Flash goes in, forces Guardian back a little bit. Back in again, gets the angle. And I like this more controlling CT approach now to Cobble. You know, the deeper smokes, deeper mollies. Keeping the T side away from any freebies here.
Yeah, and pressure them as well by making that round time take a little bit longer. And against a team like Na'Vi as well, if they don't draw out your utility, you're actually, you know, at your leisure to use that later in the round and put even more pressure on a team that wants to play slow. That's what Na'Vi have fed themselves into in those last few rounds. But here we go. Flash over the site. Guardian blind, backs away and delivers one of his own. Simple needs to be careful here, but Modi is not chomping at the bit, really. He's just playing patient. Good from Guardian. He took a risk to be up there, but he picks off Valda and he sees a bunch of other Heroic players set up on B platform. Pause for thought for the Danes.
Right now, your top 6 does not include Envy, Na'Vi, or Heroic, as it stands currently. Still depends on this outcome of the game, how things change, and especially this round. Seized, teetering on the edge of being able to do some impact here.
Yeah, Heroic can't make that top 6 regardless. They can only get 13 wins. Na'Vi can be in that tie situation with a win, and if not, then it's going to be solidified. But here's the push. C's going to have to receive here, but Yugi takes him down. 2 players left for Heroic here to try and close out the match, and Guardian needs to receive from Statue. Yugi gets yet another. Edward falls down. Perhaps a glimmer of hope starting to bloom here for Heroic, but time is of the essence. 7 seconds left in the round, and losing Snappy is going to make things a heck of a difficult one.
Yeah, not going to happen. Here we go. They keep the AWP up, which is important. It means they, you know, they're not completely skint. They're going to have to spread around the wealth, I guess. You know, Guardian take over the AWP. All right, not going to do the double again. But it's not the worst in the world. Or can they afford the double? I don't know if they can. Look at this one, Guardian. No, yeah, they can. They dropped it out. Okay, no worries. So it's still on the double AWP. Perfect for them. seemed to work well, but a very late in the round hit from Heroic there. That looked kind of, you know, very much knife's edge sort of stuff. 10 seconds and they finally make it out. Yugi did make it interesting, but it kind of crumbled away from them. So here we go.
And you see Na'Vi read into a potential A play now as well for Heroic because they had to use a lot of utility, got quite frustrated. It was actually a slow round for Heroic on that T side, so they've got a lot of information as well about how Na'Vi was still playing it. And so Flamey would love to catch them out here, would love them to come over towards this site. Smoke's down. Unclear if he's heard too much there about the players from Heroic going down into danger. But this is it. Caesar's actually managed to catch out Valda, who was hoping to make something happen there through halls, and this applies pressure to the weak points of Heroic.
Oddie looking in. Not going to be the one to find it, though. Still operating with 4. This could be double OT. How much pressure can one game have? So far, Heroic are making almost no dents into this round, so their money's going to be pretty shoddy. Simple going to find Nico. And it's Flamey to take up the challenge. Finally, Na'Vi come alive, and Simple again towards Modi.
And that's what they had to do, win those first 2 rounds and now make Heroic, well, kind of sweat here. You can see 1950 for Snappy on this T side, where they're going to be lacking utility for the most part. You can see Valda's forced to go to the UMP for that exact reason here. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered. And both these two teams lacking potency on that T side. Heroic, of course, still sit on match point, but now they've got to do it MacGyver style, Lauren. They've got to try and craft a solid round out of a very cobbled together buy, excuse the pun.
Yeah, well, we've got to see what they've got here. Might just switch up the pace, go a little faster, try and, you know, catch him off guard, do something, throw a bit of a curveball, and it's worked. Valda finds Flamey, but Edward's there. Mr. Consistent, Guardian as well. Yugi strikes back, though. It's still a 3v3. Nico, a little worse for wear, a little bit, you know,
sloppy.
Maybe. Yeah, sloppy, I think is the best word I can put it. But Yugi and Snappy on.
1v1.
It's a 1v1 here. Na'Vi need this to stay in with a chance, and Yugi can destroy it all.
Simple versus Yugi. What an important moment for Simple, and he makes it happen. The spray's there. Yugi to fall, and it's going to be a second overtime here. Neither of these teams willing to budge an inch. And what better way to have it for the last game of the Pro League with so much on the line for Na'Vi? There's potentially, theoretically, still a shot that they can make it to Dallas, and they need a land appearance. They need a successful one, especially given the recent events leaving quite the sour taste in them and their fans' mouths.
Just so you know, guys, any FaZe fans out there, you are wanting Na'Vi to lose this. I mean, FaZe take that final spot. So that's what's on the line. You know, everything changes on this one, from what I've heard, from what I can understand, what I've gathered. This all gets a little bit exciting, and we've got double OT to secure it. Now, Na'Vi do start on the CT side, so again, this could be where they really get in the heads of Heroic. They get a double up out to play. A little costly, of course. I wonder if they go straight back to it. No, they don't. So a bit of a different approach here.
This is very curious, actually. I'm interested to see how they mix it up. It's also an insurance plan as well. It's like, okay, if things go bad, we actually still maybe have a little bit of more wealth to spread. They even dropped AWPs to make sure they had 2 rounds with double AWP, but it worked out winning, that's fine. Now it's going to be Heroic, though, all set up towards that B platform. There's no one actually set up on the high side. Edward is the closest player to this push, and there's not much they can do to stop it. No one can wait in the corner. This could be nasty. Heroic have the opportunity to work their way through here. Valda with 1. Guardian cut down on the statue, and this is a beautiful opening now. Heroic have found the T-side chops, and not a moment too soon.
They found the pace. They found what seemingly worked. They didn't find in regular time. Snappy to put down Simple. And it's Flamey trying to make a play, but he's already outnumbered, outgunned, and out of position. It's time to save and keep hold of that M4.
So the biggest part of Heroic's attempts to try and make this B-side hit work, and what's unraveled them, has actually been the player up on B platform for Na'Vi. Whoever it's been, Guardian, it was in that first round. And Na'Vi being in a position to use a lot of utility to stall any push on that side of the map. Whether it's an incorrect read, just Edward being slow, or even a bad spawn, there wasn't a Na'Vi player in position to get into that corner to hide. Heroic didn't give them that time either. I love a decisive push like that on an important round.
All right, Heroic, make it count.
And also Heroic might have been expecting to go back into a double AWP as well. So they're, again, still wanting to try and play a little bit more of a high-paced Counter-Strike game. And although Na'Vi weren't doing it, it still worked in Heroic's favor as they weren't in position to receive.
Absolutely. Wonder if they're going to come in with that blistering pace again. Feels like that was the closest they got out of, you know, obviously it's the one that they won, but in comparison to the other ones that were very clear cut towards Na'Vi during the last OT, that was very, very decisive in comparison. The answer is no. That pace absconding from this round. And Yugi waits.
By the way, both these two teams are going. This one, you know, overtime round on T-side might be enough for Heroic here. Yugi's forced to back up, and this will be another slow one. Heroic don't have an A-side presence. It's going to take them a long time to get enough information with a player up there as well, so they're probably still committed to this one. Into drop. Flamey gets a very small amount of damage done. Nico finds him through to smoke, if I'm not mistaken. That's a huge opening for Heroic.
It's massive, and here we go. Edward now has to focus towards drop, and he's done well. Finding Valder is big, smokes it off now, can back away, find somewhere safe. So, find somewhere secure. Molly comes in, Nico now threatened. Readjusts.
Had to make sound.
And now seized, puts himself just under the window, waiting ever so patiently. Nico jumps it, spots it. Now, how'd you get around it?
Nico not only sees his assailant, but also reveals himself. So still needs to be slowed up a little bit. 40 seconds left in the round. There needs to be another big move made by Heroic here, but it's actually Na'Vi that make the response. Nico forced the seize, and that was definitely a linchpin in their approach to this round. Now it's going to be on towards B platform and hope for the best, but Edward this time has had time to get in a position to receive. There's no chance Snappy was going to get out of that. He didn't even have time to check that spot. Good work with the time here for Wall. Surely not. Na'Vi looked like they were going to bring it back, but now shots in through the chicken coop here. Yugi needs to connect these. It's him versus two. The CZ comes in. Now it's going to be the 1v1. Sprayed through the chicken coop, doesn't quite connect. 6 bullets left, and Yugi knows he's in trouble. It's a fake plant. The spray down. 19 points of health, and Guardian brings it back. The USP comes in.
What a hero. How does he do that sort of thing? It's 1919. Hope is still alive, but money is scarce for Na'Vi. They can still get a buy, but it's not going to be perfect. And oh my word, Mitch, this could be a game to remember.
What an important time for it as well. These two teams are both reeling over disappointing performances at LAN over the weekend. They're not happy with how things have gone so far. Na'Vi, of course, and Heroic. You can think back to the Misfits performance for Na'Vi, and Heroic not really getting out of the groups. And this is a match a series that everyone had slated for them to get through over at Tours. Maybe some revenge or a chance at least to give themselves some confidence back. AWP is still present for Na'Vi, but they've had to go for a mix of FAMAS and UMP in there. Limited utility, which means limited stall against a Heroic who are happy to wait them out more times than not.
Simple, gonna take the fight. In that smoke, taking his time, gets outdone by Nico, and what a moment to go through the smoke and try and make that fight. Flamey, come on, live up to your name. Nice.
That's not good at all.
That's a horrible way to possibly lose this round. Molly finds two, makes the most of a very bad situation for Na'Vi, and Edward's out of position trying to play back into it. What has happened here?
Is that Mini Rain pushing onto the A side? It may well be. Molly just smashing him down. 3 for him. And that was a bit of a, well, it looked like a bit of a brain AFK moment for Flamey. A little bit awkward, perhaps, for him. What a result for Heroic on that T side to get themselves those important rounds here. 2 rounds, of course, now. And Na'Vi, definitely feeling behind the 8 ball, no doubt about it. 2 more rounds on the CT side, and Heroic have got it wrapped up, and they're good to go.
What can you say about this one? You know what I mean? This is one of the most, I think so. We've had intense ends to the season before. It is normally close. We do normally get these tied moments, but it's not normally, you know, the teams that you kind of expect to be within that kind of higher echelon. You're looking at some of the best teams in the world. You know, Astralis, FaZe, Na'Vi, and Envy now apparently have put themselves in a position of power. It's kind of scary to see because you don't often see these guys having to fight it out this late in the day. And Heroic, bless their hearts, they can't even get to the offline finals no matter what happens. But my God, are they giving a good game?
Yeah, they're not even at a risk of being relegated either.
No, they're in that safe middle ground. No matter what happens to them, they're fine. They can't make it to the playoffs, but they aren't relegated.
And they can prevent Na'Vi from making the finals with one fell swoop.
The world on fire here, and that's what I love. Bring me a bit of that. All right, we're about to get underway here. Now, Heroic CT side last time was very robust. Na'Vi looked quite flat on their T side during regular time and OT. Now, this time around, Heroic actually picked up a round on their T side, so things could be a little bit different here. Could be a little bit harder for Na'Vi. We'll see. We'll see how much this plays into it.
No double AWP for Heroic here. Quite often just Yugi that we see wielding that one. It's not really an approach they often like to take. Not on this map at least. Looks like there was an early push forward by Heroic's A side couple. They didn't see too much. They've now backed up to more defensive positions on A. And the counter boost here, this could be pretty big, but Nico's already made Guardian. That's a bit of aggression here as well. Heroic actually channeling some of that bloodthirstiness, and that slowed Heroic Na'Vi down in a big way here. They're split 2 and 2 across the map here, looking for picks or some sort of entry. Not at their best.
No, losing out on Guardian already a huge blow. Now, what did Na'Vi do? Again, it was the pace that they came in with on that first OT. They were down to 10, 20 seconds max hitting these sites, so it was kind of a little baffling. And Heroic know this. They know that they like that sort of pacing, and it seems to be coming back into the Na'Vi playbook, even though they switched up the pace as of late. They're going for those kind of quicker, more concise hits. But now, looking like a bit of an A-split's coming through with a commitment towards drop. Bomb still on long. Modi reads this well, but he still get the frags and did do damage on the second. Flamey will overwhelm him, but now Yugi's eyes have turned.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay for Modi in that case there as well. Heroic still have that man advantage now. It's even been exacerbated with Yugi finding Flamey. Yugi wanted that shot here as well. There's actually no one playing up close on A. He was the closest player to miss that one, so Edward can now get into position and even make it harder for Yugi now. Force him to commit a little bit more if he wants to get involved. Valda going to come up through danger. And Edward may be a little bit vulnerable if he goes a little bit too far forward here. I believe it's Simple playing behind it back towards that hut. Fairly standard after plant. Valda peeks out to that one. He gets the kill. That's okay. It's 1-for-1 trade, and Yugi receives Edward. They knew he was going to be there. Heroic have gotten themselves 3 rounds out of this overtime so far. 1 more, and she's done. And it's in the books.
All right, things get a little bit scary now. This is where it all goes topsy-turvy. Moses, Sponge, get ready to explain what is just going down here. This could be one for the books. 21-19. Heroic on the verge of doing the dirty to Na'Vi. With nothing to lose, nothing to gain, Heroic just want to set fire to the world.
It's just that salty run back late season. Well, we'll see if it works out here. Heroic come away with the goodie bags, because that is it. It's a consolation for them. And of course, this performance has its own sense of significance, the counter boost. You throw it in now, that's dirty. No one on Na'Vi is ready for this now. If they move quick, Modi gives himself away, or at least I thought he might have there. Guardian finds Nico on the push here. So this is fast play here coming in from Na'Vi. Let's see if it works out. Modi stopping good trading for the CTs so far, and you can see the Flame is already in position. He gets the kill. Light glimmers in the eyes of Na'Vi now, and they've got the bomb plant.
Oh, God, as if this is when they start actually, turning it on. Yugi's going to try and keep all that up. That's his #1 priority now. Snappy's going to just kind of come out with him, play bodyguard, and keep Na'Vi at arm's length. Now, good stuff from Na'Vi to be this concise with it, not even keep their money into question. That's fine. All good, all well. This is perfect. They needed this too, just for Na'Vi's mentality.
Let me just paint this picture for you. The first overtime, neither team managed to win a T-side round. This second overtime, if Na'Vi manages to keep this game alive, these teams will have won the majority of their rounds on the T-side So you can just see now how these small adjustments are actually occurring in overtime. Something that Chad really likes to talk about, actually, and hopefully he gets to touch on it on the desk, because they're the things that make or break teams. And Na'Vi stays alive. Now, there's a lot on this round, Lauren. If Na'Vi win it, we got another overtime. We love those, Lauren. We often get those games, and Heroic can break this here.
I didn't want to go home, Mitch. I wanted to cast this game. I want to see how the Pro League ends up. This is what it's about. Here we go. 21-20. Heroic on the verge of closing this game out with a victory under their belt. Na'Vi desperate to take it into another round of OT. And seized, nade in hand. Modi puts his down first. Stays alive well. Na'Vi, would you dare go quickly? You feeling that brave? I wouldn't be.
No, Nico playing up close there as well. Na'Vi still could have made a run if they'd smoked up that broken wall area, and Simple now a bit of an off angle here. This is quite nice. Straight above the smoke. Flashed, forced to back up. A little bit of chip damage going across from both these two sides. Simple being spotted out, but it doesn't matter. Nico falls. That's the opening Na'Vi needed. That's the lifeline in this game. But Modi gets 2 in drop room. Na'Vi have been stopped in their tracks trying to make their way towards this B side. And now with the smoke, Valda jumps across. Simple. There's no way he saw that. There's no way he's getting away with this at all. And Valda.
Oh, no.
Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. He falls. Guardian response. Man advantage for Heroic. Time ticking down for Na'Vi.
All right, the classic duo, Edward and Guardian. Edward, Mr. Consistent, always seems to be there. A bit of a rock, a bit of a solid entity for Na'Vi and Guardian. Show me what you can do here. You have 47 seconds to keep your hope alive in this matchup. 3 players stand in their way. Modi's one, Yugi another, and here goes Edward straight in. No fear. 35 seconds now, clock's ticking. Guardian's got the bombs. He's the final piece. He's the VIP. You got to escort in. Guardian's trying to clear it out. Oh, he spots the first. First victim down is Modi. It's a 2v2.
Guardian, now with that AWP as well, wants to play forward. There still needs to be a plant from Na'Vi. Heroic don't have to peek this. They can sit back, they can wait, but it doesn't matter. They offer themselves up at a silver platter, and it is the dynamic duo, Guardian and Edward, to claim it for Na'Vi. They keep themselves alive, and we get a 3rd overtime. Heroic knew Na'Vi needed to plant. I wanted to finish it there, and that was ultimately their undoing. 3 overtimes, why not?
that's a round that you're going to look back on and be frustrated at being heroic. You shouldn't be losing that. You had good positions. You allowed them to play into it. The first is forgivable, I guess, but the that's so rough.
So high pressure as well at this stage for them as well. And even for heroic, or maybe they don't even realize the impact of this game on anything, because these teams have to start their games at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're heroic and Na'Vi, you're just focused on the game in hand. You're not thinking about those external factors. You're just here like, all right, through the motions we go. Let's get this one under the belt. But all right, back in, no messing, no breaks. It's Na'Vi on the T side, so they continue this. They have to keep up that form they've just found.
And what's the change now for heroic? The first overtime, it was their CT side that kept them alive. The second overtime, the T side was what almost won them the game. Where do you go from here? Maybe a middle ground, maybe some balance in the life of a CS pro might be required. But for now, Na'Vi with 4 players over towards this A side of the map here. And where's Yuki? That's the question. He's actually playing on A as well, so we can really stump them on this play. Around the corner with Snappy now, 1 and done. That's the way it has to be. There was actually no chance for a refrag on the second there for Heroic. They're already backing up and taking defensive positions. This is fine for Na'Vi.
Yuki, though, still can be a thorn in their side if he can get a couple of kills here. Certainly not out of the realm of possibility. He's been playing well, but Edward's going to tip the odds favorably.
Great swing.
And yeah, that's the Yugi we want to be looking at, seeing what he can achieve. It's down to, again, Guardian last man standing, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do it this time. Nice positioning, though, from the heels. Going to find Nico. It's a 1v2. Bomb, not far off, and he's just going to have to fight his way through. But not going to happen. Yugi, quicker on the trigger. And Hero get the first one on the board in triple OT.
And Yuki, who's just been really lifting so far in this part of the game, is 37 and 21 so far. Fantastic from him in these last few rounds. A huge front runner for Heroic. So, first round done. CT side for Heroic now seems to be okay. And you can see, at 10K, MR3, even after losing that first round, you're kind of pressured economically speaking as well. It's like, we don't have a full suite of economy for all of Na'Vi, not to the full degree. Only Guardian, to be fair, is lacking, but the next round will be even harder for him. It doesn't work out. Spend a lot of money here. Oh, that timing was lovely.
He stayed boosted? Modi, you're a gutsy man, my friend.
But that's where you throw this stuff in at this part of the game. That's why they go for counter boosts as well.
He's been delivering. Okay, that moment where he dropped off the tree was just kind of shambolic in that final moment, but he was the one who even got that round to be impossible. There's 2 kills he got in drop. This one again, he's finding these moments. If only he was able to keep his cool in that final one in second OT, but not to be. Man advantage, though, sits with Heroic. You can imagine FaZe are sweating bullets, just going, why did you peek that? Why did you play this out? Just in the back of their minds, it's got to be everyone on tenterhooks here.
The last thing you want to be doing as a pro player already is vicariously living through another team who's losing. It's like, well, I'm just doubling down on the disappointing part. But that's Guardian up close. He trades that one out. Yugi has been so on point. Valda needs to receive this one well, and he does. This is going to leave Na'Vi with not much of a leg to stand on, but Edward and Simple on 2 different sides of the map are making it happen, or 2 different sides of A, and now Heroic have to scrabble to respond.
Yeah, Valdi was there quickly, but very alone, and how are they losing this?
It's a 4v2.
And they've lost it. Na'Vi, I guess Heroic just didn't expect it to happen, but now it's on Yuki, the guy who has been going toe-to-toe with Guardian, but I think you can kind of, I guess, write this one into the hands of Na'Vi, but he's found a route through, he's hearing these steps.
He's got
Would
time.
you expect both players here? That's the big problem, is you wouldn't. Again, a bit of an off angle as well, to say the very least. Between Simple and Edward, they pull this one back in. 2 kills between each of them, so big round. 22-22, we're all even.
Heroic now as well have the money to buy back up here, but neither team has actually really been forced to sacrifice too much, except there's UMPs here for Valda and Nico. They'd be kicking themselves, Lauren. They'd absolutely be kicking themselves after such a good opening. Yugi trades out well for Guardian. The kill came in from Valda over towards Connector, and you're in pole position, but Na'Vi, with their last 2 players, surged on A and managed to win out both of their opening duels in that site. That's stuff you can't script, that's stuff you can't always count on either. But Na'Vi, it was there.
A little bit of an exchange in drop. Modi being forced out now. Has to back away, play from the window. Nico with the deep smoke towards Plateau, trying to play that late control game, kind of deny Guardian the play out. And there it is, going to force him off. Buy a bit of time here. It does allow Nico to push up, actually. This is nice. It gives away he's pushed up because he's obviously pre-firing like this. They know he's here, but I like it. It gives them more time. Again, Na'Vi now have to check everything, put utility into place to be able to ensure that no one's there.
They have to recheck that entire stretch. which just costs them more time, which is something that Na'Vi generally don't have a surplus of when they're ready to make an execute or to get out on the site and start fighting. So that's super annoying, because they have to ask themselves, are we oversimplifying this by just expecting him to be on this corridor? We can't really leave it though, we have to check everything anyway. This is the part of the game where wacky stuff just happens. Anomalies in the world of CSGO.
Oof. That's the shot. Simple, gonna crack open that first player. Mount Molly goes in from Valdi, no smoke there just yet, and you can see the full side hit coming through. Good counter flashes from Heroic though, keeping them at bay. The Molly has really slowed them down. Valdi's going for that peek. That's very brave. Needs to fall off this one or do something outstanding. No. And now Molly's just depending on that smoke to keep him alive in the angle. The nade will finish the job. We're in a 3v4. Again, this could be big. Molly is out there in the open. Yugi tries to make a shot happen, doesn't get it. Carl back away safely, has to fight his way out. 9 seconds now. They're running out of time. Yugi's now surrounded. One is not enough. Na'Vi get to 23 on the half.
You have to wonder as well what happens if Yuki doesn't commit to that and sits in connector. Perhaps Na'Vi still get to, plant obviously behind that statue, but still, Na'Vi come out better over on that half. Their T side again seem to prevail.
And during the break, please go over to any of the FaZe guys' Twitters and just enjoy the panic and the memes. Just take this time right now during the half. Head on over there. It's a spasm.
It's not a fun position to be in.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible depending on other people. It's never wanted, never needed. And this is the thing, you always throw your mind back to the early season. You think, why couldn't we just win one more game, one map, one of those silly maps where we just didn't play well? It
Why
always comes
couldn't
back to
we,
haunt you.
I don't know, win that extra map against HellRaisers,
Yep.
for example?
Yep. No, it's all there. That's where all these feelings come back. You're just like, God, why is this? Why do we have to depend on others? But still, 23 to 22. Heroic's T side now. This gets put under question.
Well, Na'Vi again have shown up, made their T side work for them here. Heroic have to do the same. Single AWP again. So Na'Vi have gone away from the double AWP strat in overtime here. They're not sort of giving that to Simple. They're sort of more happy. And that's also because as well they've stacked B with 4 players here. Guardian, that lone player over on A. Sees, takes down Balder first here. More to receive for sure in this drop room. And it's good read from Na'Vi. Now that those players are in drop, they've committed at least to connector or this B site. Edward needs to prepare himself for either eventuality. You can see that's why he changes his position. Counter boost up in, absolutely cheeky. They've got time though. They make these moves quicker than Na'Vi do, and these options are available to them for that reason.
Yeah, makes Yugi play safe now. Puts him off of this one. Smoke comes in, denies a little bit of the play that maybe Modi would have wanted. Still a minute on the board. They're actually playing back in.
Modi's lucky to get out there. I mean, yeah, you've got to make split-second decisions now. Modi was kind of trapped into staying at B with that molly up. And almost got taken down as well because Edward chased him into the smoke. Modi made the correct move by getting out of it onto the other side. 4v4. This is quite a bizarre round, actually. There's 3 players now on platform, and Edward's got himself set up here. The more time this takes for Heroic, the less chance they'll check this corner.
It's all on Nico to molly him out as well, if they actually do it, as Modi is the player in drop, so we'll see if they do this. If they check on it, please do. They're not actually looking at this one. You line them up, and Edward's going to drop them out. This looks good, unless Modi can do something superhuman at this point. No, Edward's having none of it. One more on the board is all Na'Vi really needs.
Well, that's exactly all they need, Lauren, at this stage. They have the advantage now, as Heroic did in that second overtime. Just got to win 2 rounds, or 1 round on the CT side. They've got to win 1 of 2 rounds is what I mean to say. It's getting late here, let's be honest.
It is.
After midnight, that's fine. It's the life we lead. Now have a look at the arsenal of the 2 teams. No one's really wanting for anything. You would maybe like a couple of extra bits and pieces, but the next round, Heroic don't even have. If they lose this one out here, they have to force anyway for this one. So that's fine.
Do or die time, boys and girls. Heroic, if you have anything up your sleeve, any last trick to bring out, this is your moment to put into play. It's a little bit slower, a little bit different, a little bit more of a lean towards A.
Conversely, this is where Na'Vi could just throw a weird spanner into the works, something that Heroic couldn't possibly prepare for. Simple plays in the corner though, he's receiving now towards A long. He gets a second, that's big. Yugi managed to trade out, I think a kill in towards Danger or elsewhere across the map. Guardian's down anyway. That's what's important, but Edward finds Modi. This could be all but done, and Na'Vi have kept themselves alive in this one. Simple on towards Yugi, and it's Valder on his own. And he doesn't have a look in towards this side. The bomb is so far away. It's not possible to win these kind of rounds in general, but he's found seized. It's a long road to hoe from here on out. He doesn't know there's a player off towards his left side, but the spray's very good. Edward's going to lie and wait. This is getting a little bit more dicey than it really should be.
It is.
That's going to be it. Na'Vi managed to win this one out. And they keep themselves with that chance for playoff contention, or at least make it real interesting, Lauren.
Yeah, this gets a little bit interesting now. I think that we'll need everyone to break down the possibilities that were and that now are, of course, in the Pro League. Yeah, but what a heartbreaking moment for a couple of teams throughout this one as well, because considering FaZe were up in their last match that they played and then they lost out, but I can hear myself and it's horrible. Oh my God, this is how you guys feel? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry to inflict that on you. So at this stage, I mean, we're done. We've obviously seen a lot of matches. If you just joined us now, you're wondering what this is. This was a conference stream. We went around the grounds and caught some very interesting games. But I mean, interesting story that FaZe versus G2. EnVy versus Astralis also gave some very odd results.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and even guess what the top 6 is now and the defining points as to what makes it, because I think that's exactly what Moses and Sponge will be doing in a moment's time once it's all confirmed, because again, the admins are working tirelessly now to go through all the possibilities and as to what happens. I think they're actually ready for it.
Yeah, let's head over to the boys, and that's all from us. So thank you, gentlemen. What have you got for us after that ridiculous finish of the night?
All for you. You're gonna hang out there in the picture-in-picture, and you're gonna chill. No, they're not. All right.
Sweet voice.
Shame.
Well, why don't we
can't
just talk at them?
Wonder.
Yeah, we can't. I want to know about.
They're gone now.
Damn. I wanted to know. Mitch said something about having to eat 12-year-old porridge with his grandmother. That was.
He also
There's
said
got to be an
something
interesting
about
story.
Flaccid.
He did speak a lot about Flaccid things.
Yeah.
Speaking of Flaccid, that'd be FaZe tonight.
And Astralis.
And Astralis. Hate to see it.
Yeah, considering they're two of the most exciting teams, and that rivalry right now is amazing to watch and evolve, the fact that we won't get to see it in Dallas is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you could basically call it the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the world at the moment.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, as far as I understand things, which might not be perfectly accurate, those 2 teams are out. We're going to bring up the standings right now, though, and these should be completed. These should be the final standings for the season. North, G2, Mouse Sports, Fnatic, EnVy, and Na'Vi are the 6 teams that make the ESL Pro League playoffs in Dallas, Texas. That's good stuff.
I'm going to do my best to explain this so people at home can understand why the round difference is higher on both Astralis and FaZe, but the Team EnVyUs and Na'Vi go through. It's based on those 4 teams are tied, right? So it creates a mini league between the results of those 4 teams only.
Yeah.
Now, within that situation, EnVyUs obviously 2-0 to Astralis, so they're beating them in the head-to-head of the mini-league, whatever. So it just works out with the head-to-head results that Team EnVyUs and Na'Vi are ahead of FaZe and Astralis, which I don't think anybody would have predicted. I definitely didn't think that would be happening at the start of the night. Astralis are going to be kicking themselves because, you know, playing EnVy, sure, it's not an easy beat, but you'd much prefer to go up against them than, say, like the G2s of the world or playing against, like, Fnatic or something. You would have much preferred to have played EnVy to secure yourself a spot in the finals.
Yeah, and I think every other team who made these playoffs is going to be thanking G2 and thanking EnVy for beating FaZe and beating Astralis and saying, we don't have to deal with them. I mean, those are the guys that have won, won 2 of the last 3 events, and they're just saying, all right, thanks for taking them out of the equation in the online portion. Speaking of G2, play of the day.
Was it Kenny?
We were having a really good time with this play. Yeah, it is Kenny.
Yeah.
It is Kenny's AWP ace, so we're going to check that out. We'll get that up. You can see here. This is some vintage Kenny. The double there is just very nice.
I love how he just keeps re-peaking. He's just so confident in that fact that he's just going to keep getting the kills, and he does, and then hunts this last one down and makes it look really easy.
Yeah, I mean, as he usually does when he's in this kind of a form, he just makes it look far too easy. Even wastes the Molotov there, style points.
Yeah, and then he bought a smoke in the following round and had a HE 2 flashes in the smoke. I probably would have stuck with the Molotov.
Keep the Molotov, for sure.
Pretty valuable.
We'll have to have a chat with Kenny before the finals.
Maybe he had a
Can't
plan.
be making those plays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anything else crazy sticking out? I mean, obviously, Astralis and FaZe is going to be the one that shadows everything.
Yeah. LDLC staying out of relegation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they get to survive until next season.
I thought they had a pretty interesting season, all things considered, with Maniac having a little bit rolling back the years. Good to see them staying in Pro League.
They had a couple of big upsets. The thing is, if we... You go.
I think speaking of upsets, one of the things that if you're like a FaZe and looking back, was it FaZe that lost 2-0 to Kinguin at one point?
Let me bring it up. I was just going to look at the Astralis one, but we can do the FaZe one as well.
Yeah, because I mean this is basically what you do. You look back over the season and see all the losses that you should have just never had, and that is going to be one. Kinguin beat them twice.
They lost to Kinguin 16-6, 16-8 in the opener of the season, and that's probably still when they had Jacob.
Yeah, they didn't have Nico.
They didn't have Nico then, and then so they lost one map to EnVyUs. They got 2-0 by Na'Vi.
That's a killer as well for the tiebreak.
Yeah, LDLC took a map off them. That's one of the upsets we were talking about from them. Lost them out to Astralis, no big deal there. Lost them out to Fnatic, not really a problem. Lost them out to Mouse, and then obviously getting 2-0'd this evening by G2. So
Tough.
yeah, and then if you look at the Astralis one, which is the other upset one we're talking about, theirs is like they did everything they should have, right? It's teams you'd consider them to maybe 1-1 with. So they 1-1 with Na'Vi, they 1-1 with Mouse. They did get 2-0'd by VP, right? So that was pretty rough for them.
That was when they had Zonic standing in as well.
That's right. Why was that?
That was when... I don't remember why. That was for Device, though, wasn't it? Device had something, I think.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That's going to haunt them as well. You know,
Yeah,
you think
hate
back
to see that.
Jeez. And then, yeah, they had a couple of other results, like 1-1 with North, 1-1 with FaZe. Then they were 2-0'd by G2.
They did go through that stretch where they were like on Twitter saying we just can't seem to win two in a row, 2 maps in these series. Heartbreak for both teams. We're almost done with the show. What we're going to do is bring up the North American standings just so you get one last glimpse. If you want to stay awake, if for some reason you just had an energy drink and you just can't sleep, SK and Immortals, 2 Brazilian teams locked in already. A chance for a third. Luminosity sitting at 6th to stay in there. Liquid in a good shout to qualify. Same with Cloud9. I think Cloud9 just has to win 1 map.
I think Liquid are playing Luminosity, right? So that's going to be a really interesting match. I think Luminosity are definitely going to need those victories if they want to stay in that top 6. Optic are playing against Complexity, so you would consider them a fair chance to get up to 15 wins, right? And put them really in contention for that top 6. I forget who NRG are playing. I think it's Cloud9, right? If Cloud9 manage to 2-0 them, that's going to push them down and potentially out of that top 6. And it's going to get messy there too.
I think that, I mean, Optic, you have to say, with all the struggles they've had, not having a 5th player for the majority of the season, losing their in-game leader as well, them getting into the playoffs at any point is
good for them.
It's pretty impressive. One thing we didn't touch on that we wanted to,
just
quickly before we sign off, because I know it's getting late.
Great minds.
Is the way that the groups and seedings are going to work.
Can we bring up the standings again for EU?
Which one would you like?
EU, please.
Yeah. I'll click my standings button.
Oop.
Any moment now.
Here we go. Okay, so if this seeding here is correct, which I'm going to assume it's going to be relatively close to being correct, North, Mouse, and Na'Vi will all be in the same group. So that's seeds 1, 3, and 5. And then the other group will have G2, Fnatic, and EnVyUs. Okay, so that means G2, Fnatic, and EnVyUs will be in the same group as SK, as they're the top seed of the North American region. And then that will have, 1, 3,
so
and 5.
1, 3, and 5 from Europe plays 2, 4, and 6 from NA, and it's vice versa.
Yes, exactly, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh.
We did that well.
Yeah.
Good job. That's going to be it for us. That's actually it for the entire season. Next week is going to be all the relegation matches, so it's kind of not over just yet. But thanks for sticking with us all these past months while we had a good time here in Cologne.
It was a long time.
It was a long time, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
See you later.
I can't understand people watching somebody play a computer game.
It's still not a sport.
It shouldn't be on a sports network.
But I don't know if athlete is the right word.
this is your chance to actually make it into the Pro League, be a professional Counter-Strike player.
That's the thing that Mountain Dew League provides.
Kinguin, you know what? If anybody has a shot at 2-0, it's Kinguin. Beautiful Counter-Strike. You usually only see that into the professional level of things.
We are one of the youngest team in top 20. Many teams can underestimate us, and we can surprise them with our tactics, show our Polish power.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.